Ian promised us that he was going to put out this documentary, the journey of how Michael turned him into a boxer.
That's a great way to promote Creator Clash. Why didn't they do that?
He and Anisa did pay for Hassan to travel to and stay at Creator Clash too.
They really just trying to make this a Diddy party.
One of the people they flew in was Fraudy Tonic.
The guy that iDubbbz swore he had no association with.
Half of the sessions, we'd have to train Anisa.
They were having this guy do double work without the extra pay, just so Anisa could feel nice about herself.
People in the comments, they'll say, oh my gosh, you never had him spar, that's why he lost the fight. If he would have released the footage, they would say we did all of those things.
Is it a whole conspiracy? iDubbbz didn't want to take the blame for being lazy. He wanted people to think that maybe it was the boxing coach's fault.
He said, oh, my coach, he has toxic masculine qualities.
He's a boxing coach.
I learned that there was a House bill in Washington State trying to pass House Bill 1455 to end child marriage. And I reached out to Ian and Anisa and I asked them if they could help, share the information, and they just both left me on red.
She was a child bride and she wanted to support legislation to end child brides, and Ian and Anisa gave her absolutely no help. That's just typical. We're doing it, guys. Listen, I keep seeing people say this conversation with Ethan and his iDubbbz former boxing coach or whoever is crazy. So now I'm curious. So now we're going to watch it and just see what's up, Let's see what we got here.
I think if they turn it back now, it might.
Oh, maybe try going horizontal again. Maybe we'll fix.
Yeah.
If you go, or maybe it has rotate. Oh, there you go. There. Thank you, guys. Thank you. There it is.
All right.
Thank you.
Harley, you here? Can you hear me?
So this is iDubbbz boxing coach, or is it the girl?
Harley, you're muted.
I was talking on a muted microphone. Can you hear me?
Harley, everybody.
Hey.
We sure can, buddy.
Yeah.
Now, Harley actually put me in touch with
Harley's becoming a regular on the show, dude.
With these guys. And so how did you guys connect? Kind of Michael, Kate, and Harley, you guys were in touch, right?
Well, I know them from Creator Clash, actually. That's how I met them. And I never saw the clip, Michael, of you saying that you could beat up all the coaches. I'm telling my coach, we'll see about that. I don't know. He's not going as hard as you do every day, but I don't know.
I don't know. I've seen Michael. He's a beast.
Yeah. I don't know where he gets all that energy. I'm not a morning person, so someone like Michael would piss me off. I feel like he's good to go first thing in the morning.
Is that right, Michael?
Not always, no. Sometimes I need a couple cups of coffee.
Oh my God, I love your guys' dog. Harley, 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 stand back. I love your.
Mike is a coach. I'm assuming it's this guy. Mike is the man. Is Mike a man? Is Mike a male name?
Doggy, what? A girl or boy?
Girl, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Aw, she looks so like a little puppy still.
Yeah, she still does. Yeah.
Little puppy.
What's her name?
Winnie, like Winnie the Pooh.
Aw,
Weenie. That's not a wiener dog.
I love her. She's got a little bowl cut.
Yeah, well, her hair's too long right now. We had to shave her body because we're up.
I have two
We're doing the coverage now, bro. What are you talking about?
terriers. I've got a Yorkie.
We met one of them when we were there.
Oh yeah.
We did.
Cool.
So, guys, first of all, thanks for calling. I really appreciate it. Great. Sorry. I have to request access for myself to access my nubs.
You dork.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, you guys know AB, right? I mean, AB was singing your praise, Michael. You were in his corner, right?
Hey, a bald guy. A lot of bald. Ethan's like collecting bald men.
Coach was unable to attend. That was so nice of you.
Yeah, I love AB. Yeah, I helped him train for a little while as well. I helped a lot of the fighters from Creator Clash 1 train.
Oh, that's a beautiful
but yeah, I love AB. He's a great guy. Yeah, I'll be in his corner any day.
That's
there
so
it is.
beautiful.
Oh.
He sounds a little zesty when he says that. I think that's a beautiful thing, brother. I think that's a beautiful thing.
But
So nice.
appreciate you. I actually, we were supposed to go out to eat, the three of us, recently, but my grandma got sick and I had to bail last minute.
Al, grandma, am I right?
Yeah, good to see you.
Fuck grandma.
And Kate, what did you do for Creator Clash?
I traveled with Ian and Anisa along with Michael, and I did all the recording for all the sparring sessions, all the meetups with all the YouTubers.
I feel like, I don't know, man. Like, apparently this conversation gets crazy, and I'm down for it. You guys know me. But I also feel like it's a little bit... It might not be confidence inspiring for some people, coming forward about them after the fact. Like, just on their business end. I love the drama. But you know what I mean? If I had a bad experience, I would probably just keep it to myself just because, I don't know, it looks weird, I guess, to other creators. But you know what? Fuck it, dude. We're here for the goon.
Even small interviews with Eric, who also fought on DC1. So I have a ton of content, and Ian promised us that he was going to put out this documentary that was going to share the journey of how Michael took this video game nerd and turned him into a boxer. And
whoa, that sounds like a cool idea. That's a great way to promote Creator Clash. Why didn't they do that?
so that's how they sold it to us when they first came to us. And so I was super psyched that this is going to be a way for me to help build my head.
That's an awesome idea. Wait, why didn't they do that? That's an excellent idea. That promotes iDubbbz. That gives him fresh content on his channel. That promotes Creator Clash. Why wouldn't they do that?
His brand and also put the work out there, but it never came through. And so when he most recently put that video out,
why? That's incredibly stupid. Not for her. Why wouldn't they do that? That's like that's literally amazing. That is like an amazing way to plug the content.
saying that he told
Or
a big,
Creator Clash.
big lie and he was never going to put out a documentary, and all he has is a ton of 4K videos of him doing stupid shit or something like that.
Oh my god, now I understand what happened. It sounds like he didn't think that it was interesting enough or something, and he just got uninspired by it. That's ridiculous. Hire somebody else to do it for you that maybe is better at putting out that type of content.
It's actually very hurtful to me.
That's your footage that he's
exactly,
talking about your footage.
Yeah.
Oh, she did the footage?
Exactly.
3 years. Yeah, 3 years with the
Wow.
Yeah, well, yeah. Before the 61 was filmed the year.
It was 10 months, yeah.
If was the footage not compelling enough, why wouldn't you go back and record more footage? By the way, this is my criticism against iDubbbz. If you didn't like the footage, why not go back and record more footage? Be like, okay, you know what? I don't know if this is enough to make a compelling video. Let's go back and get more footage.
He did. Was he paying you at the time, or like what? How was he compensated?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
So I do want to say that, like, for dynamic filming, I usually charge $150 an hour for dynamic filming. But because I was under the impression that this is going to charity, me and Michael, would always scale back on charging them. So, for example, instead of charging him $150 an hour, I would charge him $100 an hour.
Oh shit, dude, that's crazy. That's another way that they fucking like weaponize the charity event, kind of. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why even let somebody do that? Like not again. Like iDubbbz, she has money. Why not be like, no, I don't want to take that. Like blah 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 blah. You know.
And by the way, I've heard that from other professionals now. I'm starting to hear people say that, who, like one of the announcers put out a video recently. Maybe you guys saw it. He was like, Wade. Yeah. He was like, they offered me a salary, or they offered me payment, but I declined it because I was like, it's for charity. I'm good. But then they took that money that he generously forfeit, a guy who's not rich, by the way, and gave it to all the fucking creators. It's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. I think no. That's not an issue. That's not an issue. Here, I'm going to tell you what the real issue is. That is not an issue. It's not an issue. The issue to me is that they didn't force him to get paid, right? Like he's like, oh, I want to donate my time for a charity event. And they're like, okay. It makes sense that they would pay the boxers, but like they should have been like, no, we want to keep everybody whole. We want to do this as a charity event, but we also want you to have a good experience, etc. The fact that they're taking freebies from people that don't have the money to really be giving freebies is just shitty. And like, I don't know if it's exploitative, but it's just shitty. Like, just be like, no, listen, we know we want to make this, we also want there to be an element to this that is a, that is a charity event, but like we also want like you guys to be made whole. We want to pay you, we want to pay the fighters, because we feel like we need to make everybody whole to keep the event going, to help raise awareness. That is how you would operate in this. But instead it was like they'll let some people do this supposed charity event for free, and then other people they'll charge, and then, or they'll give money to. And it's like, why is this so inconsistent? Sometimes it's a charity event, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, like we were also promised a bonus on CC1 and we never got it. But because Michael was so nice, he didn't want to like make Ian feel uncomfortable and ask Ian and Anisa about it. I was pretty upset by it.
Why? His wife makes him uncomfortable all the time with the way that she speaks online.
And I thought it wasn't fair because...
Dude, I hear that there's something in this like video that makes Ian look like he's like a dirty rat. That's what like an actual like a doesn't shower, like Asmongold level, like disgusting.
How is it that we put on this great event, we raised $1.3 million for charity, and he promised us a bonus, and then right after the event, he just kind of pretend like he's too busy to check in with us, and then we...
Yeah, after the event, like, once the event ended, I didn't see him again for about 5 months. So, because he was working with Dax on some show, and so he never trained. So the only 8 times that Ian ever actually trained was, I trained him from July until May, and then I didn't see him again.
He didn't even complete his training.
And pretty much for several months. And then he started training again to fight Alex. Pretty much we started at like the end of December. And then that's when like they had to kind of get serious with the camp because they realized like Alex was training hard. So really I only had 10 months with him to begin with, and then about 4+ months with him for the second event. And then I've never seen him again since then.
Yeah, I was talking to AB. I think it was pretty normal that the boxers at least gave their coaches a tip, especially because you were there. You weren't just working.
Tipping your fucking boxer, your coach. What the hell?
For him, you were helping everybody out. It seems like you guys were both like super involved in this event.
Yeah, one of the reasons he was even able to kind of connect with Manny Pacquiao's people who hooked him up with Michael Leonardi was like one of our connections. Our friend Eric ran into a guy in a bar in Vegas, and that was the guy they were supposed to get a hold of. But
I've done that before too, man. I'm at a bar and all of a sudden, boom, come right out, hit somebody with my fucking car. It's like, damn, I didn't even know this was a sidewalk. You know what I mean?
not reaching back to him. So we were able to get them connected with the people that connected them with Michael Leonardi. So we were literally there from the, I was there from the beginning for everything.
So you guys had a really unique point of view where you had like a front row seat to everything.
Yeah.
It seemed like you were with them intimately more than probably anyone else involved in this event. So there's all these interesting little details that you guys shared with me. For example, one being that I think it was you, Kate, that mentioned that he and Anisa did in fact pay for Hassan and all of his compadres to travel to and stay at Creator Clash 2.
Yes.
Yeah. So they were talking.
Really? Damn, this really is just trying. They really just trying to make this a fucking Diddy party, baby. What the hell?
Talking about that long before, about how they had to fly in all these people. First of all, they rented the hotel for over 300 creators and flew a lot of them in. When the first year it was much more scaled back. We just had a couple floors of like someplace like a nice suite place, but it wasn't extravagant at all. And then a second year they did that full hotel for 300 creators. They flew a lot of people in. One of the people they flew in was Froggy Tonic, and they flew him in from France.
That's insane.
Wait, the guy. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. The guy that iDubbbz swore he had no association with from the start, he flew him in to hang out with him for Creator Clash? That is actually insane. Not only does that make them look like dishonest pieces of dog shit, because they obviously had higher associations with him than they were pretending that they actually did. But also, you're wasting money that's supposed to be for charity to fly people out when you're millionaires. You could just not. That's actually hilarious. This is insane. This is some 4K shit right here. This is insane. Oh my God.
He had told us that he was there to salvage the documentary.
Yeah.
And that was super offensive to us because we're like,
salvage the doc. They didn't even produce. Did they even produce a documentary?
what do you mean salvage the documentary? And he said his job was to go around and like film Anisa having interactions with everyone. So we didn't know if that meant they were going to make the second documentary about how or that.
Dude, why if they were like, hey, listen, like we like some of the footage you use, but we feel like like we can't necessarily go in this direction. We need more. Why not just be transparent and like polite about that? Why turn this into like why turn this into something? Like that's my thing. You know, because there's nothing wrong with that. Being like, oh yeah, we don't know if this is like enough to necessarily make a you know, whatever it is. What the hell am I saying? Like this may not be enough to make a documentary about in the way that we want to, but like, you know, we're gonna go in like a direction, try to get somebody else who like does this kind of, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with that, but that doesn't seem like the communication.
The actual documentary about how like Anisa was responsible for the event, because she did put a lot of work in for the first event and she did put a lot of work in for the second, but at the same time, in the first event she didn't get credit for it, so she felt like she deserved.
But isn't she like a financially like bound to the event? How did she not get credit for it? What?
All the credit, so I think that's why they paid Froggy Tonic to come film her and follow her around for the second.
Oh, okay. So basically, what happened was Anisa was upset that she didn't get all the credit for an event, and so okay, gotcha. So they needed to stroke Anisa's ego. Okay, so a lot of this just seems to be about Anisa's ego. Got it. Incredible.
Event. But yeah, they flew in a lot of people. They rented out the whole hotel for 300 creators. And when we asked them if Ian's dad was going to be there, because he was there for the first event, they said they couldn't afford to fly Ian's dad in. It was too expensive.
Why didn't they just use their own money? What? What? This makes no sense. Wait, what? Dude, these guys are so scummy.
Yeah. I know, it's pretty sad. And Froggy Tonic told me directly, because I met him at the hotel, right, where we were all staying at in Tampa for CC2, and he was like, oh, you're the videographer that has all the content of Ian sparring, and I said, yes, I'm super excited. I've been waiting for this documentary, but it never came out. So I heard that you're taking it over now and you're gonna help with the editing. And that's when Froggy Tonic told me that, yeah, Ian and Anisa brought out his whole crew from France.
His whole crew?
I think it was just him.
Well, he had
The whole crew they brought? They bought out the whole crew. Oh my God, dude! They're just like they're spending money like they have it. That's incredible.
a few people that were holding the cameras, his camera guys. Because the interesting thing was that usually when like someone is a videographer, they would be the one filming most of the time. But it was interesting to me that
he was just directing.
Yeah, he was more directing.
This fucking guy thinks he's Spielberg?
This is incredible. I love this. This is fucking slopping me up.
Crazy.
What the hell's going on?
People with him that were actually
This is slopping my top right now. This is crazy.
work.
I don't remember that, but I do remember for a fact that he had told us that he was flown in to salvage the documentary. Anyway, so we were just offended by that because we were like, what do you mean salvage the documentary? And then him saying that he had no idea how to make the documentary for the first event. I had taken him from like 140 pounds as like never played a sport a day in his life. 10 months later, he ends up fighting Dr. Mike in front of over 10,000 people with 100,000 pay-per-view
I
boxing.
can't believe they got Dr. Mike to do the first event. I wonder why Dr. Mike stepped away. Because I feel like Dr. Mike is like a really good guy, and I feel like there's a reason, you know? Maybe I'm speculating too much, but Dr. Mike, I like Dr. Mike. He's great. He's a smart guy. But for him to not do the event again, so, I mean, maybe he just kind of he gave up on it. He's like, I was a lot. I don't feel like doing it again. Or maybe there was something a little sketchy going on there, dude. I don't know.
And the fight itself was like a rock and roll.
He would never say anything. He would never be like, oh, I'm going to take it. You know what I mean? Like he would keep it.
And then he literally took interviews with everyone before the fights, after the fights. He got all the coaches to interview. And then he said he had no way to make the documentary. So I was just like, how can you not make it?
Yeah.
AB made a documentary.
Everybody made a documentary.
AB, Harley, I was in their documentaries, but I was
So are you saying that they spent a bunch of money? Like, did they not make a documentary? Oh, they said that they wouldn't feature them in the documentary. Wait, what?
just like, how can you not make an interview? And then he said he had no way to make the documentary. So I was just like, how can you not make it? AB made a documentary.
Everybody made a documentary.
AB, Harley, I was in their documentaries, but I wasn't in Ian's documentary.
What the fuck?
That's so strange.
Fuck.
Why?
Yeah, it's so sad to work on an event, like to work such a big event like
You guys are so invested. Yeah.
we're so invested.
And it would always drive me crazy because I could tell Ian wasn't really proud of his work. So one of the big things is like it was very hard to get Ian to train because he doesn't like boxing. He doesn't like boxing.
Well, that seems to be a
and that makes sense that he doesn't like boxing. It seems, again, what did I say? I'm telling you right now, I keep saying that Anisa wanted him to do the boxing event. He never wanted to do it, and that's why we are where we are. I don't think it's unreasonable.
somewhat of a
Problem?
a sticking point.
Yeah. So I would try to make the session
Because he's boxing, just to be clear. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't-
but I think that's why it was as traumatic as it was for him as well, because he was dealing with like a lot of trauma and a lot of issues when we were in our boxing sessions. And don't get me wrong, that happens with a lot of fighters in general, because fighting is very hard. Like, whether you're fighting MMA, boxing, whatever, it's very hard because you're getting beat up constantly, and then you're supposed to show up to the gym the next day and the next day and the next day. AB can attest to it, right? So it's mentally very hard. So I did feel bad for him because I could tell his heart wasn't into it. So then to be into something like that your heart's not into, that's why I didn't see him once the
I
first.
totally get that, but also, and I don't mean to be this guy because it's a little preachy, but your heart's not into a charity event, bud. Okay. I could understand. Why do the second one? Give it your all in the first one and say, I have to get through this, but I'm never going to do it again. Hey, that's respectable. No? I think that's a kind of respectable thing to say. No?
First event ended, we didn't see him again for several months. And I told him, hey, come in once or twice a week, train for fun, make it fun for yourself. Because when you're in a fight camp, it's not really fun. You just have to keep training.
Right.
But then he never came back. And then so I was like, oh, wow, he really doesn't like boxing. And then he did an interview with Anthony, or the guy from Smosh, and he was talking about boxing. And I was just like, oh, he doesn't like boxing at all. And he's making it like public now the way he was talking about it. And then even in the video where he's trying to promote Creator Clash 3, he said, oh, all I have is 4K footage of me going, and it's like, that's called boxing training, Ian.
That's what boxing looks like.
Yeah, that's literally what you're doing. And then if you notice, after he walked out of the third event and stepped away, he goes, I'm through with this boxing shit. I've been doing it for 4 years. And I was like, well, wait a minute. You trained for 10 months for the first fight. You took 6 months off. You trained 4 months for the second fight. And then you never came back to boxing again for over a year. So I'm like, how are you sick of boxing? Like, you obviously hate boxing. So, yeah, so it's hard.
Which there's nothing wrong with. It's just that, like, it's all these things compounded together. You know, if he's like, I really fucking hate boxing, that's fine. But he's also an asshole. You know, it's one thing to do it because you wanted to maybe try to help do a good thing, yada, 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 charity, all that nonsense. But then you do it and you treat it like shit. You don't really do what you're supposed to do. You fuck up this, you fuck up that. You go, this guy's actually insane.
Hard for me as a coach to just get him to train. Also, like half of the sessions, we'd have to train Anisa. So every session, instead of being just training for Ian for a fight, I would have to take half of the session and train Anisa.
So whose idea was that?
Hers.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Why did she need to get trained? Why did she need to also get trained? I don't understand that. Is it because she wanted to? They were having this guy do double work without the extra pay, dude? Just so Anisa could feel nice about herself? What the fuck? Oh, so they overworked the people too. Incredible.
But the thing about it is, Ian goes along with it, right? Because I feel like if Ian would have said, "Hey, no, I need the time to train,"
that's what I'm telling you. Yes, Ian goes along with it. The one thing that drives me wild is that this, like, it's constantly like Anisa bad. You know, she cucks iDubbbz, blah 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 blah. iDubbbz doesn't set boundaries. He's the problem. He's more of the problem. Just because she's more vocal and loud and boisterous doesn't mean that, like, he's a nice guy by comparison. He's a coward who sits there like a little fucking, like, Peter Pettigrew on her shoulder and then jumps out and bites your little testicles. That's who he is. He is the problem. That's what it is.
It might have been different, but he's just like, "Oh no, she needs to train before I train."
But she didn't even fight. She wasn't even fighting.
No. And so literally, in like the training footage,
Why didn't she fight if she wanted to train?
half of the sessions I had with him would be with her. And then she would come in with like all sorts of drama to the gym. One day she was super dramatic and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" And she related Will Smith slapping to Chris Rock to somehow Ian having to defend her online. So she was like super dramatic the whole day. And I'm like, I can't even train Ian today because she's so dramatic.
Oh my God, guys. Well, it's confirmed. It's definitely confirmed that the internet shit really gets to her. That's kind of funny.
So that was
Give me a sec. Give me a sec.
Keep fucking my mouth.
The slap? The slap. Guys.
Yeah, yes. She came in distraught, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what happened?"
Yeah.
She's on Chris. She's on the slapper side, right? Like she was empathizing with Will.
Was she on Chris Rock's side, or was she on crystal meth?
She felt like she felt like Will was Ian.
He had to slap.
Ian has to slap all the people that insult her, I guess.
Oh my God. I love how petty this is.
Wow.
And so, but anyway,
That's true. Will, I'm not putting this word. This is my observation. Will Smith is one of the most famous cucks.
Okay. Kind of true. Kind of mean.
And again, that's my analysis, not your guys. But it is an interesting analogy, right? For them to be idolized because Jada famously had an affair with her son's friend. You know, so
That's true. Yeah, that's terrible. You're making him relive the trauma, Ethan. What the fuck?
I wonder if that's how they relate more so than the slapping.
Keep fucking my wife's mouth.
You know, yeah, it's just me. I'm
Damn, that's so mean.
doing a little psychology here. Psychology in Los Angeles.
I think she was also still in love with Tupac Shakur, and she would kind of burden the relationship with that as well. So,
I got a couple questions actually. If you don't mind.
Harley, what's up, man?
Yeah,
Please, by all means, yeah, chime in anytime.
Okay, yeah, I had a couple questions. Let me get.
What's
Let me set
happening?
this up right here properly.
oh my God, this is so stupid. What a stupid bit.
Get this in order. Did you guys get any paperwork, by the way? Did you guys sign contracts? The fighters had contracts. I'm curious if the coaches had.
No, we never had contract.
No.
Oh, interesting. Because that would have been like something that would have detailed what's like what like I mean, did they, I guess by word they told you it was charity and they didn't ever.
Right. Yeah. So and I'm still hoping that the first event was all charity, other than Ian taking his fighter purse. But what was crazy about that is then you said you had a $27,000 bonus, and I was always under the assumption that there was no bonus because even though he told me there was a bonus, he then disappeared for 6 months and I never saw him. So I was like, was there a bonus or was there not a bonus?
And you confronted about that? You asked them, or you didn't want to?
No, I just let it be.
Because I'm the same way, by the way. I never
Let me tell you, I would confront about my money, baby. Fuck it.
spoke about money with Creator Clash. I have a guy on my team that does that. I wanted to not talk about money, and plus, it's awkward when it's a
Well, you got somebody else to talk about it for you, you know.
charity thing. You're like, I don't want to. Am I
Dude, it's so weird.
gonna ask for
Yeah,
money?
yeah.
I this is so strange, but like, it feels like this charity. This is gonna sound so crazy. It feels like this charity event was just kind of like a pushy weasel trying to have sex with some girl, and it wasn't like non-consensual, but it was just like, like you feel bad for him kind of a thing. Like, oh, it's a charity event. I guess I kind of feel bad. I guess I'll fuck him. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's like that's what it is, because they wouldn't even like advocate for themselves because like, oh, it's a charity event. But was it? I don't know. It's a little sketchy at this point.
Right.
Yeah, and it's awkward when it's your fighter and then you have to train him for a whole nother event. And I mean, truthfully, like a lot of times fighters will say they're going to pay a coach and then not pay a coach. So that happens sometimes. So truthfully, unfortunately, I'm used to that, right? Where they're like, oh, there's more money coming in. And then the more money coming in just goes to them.
Oh, so I see. Okay. So he's saying that like there's probably additional incentives from like fighters where it's like, hey, if we win, I'm going to pay you more because like you helped me win. And then like sometimes they won't honor that. Okay, I see.
So you get used to that as a coach, but I am under the assumption that the first event did all go to charity, and then the second event was supposed to go to charity, but instead it went to the hotel, the pre-party, and after party.
Was there a moment
about the after party? Because he said he was using the after party to help promote the event, but I have no idea how an event after the fight will generate money for the fight.
Well, so that's it.
Yeah, it doesn't at all. It's stupid.
And
again, like they could just, like, I don't know. Did they use event money for those fights?
his most recent video of concern trolling, in the beginning, he says he's explaining how they lost money in the second one, and he goes, the event before the boxing was to promote it and that sounds reasonable and normal. But I don't think he even mentioned the fact that there was a massive gala after the fight where Anisa got to play as MC and give out awards and shit.
So we actually didn't even know about the gala until about probably maybe less than a week before the event, or a week before the event. The only reason I knew about the gala was because Ian had invited some of his training partners, and they were on the email list, and so they kept telling me there was going to be a gala. And I assumed they were talking about the pre-party, because the first year they did do the pre-party, but it was much smaller. It was on a way smaller scale than the second year. And then also, so we had no idea.
Dude, they just did this whole Creator Clash thing so that they could have a big old party. That's crazy.
So when everyone was asking me about a gala, they're like, "What are you gonna wear?" I was like, "I'm gonna wear sweatpants. What are you talking about?" And then they're like, "What? You're gonna wear sweatpants to a gala? You're crazy." And I was
The
like,
first year, it was like the first year was like a little party thing. It was like a Sweet 16 vibe,
which is
with
all you
little,
need.
Like, game set up.
That's it.
We
so
had
it's totally,
Super Smash Brothers set up. It was in the hotel both years.
That sounds great.
It was much more casual, but if you dressed for that, like I was told specifically to dress nicely for the gala, that there would be pictures and such.
We found out it was a red carpet event that they flew Getty Images in for. So they straight up flew Getty Images to take pictures for the event. But
they're the only. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when we asked them about it, and I said, "Hey, is there a gala?" And they said, "Oh, you guys don't even worry about it. You don't have to go to that." And I said, "What?
What the hell, dude? Wait. Did they just like fucking hate this guy? Why are they treating him so poorly in all these instances? Oh, you don't have to worry about going to the gala. He's their fucking trainer. Why wouldn't you want him to be there? It just seems so unappreciative. What the fuck?
This is what Anisa said." And I said, "What?" And I said, "Well, some of the sparring partners got invited." And she said, "I don't know how they got on that list. They weren't supposed to be on the list." And in my mind, I'm like, Ian had invited them. He sent them the email personally.
What
right?
a disgusting human being she seems to be. I'm sorry.
She didn't want any of us there. She
What
only
are you sorry for? She definitely is.
wanted like creators there, or people that would, I guess, make her feel like she could get more clout. So she told us we didn't have to come to the event. She doesn't know why we would want to be at the event. And I said, "What's the event for?" And she said, "And it's an award show." And I said, "What are the awards for?" And she said, "They're awards for the boxing." And I said, "Why wouldn't his coach want to be there? Why wouldn't his team want to be there?" I was like, "That makes no sense." So everybody else, all the other coaches I talked to, I said, "Hey, do you guys
I don't know. Maybe these guys are real pieces of shit behind the scenes or something.
about the
I mean, that's me playing devil's advocate. You know, maybe we're all so caught. The problem is that like I think Ian and Anisa are big pieces of shit. So it's hard for me to believe that these guys would be big pieces of shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't put it past Ian and Anisa to treat people like dog shit. So you know.
gala? They said, "Yeah." I said, "Did you bring a suit for it?" And all of them had freaking like 3-piece suits with like crew chiefs and everything. I had sweatpants. I'm like,
"Oh, dude, that's so messed up. Why? It's like you're the guy connected with the event organizers, and they're explicitly excluding you guys."
I know why. I honestly believe that the reason why Ian and Anisa excluded us and did not want us to know about the gala is because we're both very professional, we're both very direct, and very transparent. If they told us that they were going to throw a huge gala after the fight and it was going to cost a ton of money, we would have asked them, "Why are you doing this?"
Yeah,
because Anisa already told us.
Maybe
She shared with us prior to CC2, like a month before, that they were negative. Was it 500K already?
Yeah, she. At the
Whoa,
time,
whoa, hold on. Say that again. Say that again.
they were negative 500K before the event.
Yes.
they're negative. How are they down $500,000 before Creator Clash 2?
Oh, so going up to the event with the ticket sales and the PPV sales, when the event started, they knew they were down $500,000.
Yes.
Keep in mind that they moved to a bigger venue and they sold a lot of tickets. But before the event had started, they said we're fine. So the reason we found this out was because I wanted Ian to start doing 2 training sessions a day. And I said, "Ian, you need to start doing 2-a-days." And he was like, "Why should I do 2-a-days?" And I told him, I was like, "Ian, you're not good at boxing, man. My brand is at stake. So you need to do 2-a-days." That's what
That actually makes sense. I mean, if this guy's going to coach Ian, he doesn't want him going out there performing like shit because it makes him look bad as a coach.
pro boxers do. And so I
Wait,
told
did you
him,
actually say that to him?
Yeah, yes. And then I told him, I said, "My brand is on the line." I said, "You can go back to YouTube. My whole life is fighting and coaching fighters." And I'm like, "So if you don't have a good performance, that's going to look bad on me." After the first event, for the first event, he didn't do any of his cardio. So that's why I ended up gassing out so bad. And I truthfully believe if he would have just done his freaking cardio, that he would have won that fight. But they couldn't do the cardio because 10 weeks before the first event, Anisa wanted them to buy a house. So instead of doing 2 training sessions a day at that point, they had to cut out training to go look to buy a house. And he moved into his new house the week before we left to Florida. So he literally wasn't training like he was supposed to for that whole first event because they wanted to go buy a house when they could have just rented a place for 6 months or a year. And then Ian could have focused on the fight, had the fight, and then found a new.
Damn, dude, it's a shame that Ian didn't even seem to have a particularly high priority on the event. Like Ian didn't even seem to take it very seriously. He wouldn't even train properly. Why would he expect anybody else to take his event seriously? This is fucking insane.
Place. So I found that super offensive. I'm like, "You're not doing anything I'm telling you." And they would lie to me and he would tell me he was doing his road work.
He would lie? Why would he lie? That's like lying to your doctor.
It made no sense because he acted like I told him to do things because I wanted him to do them. And I really wanted him to do things because that would help him win the fight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when I tell him, "Hey, you need to do this," he'd be like, and then not really do it. He didn't realize how important cardio was until the second fight.
What do you mean he didn't realize how important cardio is? That's like the entire thing. Yeah, that's everything. That's the whole thing.
It literally is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, hearing all this, strikes me as ironic because he was always, and Anisa, going on about how they hold boxing in such high esteem and they want everyone to train, and this is life or death. This is serious. You get in the ring and people die in the ring. And hearing.
I love how Anisa was so butthurt that they had to like revamp whatever documentary that they were doing to make her look like fluff her up when she literally could have just fought in the event. She was already making somebody train her when they shouldn't have been. So why not just play in the event?
Him speak so loftily and respectfully about boxing, but then hearing he's like, oh yeah, no, I lied to my trainer about running. It's like, what?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that
I ain't trying to run either, dude. That's why I would just not accept the event.
was them regurgitating what I would say. A lot of it, when I would tell them things about boxing, they would go repeat those things. I don't know how much of it was like them actually believing it. But so for that second event, so I tell him he needs to do 2 days. This is like 2 weeks before the fight. I'm like, we need to do your 2 days. And I said, my brand is at stake. Well, he went and told Anisa that I told him my brand was at stake. So the next day she comes into the gym super mad and she's like, our brand is at stake. We're $500,000 in the hole right now.
Oh my God, she's such a cocky fuck.
I wish I knew that. I wish I knew that at that time. I think a lot of the fighters would have liked to have known that. I don't think none of them needed to be in the dark about that, you know?
I think that it makes sense that you guys were in the dark about that. Like whatever's going on behind the scenes with their debts. I don't think that they necessarily need to be part of that. It's just, it's a collective of everything. It's like, hey, here's the 17,000 ways that they are fucking mismanaging this event. And then on top of that, they're also in the hole. You know, it's a lot of little things that kind of add up to this. It's not just the one like, oh yeah, they were down money. It's just like, okay, they're down money. They're not respecting their boxers. They're not respecting their fighters. They're taking a bunch of money for galas. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're doing all these different things that make them look terrible. And it's just a collection of people just, or different events that just ruins their credibility. Like they're sitting here pretending they care about Creator Clash as a brand, but they don't care about that, or iDubbbz would have been training better and they wouldn't have done all this. I wonder how iDubbbz will respond to this. I wonder if he'll make another main channel video going, oh, I gotta respond, and then he'll just get locked into responding to Ethan, and we get like a glorious content loop. But here's my thing: I don't know how uncommon it would be to be $500,000 in the hole, like be financially in the hole in some capacity, right? Because it kind of makes sense a little bit to me to, you know, like you have to spend money to make money. It's just like if you had a successful first event, why go? Oh, this is because they had Sam Hyde drama that was probably like fucking flowing up too, that was like stressing them out as well. But it's like if you're that in the hole, why do everything that you're doing? Like why? I don't know. Why the big venue? Why? There's just so many questions, you know? And it's hard to parse through what is reasonable and an unreasonable question because they're just so, you never trust their interpretation of events, you know? Like how do we know what they're justified in doing and not justified? Because they're such pieces of dog shit.
Yes, completely. Well, and that's the thing. They said you guys didn't promote enough, but they weren't honest about the fact that they were spending the money from the ticket sales on the hotel, on flying people in, on all these other things. So, just those
decisions, the gala decisions were made while in the red.
Bro, this is going to be like, maybe this is crazy, but why wouldn't they just rent like a fucking trailer or something? I don't know. I understand they want the fighters to be comfortable, I guess, but there was no alternative to making things a little bit more cost effective and better for this charity.
Yes,
I have a question about that.
So she was like, we're already down 500,000, and she still had time to cancel stuff when she said that. Like how before the event was that?
I mean, it was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks before the event. I mean, they
could have made some last minute moves. Yeah,
they knew they were 500K in the hole long before that, right? That's just when they yelled at us about it.
Yeah.
So they could have definitely made moves to reduce spending.
We wanted that award show so bad the next day. They really wanted to have that award show so she could give out awards. Once again, you had heard like Ian said he didn't want to have the fight just end and have everybody go home the next day.
He said, I'll quote him because it's very rich. He says that the first time afterwards, he woke up and everybody was gone. And he found it super depressing because he didn't get a chance to process his trauma, which seems a little bit hyperbolic, frankly, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's like,
no, listen, I think it's totally fine. I think it's totally fine that after Creator Clash 1, iDubbbz had a hard time with the event because he doesn't like boxing and he got the shit beaten out of him because he didn't train correctly. And so he wishes that there was more of like a hangout the next day. I think that's perfectly reasonable. What's not reasonable is them spending tremendous amounts of money for a big gala afterwards instead of him simply paying for people to stay in a hotel with his own money as a millionaire and then taking them out to breakfast the next day. Why does it have to be such a big thing? You can't, I'm not even trying to be that guy. It would have cost him, let's say, to have everybody stay, let's say it cost him 10 grand to have everybody stay an extra night and then pay for their breakfast. That's a lot of money, but like, that's probably way more money than it actually would cost. And it's like, that's more reasonable. Even if you have Creator Clash pay for it, wouldn't it make more sense to keep it a little bit, a little bit cheaper, a little more cost effective? Wouldn't that just make more sense? That'd make a lot more sense to me. Keep it more cost effective. Do something small. Go out to fucking Go out to fucking Denny's. It doesn't have to be this event. If you're trying to process trauma, do something cheaper that doesn't have the significant negative impact. Yeah, afterwards we had Creator Clash. We had the Creator Clash money pay for everybody to go out to like a nice breakfast at a diner. Oh, okay. That's reasonable. It's something small, a comfortable little diner where we all get together and we have a nice time afterwards. It doesn't have to be this huge thing. It really doesn't.
It's like a self-inflicted charity event. I wouldn't call that exactly I wouldn't put that up with like maybe like fighting in a war. I don't know. But
Right.
but I guess we all define trauma differently. But so he goes, so in that case, I wanted to throw a party afterwards where we could all talk to each other and process our trauma. And then he says, we lost money, but I don't regret throwing the after party.
Yeah,
I think that was a lot of her words, because like he would say things that she would say, and so for example, he said, "Well, we thought inviting Hassan and all those other people was going to translate to more buys, pay-per-view buys."
And they didn't even promote. They didn't even care.
No, it made no sense to me. I'm like, people don't watch fights because Denzel Washington's in the crowd. They're not
Right.
like, Denzel Washington's there, I need to watch the fight.
Like, well, maybe it would have made more sense if they like actively promoted the event, but I don't even think that like they really promoted it. So it was just kind of like a wash.
Right.
Like, it makes no sense. And if they would have taught, so a lot of decisions before the first event, they like spoke with us about, because I know boxing, I've been around boxing my entire life. So I'm like, oh, I could help them with all these other things. And then for the second event, I felt like they wanted to make it much more like their own version of a TwitchCon, their own version of a VidCon.
That's what he said, yeah.
She said that she wanted to be like a VidCon. And we are new to the YouTube world. Like, we never been to a VidCon. And she's like, you guys haven't been before, but it's super cool where all these famous YouTubers come and everybody gets to vibe out. And so I was just like, is it like Comic-Con?
I really think that they just wanted to do some kind of event where they virtue signaled about charity, just to have an extravagant thing going on.
Yeah, he was really mad the first year that like, because she would always talk about a certain group of people. It was like somebody named Pokimane and all these other people. And she would always talk about how she wants like them to be there and she wants to be a part of their group. So a lot of it, and then so that's why like, and then the first year was like during that girl's birthday party. So
sorry. Knowing that detail, it breaks my heart that she had to settle for denims.
Yeah. I don't even know these people, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only people I really know in the YouTube world is you guys, because you guys were so nice to us. Like, we got more clout from being on your show than we ever did from working with Ian, because he would never show any of the work we did. He would
Damn, that's fucking crazy.
never. Yeah, and then everybody else, it drove me crazy. Like, AB would shout out his coach, Wale, Lucky Boy, yeah, and then
AB was all about it, man. And you know, the coaches deserve a lot of credit for what you guys.
That's crazy. I wonder how much like brand awareness they lost because they decided to do this fucking. They decided to do this whole like war with Ethan Klein instead of just like again letting him promote the show like he typically does by having people on. It's fucking funny.
Especially you guys who were involved with the freaking event, the management of the whole event, you know?
Right. Yeah. Mike Leonardi even said after the second event ended, when it was just him and I talking, and Mike Leonardi was like, man, these events wouldn't even happen without you. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, because he knows about the drama that I have to deal with training Ian and how hard it was to get him to train.
Yeah.
And so, because I think he knew Mike knew that I think Ian didn't like boxing either, just by the way, like he would interact with boxing.
So this guy, Mike, you mentioned him to me. I wasn't sure. He's the fight promoter?
So he was
Michael Hawk. Yeah.
Actually, so he was the manager that they got in touch with. So what happened to, man, the story of this event was amazing. Like, Ian had to reach out to all these people and they were weird. And then he reached out to Manny Pacquiao, and Manny Pacquiao hooked him up with a guy. And then that guy ends up putting him on a phone call. And that's how they met Mike Leonardi. And so Mike was a manager in Vegas, and he knows promoters, and he knows how to promote boxing events. And so the actual promoter was a guy named Ryan Rickey, who's like friends with Coach John Thompson, Jesse Thompson, and this guy Coach Rick.
That's Harley's coach.
Yeah, Jesse Thompson's Harley's coach. So anyways, he hooks us up with all these guys in Florida, and that's how we were able to throw the event. But it was like the craziest set of circumstances for us to end up where we ended up. So I wish Ian would have told the story. He should have been proud of the story.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of this before, but they got a pretty big boxing connect, so why not be more proud of that?
I had a quick question.
Michael Hawk, yeah.
You want to go or should I go?
Oh, I was going to say,
sorry, I'm being silly. Go ahead.
Roll it.
Oh,
Damn, it seems like Ethan's making a lot of new friends. Like Harley. Seems like a good, genuine guy, you know. And what's going on with iDubbbz? His friends, quote, air quotes, because I don't feel like moving my fingers. That's how lazy I am right now. They don't even want to talk to him.
Hila had a funny comment. She said,
"There's no boss here.
Hila donated. I hate when she does that. Why is she giving money to Google? That's our money.
That's what I keep, dude. My wife comes into my chat. If I ever, very occasionally, very rarely stream on TikTok Live, my fucking wife will come in and she'll donate money, and it pisses me off so much.
Anyway, she said, too much dumping in here. You guys stop. This is not what podcasting is.
That's so true. So true, Queen.
I know. I was afraid this was going to be an emotional dumping drive.
That was an interesting laugh.
And I was like, oh, I hope it doesn't sound like
anyway, sorry, Harley, go ahead.
I was going to ask, because just your opinion, do you think that they were intentionally misleading with any of this, or just sloppy in their execution and communication?
Just sloppy. I think it was just sloppy. Like, that's the thing. Like, I still I always had the best. You want to be around people that want the best for you, and I always wanted the best for Ian, and so I always felt like man, like we're going to break through. We're going to have this moment where we break through and things are going to be good, but then they never were. So in my mind, I think they just got sloppy. I think they thought in the second event they were going to do millions of dollars in pay-per-view sales. And so I think that's why they went so far in the hole, because they just assumed they were going to get these huge pay-per-view sales.
Just to be clear, Ila's joking. I don't know if you guys know that. The dumping thing is a joke about something Ian said.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want you guys to think that.
Yeah, I think they were in on the meme. It sounded like they were in on it, no?
That was... You guys dump away, please. We're here to dump. Yeah. You mentioned something. So this guy, Michael, Mike. So he left Creator Clash.
I guess he does not like being called Michael. And
went and started working for Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And he scheduled the Jake Paul event for the same day. Ian's old guy.
Oh, that makes sense then. Because he might have felt slighted by the way Ian treated him. That might make sense. That's funny.
How'd you do that on purpose, right?
I think he still owns.
That seems like it would be an on-purpose thing.
Creator Clash, that guy. I think he's still part of it. Well, it's just when you have like a Jake Paul, you can that's your thing. That's going to take priority over everything for sure. Like the event is 100 times bigger than Creator Clash at its best. But I think he's still involved with Creator Clash.
Oh, unless maybe there was a part of it that he felt like that weekend was like really good. He's like, this is a really good week to do for whatever reason, data-wise, to do with the event, and so fuck it, let's do it this week, regardless of the fact that like the Creator Clash is supposed to be then.
So, but then why would he do it on the same day if it wasn't Menace Shade?
It's a great day.
It's crazy.
It's so crazy to me. When we saw that, I was like, because we already knew it was the same night as it. So first of all, Ian never even reached out to me at all for Creative Clash 3. That's one of the big things I want from this is to like, because what happens when Ian messes with you or messes with these other people, a lot of it comes back onto me and either my YouTube channel or my Instagram, where people start putting a bunch of comments on my stuff. It's probably happening to Harley. It happens to everybody that's related to it, right?
Well, like what do they say?
They say fraud coach.
They're shit. What?
Yeah, talk about the sparring videos. People want to see sparring videos, but Ian never put out any of my filming, so people think that Michael didn't have him spar correctly.
People in the comments, they'll say, oh my gosh, you never had him spar, that's why he lost the fight. Oh, you didn't have him do this, that's why I lost the fight. And I'm like,
this is exactly what he was probably worried about when he's like, hey, this is my brand that we're talking about, please, and you need to like train and do this and take it seriously. And what happened, what he predicted was 100% true. That like people were blaming him. Oh, he didn't do enough. The coach was shit. The coach was shit. The coach was shit. That's actually crazy. Ian cares it's very clear Ian doesn't give a shit about anybody else but himself and whatever else his wife tells him to care about. That's 100% true, or clear rather.
If he would have released the footage, they would say we did all of those things. But now I have to try to stick up for myself. And
oh shit, dude, is it a whole conspiracy that like? Wait a minute, hold on. Wait, this might be crazy. This might be a crazy conspiracy. But is this kind of like a whole thing where, sorry, give me a second. Is this like a whole thing where they were going to they decided not to show the training footage for iDubbbz because iDubbbz was being lazy? But iDubbbz didn't want to take the blame for being lazy. He wanted people to think that maybe it was the boxing coach's fault for not training him the correct way. So he doesn't release the footage and makes up some bullshit excuse for it. I don't know, maybe.
Have my YouTube be an emotional dumping ground in my comment section. To try to protect myself. Or my brand. And so it was just crazy to me because
sorry about that, guys. Ian, now is not your time. We'll have time for you. Sorry about that. He's intolerable. Hila is loving this, by the way. She just gifted 20 members. Loving this. Ian almost has this superpower. Maybe it's Anisa together, but they say great leaders inspire loyalty. It seems that everybody in his life, he's forced to be disloyal. He has like negative leadership. What do you call that? What is negative leadership?
Abuse.
Abuse?
Yes.
So you think it's so I guess quantify that. Did you feel like abuse? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, the reason why I say it's abusive is because
it's probably not quite abusive.
Like for example, the bonus, right? They mentioned it to me, Michael, that they're gonna give a bonus after CC1, and then after the event was so great, they just went rogue on us, It's interesting because we invite them to our house for Thanksgiving, we're so nice to them, we open up our lives to them, they've met my kids, like our kids, and everything. But
they don't seem to care for people's kids at all. They won't even defend their friends' kids from CPS abuse, so CPS calls. So
and once the work is done and they don't need us, they kind of just put us at bay and they make it uncomfortable for us to reach out to them. Or if we reach out to them, they don't respond. So treating us like we're not really in their inner circle, which makes no sense because we worked with them for CC1, CC2. Michael and I have traveled with them to LA, Vegas, Florida. Keep in mind that when we were in Florida with them, we were with them for 2 to 3 weeks at a period of time. That's a long time to be with someone. You learn so much about the person, and then you start to realize, wow, everything that I don't want to say their enemy's name. What's his name? Sam. Like I don't want to say he's right, but when we saw that video drop,
no,
I was
he's
like,
right.
Oh my God.
You could say it.
I was like,
the one where he's like, well, hold on. So there's a video of Sam Hyde, and he goes, "She's gonna ruin his life. Mark my words. I guarantee it." Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, Anisa was the one that showed it to us because we didn't know nothing.
what was funny.
Yeah, it's crazy when you're giving W's to a fucking literal white supremacist, and I'm blaming Ian for this, by the way. Not Ethan.
too. It's like,
I mean, I was just thinking about that on the way to work because I saw that clip too, and I was like, damn, like Sam fucking, he was right.
well, so what's crazy to me is like, so for example, when
But again,
it's
it's
your show for
I just want to keep in mind it's iDubbbz's fault more than anything else. It's iDubbbz's fault more than anything else. iDubbbz is a weak coward who doesn't set boundaries. It's his fault. You gotta be kidding me, really?
Creator Clash 2, he would never say my name. He'd always just go Ian's coach or my coach. And then AB was the one that actually had to say my name. AB was like, oh, you mean Michael? And then I was like, thank you, AB. Appreciate you. But so, and then same thing when he did the other podcast, he said, oh, my coach is he's really tough. He has toxic masculine qualities.
Wait,
so
when did he say that?
What? I'm sorry. Are you telling me that iDubbbz told people that his coach had toxically masculine qualities? He's a fucking boxing coach. What do you expect from a boxing coach other than to be a little bit tough? You're getting ready to get punched in the face. You can't have a nice little sit together, gather around, get along. What are you talking about? That's crazy.
He said that when he was talking to
when you did the podcast
with the Smosh guy.
Dude, that's insane. That's fucking insane. Toxic masculinity from a boxing coach. That's fucking wild. Dude, it's a boxing coach. Like, it's not toxic masculinity if it's kind of needed. You know, maybe he was a little hard on iDubbbz. I don't know. Maybe that's his training method. And you want to know what? Maybe iDubbbz just didn't vibe with that training method. But toxic masculinity? Dude, this guy has never dealt with any other person in his entire life because that's just ridiculous. It's okay to be like, yeah, you know what? Sometimes you're just not going to vibe with like your boxing coach or your whatever. That makes perfect sense to me. I would not doubt that. You know, like not everybody's gonna vibe together, but fucking toxically masculine is so cringe, dude. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So he did that. And he
You know
said,
what?
Oh my.
He lost his mind. I'm sorry, but if anybody deserves to have toxic masculine traits, it's your boxing coach, okay? Get in line, bitch. You know what I mean? Go fucking wake up and run. Think about, you remember Mike Tyson's coach, this like grumpy, insane old man? Like, this is who you want to fucking coach you, dude. What are you talking about?
I didn't see the podcast you're talking about, but yeah, I know when I was training with Michael, I felt so loving compared to when I was fighting with Wally.
It sounds like
Wally used
Wally
to tell me you can punch me in my sleep and I won't blink. Yeah.
That's the thing, right? I actually had to learn how to talk to Ian from training because during one of the sessions when he wasn't supposed to spar, but then he ended up going to spar Alex Stearns one day.
Oh, I want to ask you about that.
Oh, it was hilarious. It was funny to me because we weren't supposed to spar that day. Actually, it was the morning that he released the Sam Hyde documentary.
Yeah.
So I had no idea he had so much going on because I didn't even know what the documentary was.
We didn't know who anybody was.
Anybody. I just want to control. I want to focus.
Oh, wait a minute. This was all going on at the same time as the documentary? So you're telling me that they brought that drama into the gym? Oh my God. This is fucking incredible.
On the fight, right? So he releases the
Maybe he was jokingly. Maybe it's possible. Maybe he was just joking about the toxic masculinity. Like maybe iDubbbz was. I mean, listen, what you're saying is possible. I just don't know. What the hell is this?
documentary, but we're in LA, we're visiting gyms.
For
and we're
your
supposed to watch
podcast.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's for that. But we wanted to watch Alex Stearns train. So we go to Alex Stearns' gym, and the coach of the head guy of the gym, the owner, says that he doesn't believe women should fight. So Anisa gets really upset and decides the owner of the gym said that.
The owner of
You probably shouldn't say that, but it is what it is, right?
So Anisa got so offended that she said Ian needs to spar now today. And we're like and then so
and I'm like, man, to get slaughtered by Alex Stearns, who's like some kind of like boxing savant or something. He fucking annihilated him, dude.
Yeah.
So what happened was, it was funny because Alex has really thick glasses. So he took his glasses off and he can't see anything. So he just starts swinging haymakers.
Oh, he couldn't even see.
Oh no, but Ian like froze.
Oh wait, and also before the filming, so before they did the sparring, Anisa and Ian runs up to me and they're like, Kate, make sure you film this because we want to put on our YouTube channel in the documentary, how does a 3 week of training look like and 3 months of training look like? Because Ian at that time had been training for 3 months with us. And so I filmed
and Alex 3 weeks, he just started.
Yeah. Well, and the thing was, skill-wise, Ian was much better. Ian wasn't just used to somebody throwing haymakers. And so Alex comes out and just starts hitting him with haymakers. And the first 2 rounds, I was talking to him very softly. I was like, Ian, are you okay? Can you throw punches? If you can't throw punches, I'm going to scrap this sparring because you're not throwing any punches. And then he's like, no, I'm fine. And then 2 rounds later, then I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? And then he went on the small show and he was like, yeah, it's bad enough when you get beat up and your coach is yelling at you too.
Shut up, dude.
I swear. Yeah.
Dude,
that's kind of like the mentality you have to be a fighter. What the fuck?
The audio of any corner. That's how the corner's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Dude, iDubbbz pays a therapist to give him like a hug box. I'm convinced of it. He's getting pissy at his fucking trainer for being like a little tough on him. You're in the middle of getting beat up. That's kind of what you need. You need somebody to be like, hey, you know you're not supposed to get beat up here. Like, I don't understand. What is the expectation? He wanted his coach, his fucking boxing coach, his credible boxing coach to also be a fucking therapist for him and help him interpret information. That's what it sounds like to me, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Throw punch, man. Oh, here,
Yeah.
I have the reference here. Let's watch it.
Alex is a freak of nature, I gotta say.
I remember watching that, and everyone was like, "What was that?" Because it seemed everybody could tell he got pretty rattled by that fight.
Oh yeah.
Did you say? And I'm gonna. Did you say he cried?
Oh, we had to have a meeting.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, I would have cried too. I don't give a fuck about that. It's everything collectively, though, you know?
Oh yeah, so after that, so he was crying at the gym afterwards, and I said, and once again, I hate to hate on him for that because it's very emotional.
Yeah, for sure.
In some hard sparring, right?
Yeah.
So but then what happened afterwards was horrible because then we went back to the hotel, and then they were eating at Denny's.
That's why they didn't want him there. That's why they didn't want their own coach at the after party, because they were upset with him because he was toxic masculinity. And you know what's so funny about this? The irony of it all is the way that iDubbbz handled the event was toxic masculinity. Why? Because they're in the middle of a boxing event. This is like a big thing. It's happening now. Everything is going on. The coach is riled up. Ian's riled up. Emotions are high. Things are happening. Ian gets the shit beaten out of him. He starts crying. That's okay. It's an emotional release. He's mad in the moment. Nothing wrong with that. But after you process information, after like a couple of minutes, you come down and you're like, okay, you know, I understand the optics better. I'm angry. The only thing I'm worried about right now is this fight. I'm no longer angry. I'm calmed down. Hey, sorry. Sorry, I was a dick to you. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to be pissed off at your coach in the middle of the heat of the moment. But he never let it rile down. He never let it dial back. That's what the problem is.
And they said, we need to have a meeting. So I had to go to Denny's. And they pretty much then talked about how they were going to have to fire me because I reminded Ian of his father when his father would yell at him as a kid. And
there is no way. That's fucking preposterous. That's actually so pathetic. Dude, grow up. That's crazy.
And so I had to relearn how to talk to him. And at the time, I didn't even mind because I'm like, as a coach, I need to learn how to talk to different fighters anyways. Like, communication is the most important thing. One of the most important things as a coach. So I was trying to turn it into a positive, but it definitely was. But he almost got fired at Denny's.
Yeah, exactly. After that sparring session. But
they did go to Denny's afterwards. Okay.
Started at Denny's.
Yeah, Michael and I rewatched the sparring, right, with him and Alex Ernst, and you could clearly hear that Anisa was screaming louder than Michael.
Yeah, so he was literally yelling at him worse than I was, but I was like, but apparently I was the one that I yelled at him and he froze.
It triggered him and he thought of his dad. That's what she said.
So we'd have to deal with things like that all the time, where it was like he wasn't even supposed to spar that day. Like, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
He didn't have a mouthpiece. He didn't have a mouthpiece, so they had to buy a $20 mouthpiece from the gym and put it in the microwave. It didn't even fit. It was ridiculous.
When you plan to spar like that, you want to prep. You don't want to just go into it.
You want to be like, ask AB. You want to be mentally prepared for a sparring day.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like a spar. It sounds like it's like a budget, actual, like, real fight, you know?
Okay, because it's
it's like testing your maxes before powerlifting meet. You know what I mean? Like, you're just seeing where you're at. It's not quite the meet, but you want to be pretty prepared for it.
My first sparring day, like it was so fucking bad. Like when I left and I came back, Wally started jumping all around the gym. He's like, I never thought I'd see you again. He goes, okay, the fact that you came back, he's like, now I'm in.
Holy shit!
But yeah, I was scared. I was supposed to spar Alex Ernst actually, because me and Alex would talk all the time, and I heard about this encounter, and I told Alex after that, I'm like, fuck that. I'm good.
Alex had a really good coach. Alex actually found a coach that, like, coached world champion boxers. I have no idea how he found the guy. The guy showed up the day of the event, like a couple hours before the event, and then he left right after the event. So he didn't stay for anything, Alex's coach. But he was a really good coach.
So he wasn't prepared to spar, and then Anisa put him up to it because she heard the owner of the gym is
is a misogynist. Gotcha.
The owner of the gym who's not related to the fight, really. He wasn't there. He didn't care.
So Anisa, this is what happened here, just to be clear. A guy said girls shouldn't fight that owned the gym, so Anisa wanted Ian to step up and spar to defend her honor, and then he got decimated, and he cried, and then he said that his trainer had toxic masculinity. And so is this not proof that, not to get all red pilly, but despite all the bullshit that Anisa likes to throw out there, at its core, women like a man that can kind of stand up for them, and he failed to do that? And now they're locked in a relationship of resentment. That's beautiful. What a beautiful... Oh, hey guys, have you ever loved before? Beautiful.
It was just some comment. So she had to prove something to the owner to have him beat up Alex, who doesn't have anything to do with him. They have a weird thing. They do this where they go, oh, really? If you think I'm an asshole, then you should hear about what this kid did, totally unrelated to me at the shooting range. You should hear what the owner of this building said. It's like, what are you talking about? What's that got to do with anything?
Yeah, it's like another rice gum situation where someone's beefing and Anissa's like, Ian, you better go through a fight now and beat him up and be a boxer.
Yeah, that was actually how the whole situation started, was because Rice Gum had texted Anisa, and he said, tell your husband to fight me, or tell your man to fight me, or something like that.
That would have made more sense. Rice Gum would have made a lot more sense of a person to fight, no? Doesn't that make a lot more sense? What the hell? Why not just do Rice Gum?
And that's how they ended up hiring me, because I was supposed to train him to fight Rystam. So I was like, all right, I'm going to have like 2 totally inexperienced people fight on some event. I had no idea what was going on.
Right. This is a lot.
The sparring thing is next level, because sparring.
Let me tell you something. Let me just tell you this right now. I love how petty Ethan is, because this is just so much fucking silly slop.
At our level, people don't spar in their first year of boxing necessarily, and it is really mentally and physically taxing. And if someone did boxing for 2 months and then sparred and then quit, I would understand that. And there's no way my coach would have ever, like, anyone could have been like, oh yeah, he's going to go do this or that if I wasn't mentally prepared for it. So the pressure aspect is really interesting, because I don't understand ultimately what was the point of that. It's just going to set things back, you know.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I would always try to be have Ian do very controlled sparring until like towards kind of more towards the last 8-10 weeks of camp, and then we would really pick it up. For the second fight, he sparred hard. He was literally stopping people in sparring. Even for the first fight, he actually had stopped Nathan Barnett with a body shot. He stopped Alex Idubbbz with a body shot. So he was actually in sparring. Like, once he got a little bit better, he was doing pretty damn well. But I agree, like, you shouldn't be putting people in early until they actually know not only how to throw punches and defend themselves, but also counter after somebody hits them. Because a lot of times they might know how to throw punches or even defend, but then they get hit and they freeze, or they just don't know what to do.
Right. So you were trying to dissuade. Did you try to dissuade him? Like, dude, you're not ready. This is.
I was like, we don't have a mouthpiece. We don't have headgear. We don't have the right gloves. I was totally trying to dissuade. I was like, you're not ready for this.
You should listen to your coach, probably.
It's hard
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
because like Ian, you could tell in his eyes he could not say no to Anisa.
Yeah.
So what is he gonna do? He's gonna just suck it up, go get that $20 mouthpiece right there, put it in the microwave, and put it in his mouth. That's what he did.
Yeah.
It's so terrible. This is fucking crazy. Ian looks like such a little baby poopy boy here. This is embarrassing for him.
But and then that
sounds a lot like the sexual stuff he enjoys.
Bro, it's so terrible, because this kind of like maybe sounds to some degree. This sounds like to like some capacity like it's just a first relationship. This is really just a first relationship. iDubbbz got married to a first relationship, and I want to be very clear. Like, there are people who can find the first person that they start dating and they get to be happy, and I'm not discounting that, but it's not Ian. He found a first relationship, the first woman to take his virginity in his like mid-20s or whatever, in his late 20s. And he married this girl, and they are so incredibly toxic together. They don't work together whatsoever. And it's just this is the outcome. It's so sad. It's so sad. And the worst part is that like every misogynistic piece of shit is right. Every misogynistic piece of shit that sat here and talked about how she was going to ruin his life, they're kind of right. But then also they're kind of wrong. Because like realistically speaking, like the problem is Ian. Because he doesn't set boundaries, because he's a pussy.
I made that. I don't know why. You know what? I apologize, guys. There was a moment about putting something in the mouth, and I thought, well, that's probably because of cuck thing. I just tried to, I apologize for that.
Yeah, that's how I got Giardia. Is that a new clip where they press a button to like pretend that they're gonna do a fucking the turn of the door off or whatever, the door that they're gonna pretend to hit the button? That's fucking funny.
It was again like I mean I always want the best for Ian, so I was always just a lot of these things were just very disappointing, especially when he came out and said he was never going to release a documentary. I was just like, what are you talking about? We have hours of footage, and I could see
I'd be pissed too. Yeah.
why they didn't want to make a documentary on the second one, because they didn't want to show how Anisa helped promote this whole event and it lost $250,000.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
No, I've heard Anisa talk a lot on the show and other places, and Ian was backing her up. She's like, she has amazing footwork. Like, she is like some natural gifted type of boxer. And I forget why they said she couldn't fight, but they're like, but unfortunately she can't fight. But if she could, she's like amazing.
Why can't she fight? What does she have, like a fucking autoimmune disease or something?
And so I was just kind of curious, because you were training her. Is she is she this natural gifted boxing savant?
So she did have some athleticism for a girl. But what would happen was when she would
they would get so triggered by that, which is like true though. Like, guys and girls are obviously going to be like a little different, Natural athleticism for a fucking girl, though, is just so funny, because she would get so triggered by that.
Come forward really hard. When she would come forward really hard. When she would come forward really hard.
Do you want to clarify that? You can.
Yeah. So, like a lot of women are just less athletic when it comes to boxing.
It's about throwing punches. It's about because men have.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. She was really good for. I guess you could. Who cares? Like, okay, he could have not said for a girl because it was implied, but who gives a fuck? It's not a big deal.
For upper body strength, women have more lower body strength in general, right?
Yeah, well, and I mean, there's plenty of women that that play basketball that will kill me in basketball, right? But fighting is a separate thing. Fighting is its own entity, and so I don't even almost consider fighting a sport, really, right, compared to other things. And so when you have some athleticism, for a girl, and like because she had played sports. That's more what I meant. Was she had played sports as a girl, so she trained with some athleticism. Ian had never played a sport a day in his life. Ian had zero athleticism, right?
Yeah.
So training
I
her
hadn't even had sex before. It's crazy.
was easier than training Ian because she had more athleticism. But what happened on her first sparring session, I would always tell her, you can't just come forward. You can't just come forward. And so she had a sparring session and she was just trying to walk forward. And then a girl punched her. And then I was actually watching Ian, so I wasn't even watching. I just heard a big pop. And then I looked over and she was kind of frozen. And then she said she had a concussion. Then the next day she went and told the doctor that she had a headache and sensitivity to light and pretty much all the concussion
The whole
symptoms.
entire list, like,
And
been
then-
on forever.
And then so we were like, oh no, she has a concussion. And then Ian's like, well, she's kind of a hypochondriac.
Yeah,
So we're like, oh, okay.
Ian actually
So
reassured
she got punched once, and then she decided she had a concussion. Oh, okay. Got it. It's incredible. That's incredible. Love it.
me because I was worried at that
She's not
time.
gonna like hearing that.
Yeah, I tried to check on her, and he reassured me. He was like, "Hey, don't worry about her. She's actually a hypochondria, and she does this often, where she self-diagnoses herself and freaks out.
She's not gonna
So
like that.
that's like, don't worry about it. She'll be fine." And I was
Damn,
like,
she got hit so hard she pretended she needed a doctor. That's incredible. Holy fuck.
"Okay." And
Bro, you know she felt stupid because she got fucked up. Like, you know she felt stupid because she didn't listen to the guy. And then afterwards, she got a concussion. I can't do this anymore.
she continuously talking about it on all her media outlets.
The thing that drove me crazy
Is that what
was
she said? She couldn't box because she had a like. What, do you remember what it was?
She was an athlete in high school and she had previous concussions, if I remember correctly, or
Okay.
something where the doctor told her it's too big of a
Well,
risk.
definitely don't
Oh, yeah? Do we think that's true? Okay.
box then.
Also, the doctor's going to tell you what you tell them. If I come in and I say I have sensitivity, light, and have headaches, they're going to say you have a concussion, right? So, and then the part of the story that drove me crazy.
Oh, I see what he's saying. He's trying to make you understand. Okay, he's trying to get you to understand that she probably doesn't really have a concussion, because you can kind of go to the doctor, and a lot of these things are like almost self-diagnosis. A lot of these things are kind of like almost self-diagnosed. They're not like, if you tell the doctor, "Hey, I got this," the doctor's gonna be like, "Oh, okay, cool," and they're just gonna let you do your thing. That kind of makes sense, and they're just gonna be like, "Okay, it sounds like you have a concussion. Like, you know, do your thing, head on over." You know, do what you got to do. That's what it sounds like. She just said she had all the symptoms of a concussion, and then they gave her they were like, "Okay, I guess you have a concussion, blah, 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 blah. You know, don't sleep for a day or something, whatever the fuck it is."
How all of a sudden she went from saying she had this concussion to she's had all these concussions while she was training. And then by the time she was on like your guys' show and these other shows, she's like, "I've had 11 minors and 2 majors." And I'm like, I've been around concussions my whole life, and nobody's like, "That was a minor. That was a major," you know? And so I was like, well, if you had 2 majors, that would mean you were like completely unconscious. And
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you had 2 major concussions, that's horrible. You guys remember that movie? There was like a parody movie of like a bunch of other it might have been like not another teen movie, where like the one fat guy had a concussion, then he got one more and he died or whatever.
she said she got him from like lacrosse and hockey. So I'm like, you're telling me that you got knocked out completely unconscious on the field, and then a few weeks later they're like, put her back on the field. I'm like, that makes zero sense to me. Like,
She's a liar. I mean, she does,
Anisa's lying about her medical issues for attention on the internet, basically. Jesus Christ.
lie. She lies about everything. It seems like.
Yes.
yeah. I just don't. And also like literally 2 majors. If she said she has 13,
Bro, you know what's crazy is that Anisa one day will find a nice man that won't put up with her shit, and she'll be a really good wife for that person. That's what's gonna happen one day. Anisa cannot be a good wife until she has a man that has some fucking balls and can push back against her. That's what she needs. She needs to be with Nicholas Diorio. A real man. You know what I'm saying?
11 minors and 2 majors. 2 majors would mean like you were completely unconscious, and
That's a lot of head trauma. You know what's ironic?
I mean,
Ian
the way she acts, would kind of believe it.
acts like that's what happened to him. You know,
Yeah.
but Anisa, she seems more in control than ever.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
She,
Well,
yeah, the master.
it's odd, and that's why like I felt so bad, because you could see. So the 2 of the best weeks, or one of the best weeks we had in training, was when she had to go visit her family in Canada, and then that was when Ian invited his sparring partners to the gala. I wasn't a part of that, but he went out and did like
They took him out to hot and cold plunge.
yeah, one of the guys that runs the gym. So first of all, the gym that we're out of is this guy Luca Hosever's gym, and it's called Vigor Ground Athletics. And he was the one that did their programming in the beginning. And when they went on some show and they were like, "Ian, how did you gain all this weight?" She was like, "Oh, I studied kinesiology."
That's
and I'm like,
crazy.
Wait. I'm like, how did you study kinesiology to gain weight? Like, that makes no sense.
What the fuck is kinesiology? What? Why would that? What?
In reality, it was Luca that was writing their programming for him, but they never wanted to give him a shout out. And that's when we realized they don't want to give anybody a shout out. Like, they would never give me a shout out.
The study of movement. Okay. Oh, what the fuck?
They would never give Luca a shout out. randomly enough, I guess occasionally they would give Mike Lee and Artie one.
Yeah,
But otherwise,
Dude, why are they so selfish? There's so many people around them that are helping them, that are taking less pay because they think it's a charity event, and they can't even like give them a nice basic shout out and being like, hey, like these guys did a great job. Why wouldn't you appreciate your team? That's ridiculous.
he's the manager and he had a bigger following. Unless you have a big following, she's not going to give you a shout out. She'll just suck the blood out of you and go away.
Oh my God, she definitely left a very negative impression for them.
yeah.
Do you think Anisa is the one calling the shots, though?
Oh, 100%.
I do, but it is also Ian that allows it to happen.
He enjoys
Yes, thank you. Yes.
it. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Wow.
We used to feel sorry for
Enjoys
Ian.
it.
What is
Yes.
happening with them?
Yes, he enjoys it. We used to feel sorry for him.
I did.
Yeah, we
All
both
the
did.
time.
We both did. Michael felt sorry for him up until CC2. After CC1, I cut that shit off because I was like, you know what? She's a fucking liar and he's a liar, and he enjoys
He goes along with it.
all the punishment that she gives him.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
She said that.
Yes, I agree with this 100%. I think it's time that like the more domineering personality in a relationship isn't the one that like is blamed for everything, because like these fucking other like people, some people are weak, and it's okay to be weak, but I mean you're fucking weak, you know.
She did that first interview, and I'm always like, I always want the best for my clients. So I'm like, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
Things are going to work out. They're going to give me a shout out. He's going to make this documentary, like all these. And she's like, they're never going to give you the credit, you know. And I was always
Yeah,
like,
that's
oh. And in my mind, I'm like, no, like I love Ian. I trust Ian. I feel like Ian's got like my best interest at heart too. But then he didn't. The time that I actually was finally fully fed up was when I had to ask them about the gala, and we were already in Florida. And I'm like, this is the last straw. Like,
Yeah.
you don't even. She's like, you guys don't have to be there. We didn't like.
You don't have to be there. Why wouldn't you want to be there? Why wouldn't you want to like, dude, it's just crazy. Why wouldn't you want to like honor your fucking team, man? The people that are putting in like time, energy, and effort. And it's so, and I hate to go like, this is going to be, we're going to get a little woke. Again, we see Anisa talk about how capitalism is like so bad and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, dude, I don't know. Like, one of the problems is like workers aren't appreciated enough. And then what are you doing? You're not appreciating your fucking workers enough. You know, I know maybe it's like a loose tying together, but you don't even appreciate your own workers enough. And it's like you're gonna play capitalists bad. And I don't buy for a second that they did all these like after party events and galas and all this shit for like out of this like altruistic sense of I appreciate all the people who fought for us, because they don't give a fuck about those people. It was all just an ego boost to say like, look at this thing we did, we're so amazing, and then they fucking failed at it.
She was practically telling us she didn't want us.
Disrespectful.
Crazy.
Disrespectful.
For no
So,
reason.
yeah,
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and the reason why, I also want to say the reason why, like, Michael and I, we were waiting for them to tell us about the gala, but they never did. So they waited so long, we got to Florida. We were 2 weeks away from the event, and they still haven't said anything to us. And at this time, all of Ian's foreign partners, there was probably like 4 or 5 of them that flew out, or I think 6 of them total, flew out from Washington, paid for their own flights, their own hotel, and they're all coming there to support Ian. And they all have been helping Ian throughout his fight camp, right? And so they're asking us about the gala, we don't know about it, so we were afraid that if all his teammates showed up, they might not be able to get into the gala. How embarrassing would that be if his teammates are not able to get into the gala because she doesn't want them to be a part of it?
Also,
so that's why we asked her directly, and that's when she told us about the negative 500K. That's when she told us
Oh my
about why
God.
would we want to be there.
Yeah.
It made no sense.
Also, all of his foreign partners paid for themselves to be there.
Correct.
Nobody, like, they would give him tickets to the event, but they didn't help anybody else get there that was a part of his team other than Kate and I. So,
Yeah.
otherwise, like, none of the, like, if you're throwing the event and you have all these foreign partners and training partners, I would think you would invite them before, like, 300 creators that don't mean anything to you.
100%. Yeah, you gotta think about the time that when they're sparring, all the his teammates that volunteer their time, they're sparring for free. They're taking time from their work, their family to come and contribute. They don't do this because, they're obsessed with Ian. They do this because they have loyalty to me and Michael and how we have helped them, and that's why they show up to spar with Ian. And all he does is look the other way when Anisa says uninvite them. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. It's disgusting. I can't. All we have to show is our hard work, and there's no way that I'm going to let Ian and Anisa take that away from us.
But what about their hard work where they failed the charity event? Charity.
That's crazy. What do you make
did
of
you guys
that?
know-
Oh, go ahead, Arlie.
Did you guys hear anything or know about how they chose the performers for the gala? The people that they put, there was a couple performers there that I was just curious if you guys had any insight on who they were or what the
Are you
connection
talking about
was.
like the comedians or who you talking?
Comedian and singer.
Right?
So
No,
who-
so 'cause
there's this
for the-
comedian that was allegedly paid $20,000 or something.
Yeah. So for the first event, we were a part of like a lot of those decisions. But for the second event, like I said, they kept us in the dark about the gala. Really, like it was my main responsibility to help with Ian's training, but also make sure like everybody else had legit coaches and help like because for the first event, I helped train a lot of the people. I probably helped train like 90% of the people. That
Yeah,
fought
like
on the
Eric
first
came
event.
to Washington for 2 weeks to train with you. Remember?
That was another thing that actually upset me was like comment etiquette Eric. Like I love that guy, but he only was able to train for the last 17 days of the fight because he was originally supposed to fight Chad, I believe. But then when Chad backed out, they were like, "Oh, we need to find somebody," and so they found DJ Welch. And I
That's a
thought,
beast.
they told us he was out of shape and
That
had
guy's a monster. By the way, super nice guy. That guy's great.
Huge
Both
heart.
of those guys
Huge
are amazing
vibes.
dudes. Yeah.
He was great, but
He's a
imagine
beast.
someone telling you this guy has no experience. That's why Eric and him had headgear on, and that was another thing I got blamed for. They're like, "Look at how bad this coach is. Look at
Aye,
Eric."
aye.
I'm like, dude,
That's
I had
so
17 days. Me and Eric just tried to make it fun because the whole time he was like, "DJ's out of shape. DJ, we're just gonna have fun."
And-
Man, DJ came out and whooped his ass. I was
Dude,
like,
he's,
what the hell?
he's jacked. He's like actually
He's
jacked.
huge
I was
arms,
like,
bro.
this is not fair at all.
And DJ fought formerly. Well, he's been training MMA for a very long time. Yeah.
They
Oh,
were
he's
like,
a fighter
yeah.
too?
Yeah, yeah. They go,
Jeez.
"He doesn't have
So what
boxing
is
experience."
that? Are they lying to you guys on purpose?
I don't know.
So they were like, well, they didn't even tell us really any of that stuff because a lot of it they like tried to find on their own when it was last minute stuff. So for example, like when Matt fought Dad, like they almost canceled that like 20 times because Matt was never training for the event.
That's so
they kept
interesting.
and they would,
That's crazy. I would have never known watching it.
Yeah.
Well, what happened too, I almost don't blame Matt, except like Ryan found a good coach or a coach, right? So I don't know why Matt couldn't have. But Matt's coach would tell him that they just want to do all this pad work, this like random pad work, and then they would say, but don't do any road work, don't run at all. And then when they found out that it was a real event and there was gonna be 10,000 people there,
What?
they disappeared.
What did they disappeared?
Disappeared on him. Just
What?
disappeared on him. Like they were taking all of his money until they found out it was a real event. I think a lot of people were shocked that it was a real event because like we were going to these places like with no clue of what we were going to have happen. So we're like, hey, this is what's so crazy is like he could have told the story if he would have been proud of it. Like the story was amazing. We were going to these boxing gyms in LA and all over the place, and we're like, hey, we want to throw a YouTube boxing event. They're like, where? We're like, we don't know. They're like, when? We're like, we don't know, but we're going to do it. And they were like, get out of here. You know, it was like it made no sense. And so I was almost like, hey guys, maybe we should let me talk to some of these people before, because like they would just have these awkward ass conversations in all these boxing gyms. And but so a lot of the people that ended up getting hired, like I don't know if Lucky even thought it was a real event when he was training AB, or they didn't know how big it was going to be. You know,
Right. Well, AB knows. Oh, did you know? I don't know.
My gym, like they wild card, they don't fuck around. Like supposedly they even kicked Jake Paul out before. Like they're very serious
what?
about boxing. I don't think they care like how big the
They kicked Jake Paul out before. That's funny.
event was. Yeah, I think even Ian like added Wale on Instagram. I don't think Wale followed him back. Like, he's like, I don't know that motherfucker. So I mean, like, he likes
that guy
Ian,
is
but
something
yeah,
else.
he's not in it for any clout.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now I want to ask you something. It's alleged by Anisa herself that Ian has both bad breath
And Giardia, yeah, because he actually goes around and eats the poop off the floor. I don't know if you guys know that.
and he shits in his pants frequently. Do you have any data on that? Having been in close proximity with him?
No.
So I don't want to just talk shit about him, but like there would be times, for example, before the first event where he was talking about getting tonsil stones,
Yeah.
and he was going to get strep
Yeah.
throat because he had tonsil stones.
Ew.
And I said, Ian, tonsil stones don't cause strep throat. Tonsil stones are because you're not brushing your fucking teeth.
Really? Is that how you get tonsil stones? Is that true? I've never had them before. How do you get stones? Tonsil stones are when debris like food particles, dead cells, and bacteria get trapped in the tonsil crypt. Small folds, normal tonsil. Here's some. I don't understand. Factors could be poor oral hygiene, dehydration, chronic tonsillitis, large tonsils. I don't know. I wouldn't doubt that he was just yucky. You know.
And so he was like, oh, okay, hygiene. And I'm like, yeah, fool, like you need to brush your teeth and you like.
Wait, hold on. That shouldn't be something you need to hear from your boxing coach. Brush your teeth. That's something. That's knowledge he should have come to you with.
Yeah. He was worried about
Where the fuck do I go from here, by the way?
getting sick. Like, so, yeah. So
We did Create Clash 1 or 2, where Anisa sent us, it was a day of training for one of the CC 1 or 2, I can't remember which one, and she sent us a video, a photo of his tongue. And
Oh,
she said,
no.
I think you might have like bad breath and it's causing.
no, tonsil,
Wait,
she said
hold on.
tonsil stones.
Hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. Go back.
You might have bad breath.
Why did she send you a picture of his tongue?
They thought it would show us that he was going to get strep throat.
Yeah, so he couldn't
And I'm
concentrate.
like, because they were trying to say he's going to get sick before the event. And it can happen if you train too hard before an
Oh, I
event.
see.
You run your immune system down, so then you can get sick. But we weren't training too hard for him to get sick.
Yeah.
So, for example,
So-
like they wanted him to gain weight, and I kept telling him, like, there's ways we can gain weight right before weigh-ins. So I want you at like a healthy weight because they wanted him to be 188 for the Dr. Mike fight. So the Sunday before the fight, Anisa makes him eat all this shitty food. So the Monday before the fight, he couldn't even do 2 rounds of pads in the ring without almost throwing up.
Oh,
so I'm
no.
fucking pissed. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Like, why are you doing this? I was like, I was telling you, if you're 188 or 180, but you drink like a couple Gatorades, a Gatorade is 32 ounces, which is 2 pounds. I'm like, just drink 2 or 3 Gatorades right before weigh-ins, and you'll gain like 4 or 5 pounds, and then you'll be 185. But instead,
That's an interesting way of looking at it. Okay.
she was like, no, he needs to eat all this shitty food. So they were feeding him all this shitty food. Right? And that's why when he weighed in with Dr. Mike, he was like grabbing his belly. And I'm like, bro, that's embarrassing for
Yeah,
me.
you're making
I'm
us
your
look
fucking
bad.
coach, and you're in there with a belly up there. Like,
Yeah, it's actually just interesting how many different like small aspects you have to worry about as like a coach and like looking good and looking bad. Like, hey, just put on some water weight afterwards if you need to fucking check in. And he's just sitting here eating horrible fast food. You know, he was just doing that as an excuse to eat like shit. Like that's really what happened. Like, let's be fucking real here. Same, relatable. That's definitely what it was. But there's so many different things you have to like worry about. It's fucking crazy.
It's one thing to gain the weight and be like, oh, I gained weight, but it's another thing to be like the day before the fight grabbing your belly, and it's because you fucking ate a bunch of bad food.
Yeah, they would
like,
get Denny's all the time, and then he would
Denny's?
be like,
Yeah, this is important. I'm accused all the time of people say that they see me in Denny's farting. They say that about me, and I want
Okay, that's incredible.
them to, I never go to Denny's. I never go out to Denny's. But Ian's the one who's actually shitting his pants at Denny's.
Yes. The meeting that we had right after Alex Ernst's fight, I mean, sparring session was at Denny's.
Yeah.
Say that again. I'm sorry. Say that again.
The meeting that we had to have with Ian and Anisa after the sparring session with Alex Stearns was at Denny's.
What did they eat at Denny's? What did they order?
Just like disgusting.
But she loved it because she used to work there back in the day. And I was in my mind, I'm like, Ian, you're a fucking millionaire. Why are you eating at Denny's all the time? Like, stop.
Hey, listen, I wouldn't stop eating at Denny's just because I'm a fucking millionaire. What the hell kind of question is that, brother?
Allegedly, I've heard Hila noticed this, and I guess Anisa also confirmed that he's very cheap, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't experience that. Like, he was always good to me, but at the same time, except for the fact he would never help promote me.
I could say that I wonder if, like, this is a good example, but, like, for example, when Michael trains Ian, he charges $100 an hour, but Anisa would always want to be trained at the same time, so Michael is training both of them for the $100 an hour, and I would always tell Michael, like, you're training both of them, you should charge each one of them $100 an hour, and Michael would be like, oh, well, it's for a charity event, and I feel bad asking, so let's just do it for now, because we're going to get a bonus one day.
Yeah.
And in boxing, if you do bring two people within that one same hour, you do pay more.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense that you charge them more.
That's not just boxing.
Yeah,
thank you. And that's how
this guy here is at Nothing Burger. It's like, it's petty, but he's actually a scumbag. He's a dirty little fuck.
Should always be. But for them, I was always like, whatever. Like, once again, I always wanted the best for Ian. I always wanted the best. I was like, oh, this is why I like. He didn't want the best for himself, so it was really hard for me to want the best for him when he didn't want to train.
Now, do you have any commentary about his potential body odor?
I say it's true. I smell all the time. It's horrible. A good example.
This is so petty, and I love it. This is ridiculous. Oh my god.
Example is this, because Michael's so nice and doesn't want to say it, but here's the thing: when we're in fight camp, he does 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening. Okay.
For the first fight he did. Well, for the first part of the first fight, not for the actual camp.
Correct.
During the camp was when he cut out his 2 days, and that was the most important time to be doing 2 days.
Yes. So he would smell so bad that when he comes back in the afternoon to train, he doesn't shower in between his sessions, and so like the coaches that are training other members there would just like look at us with the weirdest face, like stink face, and then Michael would try to take Ian to the corner where there's not a lot of members.
I could see it. I could see it in his fucking face that he does not shower enough.
Gem, so they don't have to smell it.
I tried taking the open door.
Dude, Ian is I wouldn't. Ian's a legitimate incel. Ian is a legitimate fucking incel. Holy fuck. That's crazy. And you want to know what? I think something to keep in mind too is Anisa does OnlyFans. And I just follow me here. This is not going to get super sexist. Don't worry. Okay? And I feel like people who are like really sexual, especially people who are very open about venting about stuff on the internet, I would very highly doubt that if they were having really good sex, that Anisa wouldn't be constantly talking about it. But not a single time have I ever heard her brag about their sexual intercourse. Again, they're super open sexually, right? Like she does fucking OnlyFans. They have an unfulfilling sex life. It's definitely unfulfilling, especially if he's dirty all the time. You think I can't get away with being dirty all the time? My wife would smack the fuck out of me. All right, because she wants to take it. She wants to fucking take it down. You know what I mean? So she'd be pissed off at me. I'm telling you, dude.
So that does happen. I'm not lying. It's true. He doesn't shower.
Yeah. I just didn't understand why she wouldn't tell him. I'm like, what is going on here?
She tells
that's a great point.
The audience. She humiliates him
in her Discord.
Yeah.
He's fine releasing everything, but she won't talk to him about it. I'm just like, what the hell?
Yeah. And
like, I didn't feel like
guys, I gotta sit on that for a sec. He stunk up the gym so bad you had to move him away from people.
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. Let me just sit with that.
Where's the
0.5 hotters
ladder?
if like he fucking his breath didn't stink all the time.
Damn.
Yeah.
Another question. I heard that Anisa was talking shit about me and us even before Creator Clash 1.
Yeah, she had said, like, I forget what she said, like, but she had said that she didn't like associating with you guys for some reason, but then like you had been doing better or something, so they were happy to go on your show. It was
what? That's fucking crazy.
It was vague, but she would talk. She would kind of talk poorly about a lot of different people, so it was easy to just lose track of it. But yeah, she definitely had mentioned like something about you and Hila, and like, or maybe it was just you, but somebody had done something that had offended her at one point. So she felt like you guys weren't like good people or something. But then
so this was building from something else. That's where it all came from. Anisa did not like Ethan before all this came to fruition. Words. And that's why they didn't go to bat. That's why iDubbbz refused to go to bat for his friend because Anisa told him not to. That's great.
And once you could do their show, but she loved AB and Lena. She always loved them. Yeah.
She would. So here's
There
the
you
thing.
go. Who doesn't love AB and Lena? To be fair. To be fair, right? Who doesn't love AB and Lena?
Yeah, she wanted to get her Lebanese credit, so that's why she like loved them.
She's trying to get her
Oh my god, this woman is fucking eternally online. I love it.
Lebanese credit up.
Yeah. He would always, because she would be like, they're Muslim and I'm Muslim.
Yeah,
and I was like, everything you do is haram. Like nothing you do.
What? Anisa's not Muslim, right? Like didn't she denounce her fucking? Didn't she denounce that like religion? Which, by the way, nothing wrong with denouncing like religion in general. But like, what the hell is she talking about? Fucking
I have Muslim fighters.
Yes.
They pray 5 times a day. They don't
touch women.
Like
Protect their wife.
they're a couple of them are from Dagestan, right? And in Dagestan, you're not allowed to shake a woman's hand. Like, but they put their hand up. They're very respectful, right? But it's just a totally different mindset. So then when I hear, and I have other Muslim fighters that maybe don't pray 5 times a day, but they still like they'll try to eat halal when they can. They have like a lot more. They have a different moral compass. So for example, she would always talk about how America is this horrible place. And Americans are like so bad, especially like white Christian male Americans.
Get out of here, dude. What is her problem?
incredible.
And then,
dude, this is fucking. Hold on, this is incredible.
so bad, especially like white Christian male Americans.
Get out of here, dude.
This is.
And
what is her problem?
This is beautiful. This is just beautiful. I love this.
And then, but somehow I'm like, have you ever been to a Muslim country, Anisa? Like, and then obviously she hasn't. So
I don't think that they're as keen on women over there. Maybe we should all go there just to get away from Anisa. Or so we could treat her like shit. Just kidding.
To me, it was just like, there was this big disconnect between realities. So, for example, before the first or second creator clash, she said, we have 300 creators in the event. And I said, oh, who are they? And she said, it's mostly communists and sex workers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just super confused
She
by
said that?
Yes.
I heard this. Okay, so hold on. They've said before that it was Twitch streamer. Oh, this is so telling. Publicly, she said it's Twitch streamers and porn stars. Right? Is that what she said, AB?
Boxing and sex work.
Boxing and sex work. But
that's what Ian said. About
behind the
Bible
scenes,
creator
they're
clash.
saying communists and sex workers. Which, by the way, I've been holding on to this image since you mentioned the Getty that they flew the Getty images in. The only one I've seen is this guy. This is Froggy Tonic, and he showed up here.
Oh, jump
I
scare!
think he mistook the event for
Is that who that is? What the fuck?
Did anything wrong?
for some kind of communist gathering. I mean, what a fucking weirdo, dude. This is the guy that.
Did you guys see
the
him
madness
there
in his
at the
face?
gala?
The guy's mad.
Did you guys see him there at the gala?
I didn't see him.
I saw him.
Isn't it so insane to wear that outfit and not be seen?
Yeah.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Wow,
like you
that
wore
is
all, you did
Not be seen. That's actually so funny.
all that, and no one. I too did not remember seeing that person. A friend of mine who was there in my corner did not remember seeing that person, and I know if someone wore that around me, I would remember them.
Yes.
So that's
I remember that.
Damn, you're that gay and sassy, but you can't even be remembered. That's so sad.
My
Never
cousin
seen
said,
him?
why does homeboy look like Fidel Castro? It was,
Yes.
it was my cousin. He's a jackass. He doesn't even probably know who Castro is, but it did make me laugh.
What a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's a horrible person. That the Froggy Tonic thing is especially interesting to me because
low-key.
he's a disgusting human being, like really
He
violent.
ruined Creator Clash. It was him. He ruined Creator Clash. Couldn't shut the fuck up. He couldn't just shut the fuck up. He had to go and be talking all this
Him and
nonsense for
Frogan.
no reason. Twitter, just nonsense Twitter. And look what happened.
You're
You fucked
right.
it up, bro.
You're
You
right.
fucked it up. Yep. Because
Yeah,
if you
you're
didn't say
right.
shit, then you wouldn't have the thing. And the
This
thing,
guy was
whatever.
on. I don't know if you guys know the lore. He was on Twitter saying shit like about how I feed my kids dog shit, and then CPS came, and then he kept going on about how it was justified and all this stuff. And I don't know if you guys know the story, but I was like, dude, why are you friends with this guy? And then that's basically what started the whole thing.
Right. We saw that like all they had to do was help you guys with the CPS call, and they wouldn't. And then they.
Well, they didn't have to help. They just had to just be like, hey, just treat his kids okay. Like we've been there before. I couldn't even do that. This is so funny.
Turned completely negative on you and started attacking you
Then
guys.
they justified it.
Yeah, and so that was how that was part of why I wanted to do this, was because I was like, you guys actually supported us more than they ever supported us. So I was like, this makes no sense. It didn't make sense why he would attack the biggest. So I was a part of everything for the first event and a lot of stuff for the second event. And I can tell you, the most fans at those events was your fans.
Yes.
Was your people.
That's just good business, right? He's like, let's start.
That makes perfect sense. That makes absolutely perfect sense. That makes 100% perfect sense because he would have them on and he would talk to them and he would do this and that and give them all this attention.
Let's start a blood feud with the one person who's promoting this event. Like all the people there, more than anyone who's there, the announcers, the hosts, the fighters, I promoted that event more than anybody.
Yeah, and I doubt that he asked for money either. So they got free promotion and they fucking backstabbed him. That's actually insane. Jesus.
Yes.
I will say the way people treated me before and after my fight was crazy. Like the other coaches and stuff who didn't know who I was, once they heard the applause that I got.
It's so funny that like Ethan's people, Ethan's fans, and Ethan was doing more advertising for this event for free than anybody else for this whole supposed charity event, yet he gets no credit for it. But somehow he's the one that ruined it because iDubbbz decided to make a hit piece against his basically biggest supporter of the event. Jesus.
because there were so many H3 fans in the audience. They were like all super nice. Not that they were mean before, but I don't think I'll ever feel that famous again in my life.
Yeah, we're a big deal. I don't know if you know this, but we're number 6 on YouTube. Or hopefully, I don't know if that's still true because I keep missing.
I got to be a part of AB's walkout for that first event. It was one of the most ruckus crowds I've ever heard. The craziest thing was like I was at the Seahawks Stadium when they broke the record for loudest stadium ever. And when AB got back up and dropped Tundar, that was the loudest I've ever heard a crowd in my life. Nice. It was the craziest thing I ever heard. And when he got dropped, I was like, oh no, like here it's gonna come, like Tundar might finish him. And then instead he dropped him back, and I was just like, this is the craziest event I've ever been a part of in my entire life. Like I was having the time of my life. I was like, this is insane, you know. But it was a lot of it was because like AB fighting on that card and your crowd.
Yeah, it's just kind of sobering to learn that she was, you know, talking shit before even that event, and then they come on and act like we have been friends. And it's funny because I did say a comment about how
it's like I kind of said like it's clearly Anisa, like she's the one, she got upset because it probably had to do with Israel Palestine shit, and so Anisa decides that she's Muslim even though she's just completely like she's a typical rich white woman that pretends to be anti-America. That's literally it. That's the whole strategy.
It's funny how they show up when they need something from me, which is for me to promote their fight.
Right here.
And he got all incredulous about that. He's like, "Oh, really? I don't need anything from you, Ethan." And I'm like, "Well, how's the Creator Clash 3 going?"
Right. Well, and that's what's probably like I don't like an ego thing, or it makes no sense to me because once again I was a part of all that, and he would never put out training footage. He would barely ever promote it. And so you would actually be like, "Hey guys, Creator Clash 3, AB's on it. He's training. Lena's training for this."
Yeah, we talk about it all the time.
So you guys would talk about it way more than he would.
Also,
he would never put anything.
I want to say that like after Michael and I came to LA to go on your podcast, right, with Ian and Anisa, I clearly remember that when we came back from that event, I put up the reel of Matt and Ryan, right, working with
my Instagram. I think they said the real Instagram reel.
Michael, and then Ian texted me right away, and he was like, "Hey Kate, just so you know, you shouldn't put out content without confirming with me first, because a lot of YouTubers are actually very sensitive to their image, like me, and so therefore, before you share anything, you need to let me and Anisa know." And I just thought, okay, so I'm just gonna do the kind of work and not never share it. How's the thing?
I'm sure. By the way,
Wait, what?
Back from that event, when I came to LA.
You guys would talk about it way more than he would. He would never put anything.
Also, I want to say that like after Michael and I came to LA to go on your podcast, right, with Ian and Anisa, I clearly remember that when we came back from that event, I put up the reel of Matt and Ryan, right, working with Michael, and then Ian texted me right away, and he was like, "Hey Kate, just so you know, you shouldn't put out content without confirming with me first, because a lot of YouTubers."
What? Wait. I'm sorry. Ian and Anisa seem to have had, during the Creator Clash, despite getting free advertisement from Ethan, a don't post about Ethan Klein policy on every other creator's social media. Dude, this goes so much deeper, and this is fun. I love this. This is insane.
Are actually very sensitive to their image, like me, and so therefore, before you share anything, you need to let me and Anisa know. And I just thought, okay, so I'm just gonna do the kind of work and not never share it. How's the thing?
I'm sure. By the way, I am sure that you said you were training. It was footage of you training with Dad.
No, it was Matt and
Super Mega.
Yeah, Super Mega.
I am sure that none of those people. He didn't mind doing that.
Oh no,
he actually accepted the collaboration, and it had 2.
Oh, he accepted the collaboration.
Yes.
So it sounds like a win-win, wholesome post.
Yeah.
It should have been. But that was when I realized I was like, oh, he doesn't want me to get any like clout from this event whatsoever, even though I'm the one putting in work with.
So why is that? Why would he call you and seemingly be like, you shouldn't post? I don't want to see you posting stuff without my permission.
It's just
that had nothing to do with him, by the way.
Anisa would always say, because I want to kind of post some stuff too, and Anisa would be like, yeah, Ian's really private. He doesn't want people to see this part of his life or this stuff. So we were like, oh, so I just respected that. I was like, okay, he's a private guy, so he's not going to.
You know what's funny? He's going to be.
I don't think so. That's ridiculous. I mean, like, I understand not wanting to film content, although they were trying. This doesn't make any sense. Because I understand, like, hey, I don't want to film content of every little thing I'm doing because it can get a little intrusive. I totally understand that. But they were literally putting together like montages for people. So this doesn't make any sense. And also just like a simple little social media post is different from having to like legitimately make content and like make everything about content. This is just fucking bullshit.
Become even more private based on the views on his last video. He's gonna be living a real private life soon.
How do I get off this?
I got a question. Just following up. So Froggy Tonic was flown in.
This is so good.
To film Anisa and just give her the credit of putting on the event and all that, and they still did nothing with that footage or the footage you guys had as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and I think what's that?
No, go ahead. Go.
Oh, I think that because like I think for the first fight it could have made a great documentary, but I think for the second one they were scared to put out that Anisa did all this work because it failed so badly. She wasn't even when he did his charity, when he did his charity stream, or not, I won't even call it charity. When he did his fundraiser stream, because it wasn't charity, it was fundraiser. So when he did his fundraiser stream, I don't even think she was really a part of it, and it was like. a lot of this thing failed because you were the person in charge. But now when Ian has to make up for it, she was nowhere to be found. And he was like doing embarrassing things. As a boxing coach, you don't want to see your client doing those things under those circumstances. You know, it'd be
Keep the
different.
pride up. Keep the self-respect up.
Literally, because that's on my, and once again, that's what I was telling him. I was like, a lot of what you do reflects my brand. So when he attacked you, all of a sudden, I start getting all these messages on all my stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why am I getting all this? Like, one, we were getting views again on some of the like old, because I didn't put anything on YouTube for a long time, and all of a sudden I had a video of us at the AM of the Creator Clash, and all of a sudden there's just all these bad comments on it, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I find out, and that's when we find out that he created the drama with you.
Oh my god.
And that's when we found out all these other things, and that's why we were like, I'm gonna get my side of the story out there, because one, I'm not affiliated with him unless, like, except for training that 10 months the first time and the 4 or 5 months the second time. Otherwise, like, we have no affiliation.
Yeah.
We'd invite him to Thanksgiving dinner. He came once. Like when I went to LA,
Thanksgiving dinner at your house?
I made a turkey for my first time,
Well, they don't seem to really respect having any friends, so this doesn't mean anything to him, you know?
and it was a special Thanksgiving because it
You
was.
had, you had turkey for the first time?
Yeah,
What have you been waiting for? Oh,
Yeah.
you made it. You made
Yeah,
it.
I made
Okay.
it. Yeah, so I made the turkey for the first time. It was a super special
She
Thanksgiving
made it, or she had it? Or I think she made it for the first time.
because Michael and I had just moved in together.
Aw.
So we decided that we were going to get married, and not only that, but Michael's dad passed.
That's wonderful.
You know, and so that Thanksgiving was
I wonder if they're early in love. I don't think they could ever have a type of love that Ian and Anisa have, though. It's such a beautiful, pure pile of shit.
super special. I've never made a turkey my entire life. I put it together. I figured it out. We live in a small 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, and I had to go buy extra tables and chairs so there'd be room for me, Michael, my 2 sons, and my friend, and Ian and Anisa to sit. And we went out of our way to do all this for them, and they just treat us like we're just, I don't know, gone with the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem to have an entitlement. They seem to have this entitlement to everybody's time, energy, and attention. So, isn't that great?
So, but what I was saying about that was like, I would invite them out to do stuff and almost never get a response. And then when I was in LA, like I hit up AB and he's like, yeah, let's go out to dinner. And I'm
AB's
just
such a good guy.
like, yeah. I'm like, so AB's willing to go out
But
to dinner.
baby
with
likes
us,
you. I think
but-
he wanted to spend time with you.
Yeah, but my own fighter didn't, and it broke my heart all the time because, like, so there's a coach named like Mike Quick Flores, and he's amazing, and his fighters loved him. They helped him start a damn YouTube channel. They bought him cameras. They helped him start a YouTube channel. They did all this stuff for him. And like one of his fighters was like James Oddwin's out. That got knocked out in like freaking 30 seconds, and he still loves training with the coach. So I'm like, how does somebody that get knocked out in 30 seconds have such a close relationship with his coach? And I like went to hell with Ian, and we have no relationship.
Yeah.
I got punched out of the ring. Out of the ring. That never happened. And I love my boxing coach.
Yeah,
That was
love
pretty
it.
awesome, by the way, Harley. That was a great moment.
That was one of the best parts of it for me was one, meeting people like Harley, AB, but also like networking with those coaches, right? Like Harley's coach, Jesse Thompson, is amazing. Like he's an amazing guy. He's an amazing human. He's an amazing father.
Yes.
All the coaches that we would work with there, Coach Rick at his gym in Florida, like we loved them like they were our Florida family. But then Ian and Anisa would just kind of use them. They didn't even know whose promoter's license we used until like 2 weeks before the second event.
Yes.
So-
I told her while the promoter was there, because that's actually his gym that we're training out of, right? He's part owner. And so I told Anisa that that's actually Ryan Ricky. He's actually the fight promoter we're using his license to throw events in Florida, you know? And she was like, oh my gosh, really? How did I miss this the first time around? And I'm just like, I don't know, maybe because you don't care about anybody that doesn't have a huge following. And so right away she went and followed him and started tagging him. It's just ridiculous. So
We were like, how did you, because they didn't want to take time to get to know the boxing community.
Yeah.
She acted like she was better than the boxing community.
Yes.
We were in a boxing gym called Top Rank one time, and there was a guy named Jay Prince who was like the manager for Floyd Mayweather, manager for Andre Ward, and all these very high level boxers. So for me, that's a big deal. And the owner of the gym was kind enough to introduce us, and she was like, no, I don't want to meet him. Ian's tired. You don't want to meet him.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't want to meet him because of what?
Yeah.
Ian was tired.
Yes.
She would tell Ian when he was tired. One time we ended sparring, and afterwards everybody's hanging out, and she walks up to
I wonder if she says that about when they're trying to have sex. No, Ian, you don't want to have sex. You're tired. You're tired. You're tired.
Ian, and she goes, you're hungry.
Yes.
And so they had to leave because Ian was hungry. So she tells Ian when he was hungry. We're like, what the hell?
So,
So-
is this what is?
It's just
Do you
nonsense.
think that he walks around in a gimp suit at their home?
Okay. Jesus Christ.
No, I'm genuinely wondering. Do you know? Does he
ball in his mouth.
just sit there? Does he sit there as a chair in a gimp leather suit, and she just sits on him? I mean, where does this go? By the way,
Okay. He's going to get some shit for that one there.
there's this clip here I want to watch. I've been having it on standby. It's when you referenced the toxic masculinity comment aimed towards you. Let me see.
Boxing. Oh, you don't have time or energy to do anything other than boxing. There's just like a lot of things that I've had to learn along the way. Like my coach is a tough ass guy. You know, he's got a little of the toxic male qualities, and it's made it hard sometimes because.
Shut the fuck.
Dude, he's so gay. I'm so sorry. It's Pride Month, too. Really toxic masculinity. He's got so many toxically masculine qualities. My boxing coach, who engages in fighting all the time, which is a very traditional thing that you have to do, and you have to be kind of toxic. He's got so many toxic qualities. I really just wanted to come into this boxing event, and I just wanted Anisa to look like my good little girl, and I didn't want to shower, and I didn't want to brush my teeth, and I wanted to get tonsillitis, and also I just wanted to have a lot of fun, but I didn't want to give anybody any money at all. If they said, oh, it's a charity event, we don't really need money, okay, no problem, that's totally fine. I didn't want to train. I wanted my coach to look like shit. I wanted to be a terrible, terrible fucking piece of dog shit. And it's just toxic masculinity to call me out. It's like, what the fuck? What is this, dude?
Up, dude.
I keep chomping my teeth until my dude. I'm so sorry. I know. Every so often I do it. I'm gonna try to stop. It's kind of like my new tick. I'm not even kidding. It's like a new tick. I'm so sorry that I have to like chomp them. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll try not to do it as much. It's just like tough. It's like an obsessive compulsive thing. I just did it again. Sorry. But I know sometimes it's a little annoying. I'm so sorry. I have, unfortunately, I don't cough. Sometimes I just it's something different. I don't know why this is the current one. I couldn't explain that to you. I just died in 2 fucking hits. But hey, you know what? Sussy.
Yep.
Like, dude, please. Like, I don't understand. You literally made videos with Filthy Frank, okay? And now you're like, I can't. He was a little toxic, and it made it hard for me. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Yeah, and by the way, compared to all the other coaches that I know, you came off seeming like super nice and like not pushy. Yeah.
I know how to be soft with certain people, and then I'll be harder with other people. But if they can't, the sport's already so hard to begin with. This is one of the things I've been involved in fighting for over 25 years. So the sport is so hard to begin with that if you're getting more shit from your coach than you can handle, you're gonna have a bad performance, right? So each person you have to treat so differently. So some of my fighters might need me to yell at them, slap them before the event, and really like get to a different kind of savagery. And then other people are very soft, and so you kind of mostly Ian was the softest, but
was he the softest fighter you've ever trained?
What's that?
Is he the softest fighter you've ever worked with?
Well, he hated boxing.
Yeah, but not only that, every single time we had a session, it would have to follow up with a therapy session with him and Anisa. How frustrating is that? I was depressed after every single creator clash.
Oh, interesting. I didn't really interpret it like that. That's what they had to do every single time. They had their little event. And then they needed to have like a fucking powwow with iDubbbz and be like, "Oh, you're a good boy. You did really well." And they had to like really heavily fucking just jerk his little ding dong off. That's what I'm hearing here.
Because of all the therapy, we always had to imply. Otherwise, it was going to be a shit show.
Other fighters fight, like, even if they have nerves or they're scared before a fight or something, they'll fight because they want to and they love it. Especially as an amateur, you're not getting paid, you're losing money. Even like low-level pros, you lose money working with low-level pros. You're traveling, you're doing all these things that the expenses aren't covered. So they have to love it. They have to fucking love the sport. And if you don't love it, it's very hard to do. Like, that's why I commend Harley and AB, because, man, they were part of freaking more than one event, and they have actual jobs. It's like, what the hell? That's crazy. So to me, why wouldn't I show those guys all the love in the world? Because they're putting themselves out there when they don't have to. Also, there's a lot of risk when you go out to fight.
Right. This is not what podcasts are.
Dude, please. That's only because they're talking about you. It's so obvious. Sorry, guys. He keeps interrupting. Let me continue this clip.
Male qualities, and it's made it hard sometimes because the way he talks to me sometimes, I could be a little bit sensitive to it. So that's like led to a couple times where I've just been like kind of broke down. If you have like a bad sparring session, it's like that alone feels bad. But if you're getting your shit kicked in and your coach is like exuding their disappointment to you the whole time while it's happening, it's like, I just kind of suck. He's gotten a lot better at it, and it's really not his fault. Like that's literal. And Anisa's told me that. She's like, that is the most normal thing. You're not gonna find a coach that's gonna fucking take care of your feelings, bitch. Like, and I'm like, okay.
That's the biggest irony of all, is that apparently, and you confirmed that she was consistently the meanest person to him.
Yeah. He doesn't feel that way.
But also, like, in defense for her there, she did stick up for me in that scenario, right? Yeah. So there was times, but also, I didn't know if she was sticking up for me because they liked me as a coach or because she knew I was one of the only people that would take their shit.
Nobody else would train him.
They couldn't have gone to, like, I can guarantee you, AB's coach would not have allowed Anisa to come into the gym with her attitude or want to change the music at the gym.
Oh, tell me that. One time she came and tried to put on her own music, right?
Yeah, and then we got into it because
they got into a tiff because she wanted to change the music. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
She wanted to change the music of the whole entire gym.
So what song was it?
Oh man, I would have to look at that up because I was actually in shock because some of the songs, even if you like that kind of music, because it was maybe some like indie punk rock music, but what was just weird, and so not gym music at all. So I was just like, hey, I was trying to tell her that because one of the other coaches was like, hey, I'm gonna change it now because she was playing the music at the gym, but she shouldn't have even been on the aux in the first.
Well, I imagine that they want to have music that'll maybe pump some people up and keep people, motivated to do shit. Not some like whatever the fuck she was trying to play.
Like you shouldn't be at somebody else's gym and then hop on their speaker. That's crazy to me. So she hopped on the speaker, and then one of the coaches was like, "Hey, I'm gonna take you off now." And she was like, "Oh, like offended by it." And then I made the mistake of being like, "Well, that wasn't really gym music." And she was like, "He doesn't play gym music." And then I said, "Well, it's kind of emo." And then she said, "What's that?"
Hoobastank.
Yeah. She said,
was it Evanescence?
Yeah. She said the other guy plays emo music. And then after that, I said, "Well, it was kind of like 12-year-old girl emo music." And then
red jumpsuit apparatus.
So I did go. I probably went too far.
That's not mean. I like 12-year-old girl music.
I went too far. It just sounds like the fucking. It's a shared space. You know what I mean? Like, you always run the risk when you get the aux, bro. You always run the risk of people not liking your shit. That just do be how it is, bro. That's what do you want me to tell you? It's just like that's life, man. Sometimes I would get upset too, but maybe you just have shit taste.
Sometimes.
I mean, in the right moment.
In the right moment, sure, yeah.
It's not fair to all the other gym members that they have to listen to her music. By the way, this is a very big gym. I think it's like how many square feet? 4,000?
Yeah, 4,000.
4,000 to 5,000 square feet, okay? And there's multiple facilities inside this gym. There's a fit bar cafe. There's a physical therapist office inside that gym. The Seawolves also train out of that gym, okay? They used to, but you know, so other people use the space, and she just wants to control the music. That's so unprofessional. It's not allowed, and it's not fair to other members.
So she
don't
got
allow somebody else to do that.
Yeah, no, I don't allow my other fighters to come in.
No, that's insane. Who the fuck changes music for the whole ass gym?
Yeah, and then she threw a fit about it, and we had to, and I talked to her about it.
So wait, what happened? Tell me what happened.
So she ended up, we were supposed to actually do her pad session, but then she left.
She cried.
And she had to go out to her car. I mean, I don't want to talk about how her feelings were, but anyway, so yeah, so she was super offended. So then the next day, what happened?
She got that offended by the music change that she fucking what?
Was the next day they came in and they told my wife that they don't know how she could date me because I don't respect women. And so
she doesn't know how.
What? Anisa? Wait, this guy asked her to. This guy changed her gym music. So then she went up to his wife and said, "I don't know how you could date this guy. He's a piece of shit. He's too toxically masculine or whatever." What?
How did she expect your wife, Kate, to react to that?
I have no idea.
What an insane thing.
Dude, no, you want to know why she expected the wife? Because Anisa's projecting her relationship onto them. Anisa hates her fucking husband. Anisa hates iDubbbz. And so when there's a problem with Anisa, when Anisa has a problem with iDubbbz, she goes and she fucking complains to her friends about it. And they're probably all together like, oh yeah, men, they're blah, 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 some fucking bullshit, yada, 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 yada. And they're going off about it. So she's used to that. She's used to getting that pot. Like, that's what she's doing. She's projecting. So then when it happens to somebody else, when like, oh, when they act like an asshole, quote unquote, that's what she's doing. She's in like this feedback loop of like, that's appropriate way to talk about somebody. Like she thinks it's, which by the way, it's not. You don't talk shit about somebody's fucking partner like that.
I'm pretty sure I would, if I had to ask you if you thought Michael respected women, you would probably say yes, considering you're married to him.
100%.
Not in combat, though. Not in combat.
Not in combat.
Right,
no,
right,
no
right.
respect in combat. I'm going to throw you a curveball here. Oh wait, hold on. I want to finish this clip. I want to see where he's going with this.
Sense they're almost preparing you for those feelings, right?
Exactly.
But they're going to come up, especially if you are losing a fight.
I would just say that maybe it's given me more
Giardia,
confidence just in life. That obviously comes from, you know, being able to defend myself. And also just...
Okay, I've heard enough. Let me throw you a curveball here. Anisa, semicolon. Anti-Semitic?
Fucking ridiculous.
Jewish.
I would say, probably in a way, yeah. I mean, it's hard to say.
It depends on who's talking, right?
It's hard to say no.
Right?
It's hard to say no. It's hard to say no. We leave that door open.
But I can't say, she never specifically said she was anti-Semitic, but just, I mean, the
I
way
will
she
say that, like, I didn't know about all this stuff that she has against Jewish people, and then once I heard about it, I realized that after I shared with Anisa that Michael's mom is half Jewish and half Italian, like, I noticed that she started, like, you know, keeping him more at bay and not being nice to him. So I think that
I don't know if this is real or true, but I wouldn't doubt it.
might have been the start of it.
Is that right? So when she learned that Michael had some Jewish ancestry, she distanced herself.
Jewish.
I don't know if it was exactly from that. Or just,
That's how you perceived it.
yeah, there were plenty of times where, like, her and
Maybe they did. I mean, she's just aligning herself with anti-Semitic people.
I would get into it, and so I just felt like,
Guys, this is not what a podcast is for, okay? All right?
it might have been from one of the scenarios where we got into it, because once again, it was hard, because I'm trying to focus on Ian.
It's so unfortunate that the iDubbbz and Anisa are such cowards, or else they could like respond to this on their podcast, and this could be like a big back and forth, and we could have a lot more fun.
Fighting in front of 10,000 people, and I was having to deal with a lot of stuff with her too. So there would be a lot of times where like her and I would disagree on things, and then it would kind of cause issues at the gym. And then she would be like, sometimes she would be all for it, and then other times she'd be like, you need to chill out, you know. So I was like, all right, I can't push this.
It was just so hard because I've never worked with a fighter where we had to like therapy and deal with his wife 24/7. We can't get the work done that we need the fighter in because we have to deal with his wife.
That's like an insane situation. Yeah.
It's insane. It's
A
hard.
good example is before the first event. It's like 3 days. It was the Wednesday before he had his first fight. He's never fought a day in his life. He's about to fight in front of 10,000 people. We have weigh-ins on Friday in the press conference, and then we have the fight on Saturday. On Wednesday, she said she had such bad anorexia that she was going to die. So she tells Ian, I'm gonna
She has what, anorexia? What?
die, but if I go to the hospital, they're going to hold me and I'm going to miss the event.
Wait,
so
she says she's like my anorexia is acting up and I'm going to die?
Yes, the Wednesday.
Or do I just not understand what anorexia is? Is that how anorexia? Am I just stupid? I mean, I'm fat, so maybe I don't know how anorexia works. Is that how anorexia works?
Before the fight.
So literally, she's obviously. I mean, she doesn't appear to be not. She appears to be of healthy weight. I don't know.
Look, I would have never guessed. I wouldn't have thought she was going to die.
Anyone can have anorexia.
Yeah.
Right, but I wouldn't have thought she was going to die on Wednesday. You know, I saw her. I didn't think she's going to die, but she's telling Ian. And so I'm like, if I was going to fight, and my wife 3 days before my fight is like, hey, I'm going to die, but I can't go to the hospital because then I'm going to miss your fight. I would be so stressed out from that. And so it was just like, how are you stressing Ian out about this freaking?
It's all about her.
Yes.
Well, like she's like a weird hypochondria. I think that it's just like an attention thing. I think that she just feels like she's desperate for like some kind of attention when other people are getting it. So I'm having an anorexic attack. I don't even know what that is. I have no idea what the fuck that is.
Is that like knowing them for so many years and traveling with them and being with them all the time? I realize that it's something that she does. She has this way of always sabotaging every single moment before she's about to have a big moment. You know what I mean?
It's about her.
Correct. Like, for example, for CC1, she decided, she came to the gym and she was like, oh, our lease is ending and we need to buy a new house right now, otherwise I'm going to be homeless. The world's ending. So then Ian had to go and try to buy a new house for her, but then he couldn't because he had to sell his house in San Diego first, otherwise he wasn't going to be able to do that. So then they had to sell the house in San Diego, then buy like their over $1 million house in Seattle the week or two before CC1, okay? And then for CC2, like before he was supposed to start training for his fight camp, right? But then they didn't come and train, and then she decided that she was going to have her tits removed, like during his fight camp.
Oh, that was the second one.
Yeah, I said CC2.
Oh, yeah.
So hold on, I remember, by the way, a long time ago they came out to hang out with me and Hila. And you know, I find it interesting that she always seems to have always hated me, despite, you know.
Despite the fact that he does like free charity work for her, like by like promoting her event. Well, it's not even charity work, but you know what I mean, like charity work for her. If that makes sense, like it's charity to her. He's being charitable to her. Oh, what the fuck?
I friend for a long time, but she came over and we were hanging out, and she just was like, "So I'm getting fake boobs," and I was like, "Okay, great, good for you." And then next thing I know, she had them removed. Like less than a year later, I was like, "Okay, I guess." You know, why? I guess, what was she saying? That
she got fake boobies and then got them removed right away. What the fuck is that, bro? What the hell are you doing? You can't be that indecisive. What the fuck? Not on titties. What the hell?
Was it uncomfortable or something?
I mean, it probably hurt her back.
I mean,
That's it. What are you doing?
she told me that, yeah, and she was blaming it on everybody.
How did I miss that attack?
She told me personally that she wasn't too sure about it, and her doctor told her to go too big, and now she's not happy, and she's got to get taken out. But it's like, out of all the times that you could have done it after CC1.
So you're saying she did it during training camp?
Yes.
Yes. Before the second fight. Also, I told him, don't fight Alex Wasabi. Alex Wasabi loves boxing. He put a boxing ring in his backyard. Yeah. He moved a pro boxer that was like a really good pro boxer into his house. And I worked with him before the first event. Yeah. I worked with him before he fought Deji. And I was like, oh, Alex really likes boxing. So don't fight Alex because he loves boxing and you don't like boxing. And so
he's going to be better. He's going to be a lot better.
Well, so
yeah, that makes perfect sense. He actually has a passion for it.
And exactly, literally. Yeah. And so, and he trains with a good gym. He trained with this guy, Brian Gloria, Julian Chua. So he trained with all these high-level guys. And I'm like, now my brand's at stake because I'm going to be competing with that type of level of guy. I need to have you show out. And he had missed literally between May to November was when she got that done. And so he was supposed to train during November, but he took all of November off because she couldn't come to the gym. But originally,
he took the whole month off because of the procedure to
yes.
Oh, wow.
Well, this is how you know
he took a month off because his wife got her fake tits implanted? What?
Boxing, because they said he was going to come into the gym when she couldn't be there, but then when she couldn't come in, he never came in. Yeah. So I don't know if that was his thing.
He made a comment recently where he's like, when Anisa's not with me, I don't know what to say, and I'm like,
that's incredible. Yeah, I could use a tea, baby love.
What happened to you? Who are you?
She tells him when he's hungry, when he's tired. How's he gonna know?
That's why he's definitely in a gimp outfit at home.
She had said that she had actually, I didn't know this, but she had done the Content Cop. She worked on Content Cop with him back in the day. But she's never apologized for the N-word. Only Ian apologized for that. And she was the mastermind behind it.
No, that's a great point because she wants to. I always got the feeling that she wanted the credit. Like, oh yeah, no, I worked on that. But then it was her idea.
Well, she probably didn't do anything. She probably didn't actually work on it. She just wants people to give her credit for things. He was probably just like, what color should I use for the thumbnail? And she's like, oh, you see this one, and he went a different way. But that was still like really helpful. That's what it is. That's all it is.
To go stalk Tana and do the N-word thing, and like you said, Ian's been out there apologizing, and then she's the one accusing me of being like not woke enough or whatever. And it's like, dude, you're the N-word girl. You're the N-word girl.
Yeah, you're responsible.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
N-word girl.
Someone needs to put N on the forehead.
Don't do that.
And for what? Yeah. Okay, she's the N-word girl. Yeah, I see. No, don't say the word. Don't say it. Let's see here. Is this an abuse finish? I don't know. Or is he just like really pathetic? I don't know. It's very interesting though. We have so many like points of view now, and you know, listen. It sounds, you're saying, yeah, it could be abusive, but at a certain point, it is definitely abusive, it sounds like. But at a certain point, where does he just become like a collaborator? I don't know.
He's a collaborator.
That's what I felt like too, because some of the times it was him, and then some of the times it was her, but then some of the times it was actually him, and she was actually the one keeping him like to stay the course.
Well, you know, he wants those good boy points from his wife, so.
But at the same time, he didn't want to box, and she was the one that wanted him to box. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah, you know, here's a good example. Like, when the whole Froggy Fresh thing happened, right? They were actually at our home because one of our mutual friends, David Benavides, who's a pro boxer, he was fighting that night, and Ian had met David Benavides through one of the YouTube podcast events that we were doing, and at the gym, at the Benavides gym here in Washington. And so Michael and I paid out of our own pocket to get pay-per-view. We invited Ian and Anisa over to watch the fight of David Benavides, and because the Froggy Fresh drama went down, they spent the whole time in my bedroom on Twitter reading all the comments, and it was the craziest thing ever. And that's when I was like,
dude, they were sitting reading fucking Twitter all day. That's so funny. That's just honestly so funny to me, dude. Especially since, like, I don't know. I feel like when people talk about you, you know? Oh, well, I guess they're reading Creator Clash comments, but I don't know, man. I feel like sometimes when people are talking about you, it's just an indication, bro, that you're hot shit, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're being relevant enough for people to complain about you on their streams and shit. You must have some clout attached to you at this point. I don't know, dude. Oh shit.
Oh, embarrassing.
Because look at them, they were reading it, and Ian was like, "Oh, Tiffany 465 is this. I think that's a great comment." And then Anissa's like, "What about this comment?" And it was the craziest.
Wait, they're like validating individual comments. Why don't you just turn it off? What the fuck? It's so weird.
Stuck up for him and didn't stick up for him. And meanwhile, I'm like, hey Ian, the guy that you just met is fighting in a world championship fight. Let's watch this fight. But he couldn't even watch the fight because they were so caught up in like the Twitter comments.
Yeah.
What was it that happened? Did he drop his video? Or I remember Froggy made this comment about how if he lost, he'd subscribe to her OnlyFans.
Yeah. It was really because Froggy worked with Sam, and once Froggy worked with Sam, Ian was super offended. And so,
which, by the way, I think that's fine. That one thing alone is fine, but like the collection of everything is iDubbbz is such a coward. Like, it's fine. Like, I don't want to associate with you know, Sam Hyde. Although, you know what's so funny? I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that Sam Hyde's a white supremacist. I think he doesn't want to associate with Sam Hyde because he made fun of his wife. You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't even have It has nothing to do with the fact that he's like a bad person. It has everything to do with that he just made fun of like that Sam Hyde basically got one up on him when he was trying to when basically Sam Hyde just did a fucking Uno reverse card and embarrassed iDubbbz instead of iDubbbz being able to embarrass him. That's all it really was.
So he was really, really offended by
I
that.
worked with Sam.
I know.
Dude, and those videos were funny. Those videos were hilarious.
I think they let Harley go because you know like he's so cool and they want to like take him off the card. You know what I mean?
Well, I think he kind of did it beforehand too.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, they kind of were like not cool with it.
Was that what happened? You did it
Well,
before?
he never told me that I couldn't work with Sam. I just, as a person that spoke with Sam and spoke with Ian, I noticed that they had bad vibes between the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for Creator Clash 2, I just opted to not
Yeah.
work with Sam because that he got it. He understood that they had this whole beef thing. And then Froggy, he had gone and worked with Sam. And then there was an issue with Froggy. I don't want to speak for him, but I believe he felt that they were overstepping their boundaries of who he could work with or not work with.
Yep.
I didn't know that the whole thing was because of Sam until Ian unveiled it months later. I thought it was because Froggy made a
too.
joke
I
about
thought-
Anisa, and then they doubled back on that.
I thought it was insane that he actually just admitted that blatantly. He's like, oh, he got kicked because he was training with Sam. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know why that's so crazy to you guys. I don't understand why this is so crazy to you guys. That decision is fine. Sam Hyde's a fucking white supremacist. It would look so bad for the event. Advertisers would pull out over that. Why are you guys so shocked over this? Oh, it was so crazy that it worked with Sam. Not really. It's actually like super that's probably the only good Creator Clash decision that they ever made. Because it really is kind of fucking, it could be suicide for the event.
And they admit that.
Yeah, they tried to use the video as kind of the last straw. And I mean, keep in mind, they would come to me sometimes and say things, and I'm not involved with that type of world. So they're like, yeah, this guy said if he loses, then he's going to have to subscribe to Anisa's OnlyFans, and he's so disrespectful. And I'm like, well, it's your event. If you don't feel like you want something on your event, then don't have him on your event. And then, truthfully, it ended up causing way more drama than it should have, and he brought way more attention to it than he should have. So it's like, if I would have been in the know, I probably would have said, man, just ignore it, let it be.
That's a good point, too, though. Maybe they shouldn't have even given a shit because it caused like a lot of controversy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I said, like Ian would never say my name. At least when Sam would make videos about me, he might have been talking shit, but they were pretty funny.
That's
and
funny.
he'd be like, Michael Briggs,
So,
same dick.
so
Michael
Sam
Briggs.
Hyde did more to promote you.
Yeah,
Literally.
I was really happy. I was really happy when Sam Hyde did that video, and I saw that there was like 11,000 views, and I was like, look, babe, my launch is finally out. Like, filming is out.
He had videos that were like talking shit about me, but they had like 100,000 views. So we were like, fuck, that's more than Ian's ever done.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And
The
also,
first Creator Clash. Yeah, the first Creator Clash, Sam had a major presence there, even though he physically wasn't there. I did see a lot of shirts, a bunch of Sam Hyde. And something that has that type of what's it called? Like it's
an allure.
hard to get people to move. Yeah, and people were there. They were wearing his T-shirt and stuff like that. And I had a lot of people that watched Sam and watched the documentary, that watched Creator Clash. But I guess it was like picking and choosing who could be a part of the event.
Right.
Yeah. That thing was so stupid.
Yeah, they brought more attention to it, not letting him be there, than they would have if he would have just been there. Like, so,
Yeah, it was the craziest thing because Anisa said to me, she's like, Kate, you don't understand.
Again, this one makes sense because it could be very bad for the event, but
Ian and I both believe that Sam Hyde would really come and find me and would actually murder me. So that's the reason why we have to take all these precautions. And I was just like,
what? Okay, that's a little fucking crazy.
are you sure?
I was like, I think the guy's a millionaire. I was like, I don't think he's gonna risk his freedom to kill you.
He's
But, okay.
okay. So Sam is definitely unpredictable, like high level troll. But I don't believe that he actually. I don't think their security was at risk. Why the fuck would he kill him?
Well, Creator Clash 1, he bought a ton of seats. He bought like a table right next to the ring that was like over
I think that they just want to play victim to an extent.
$1,000
Yeah,
or
what
something.
do
He
you
had all
think
his
about
guys
that,
there.
Harley? Do you think Ian was right to cancel that? Or,
I've always been at a place where there are so many decisions I would have done differently, but
His racist rank came out way after CC2. Oh, maybe that's a good point. I guess that's a good point. I don't know, because there was still enough of a brand risk with Sam Hyde to understand why a company wouldn't want to associate with him. Like, they fired him from Adult Swim. It doesn't look good for advertising. But I don't even think they had investors, so it's not even like that big of a. I don't even know. I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts, but I think that makes sense for them to disconnect themselves. So from Sam Hyde.
always acknowledge, okay, this is your event, do whatever. When Froggy got kicked off the card, I remember calling to be like, yo, so this is so much drama unfolding. And he was like, oh yeah, I just told Froggy he's not on the card. And I was like, oh, that's going to not go over well. And I still understood his logic, not the Sam thing. I thought it was for insulting his wife. So I understood. I'm like, yeah, back your wife, sure. But I was still like, people are going to feel away.
It's even Harley understands, yeah, because he's the best guy here.
And you know, they really. And now that I know that there were so many other people working at Creator Clash other than them, if I were their partners, I'd been like, who cares? Let that guy come here. Who cares about any of that? Let him fight. It's a YouTube boxing event. You know, let it all happen.
I mean, if he was really
there's a lot of gatekeeping. Right. Gatekeeping this event. That's the less gatekeeping there is, the more successful it could be for charity.
Maybe, or they could ruin the confidence moving forward and hurt their ability to keep it going. Although, so could working with Hassan Parker.
And also, it's like that guy would promoted it too. So
at that time, we were under the impression that it was still for charity, right? So I thought to myself, well, why are you going to refund $10,000 that could have gone to charity? But now we all know the truth; it didn't go to charity.
And the event lost money, so it's not a great one.
that was the first one.
Oh, that was for the first one, okay.
Yeah. So, and that was the thing, is they could be like, it was just 10,000, we raised 1.3 million. Which, once again, I was always telling you, I would always say, be proud of your work. Be proud of your work. And so, for example, when he came on your show for the second Creator Clash, we weren't with him for that event, for that interview. So he goes on the show and he tells you that he's been boxing for 2 years now and all these other things. When in reality, he took freaking 6 months off to make a show with that Dax kid. Yeah. So I'm like, why wouldn't you go onto your show and promote what he was doing? Instead, he didn't promote
he didn't even do it on his own show. This guy's a fucking idiot.
He was doing. He pretended like he was boxing the whole time. And for me, I'm like, I'm your boxing coach, and I can tell you never once showed up in 6 months. So now it's gonna make me look worse if you tell people you're on year 2 of boxing, but you took
then you didn't show up, and then it make 6
months off.
Can you guys spend a lot of time with them? Is there any other creators they specifically didn't like that they were talking about?
we have to tell you guys about how like was it the real estate guy?
Oh, Stephen Graham. Oh man,
Yeah.
he pissed her off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Let me pull up. He's the finance guy, right? Oh, he brought in the first one, right?
Yep. Super nice.
So wait, what did he? Yeah, he just seems like a pretty like. Wait, what?
This
is a different Stephen Graham, right? Like.
Where's
I thought it was Graham Stephan.
Yeah,
Graham
Graham
Stephan.
Graham Stephan. Okay, I was like, he kind of looks like him.
Yeah, he almost looks like him.
We know this guy. He's the finance guy.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
Very nice. And then like,
So what happened? How did he piss off Anisa?
So he owns properties. No, I'm just well, that was kind of it. But when they did his show, because we went to Vegas to
He owns properties. Hassan's fucking mom is a landlord, no? So they don't care about this stuff.
promote the event, and when he went to do his podcast, he didn't have a chair for her. So she was super offended by that. She was so pissed.
Jewish.
Yeah.
They didn't have a chair for her. What the fuck?
Did he not get her a chair?
Jesus Christ, she's so entitled. No wonder she latched onto fucking Ian. He's so fun. She's a little baby cuck.
Is he by chance Jewish?
I don't know.
What's that?
Is he Jewish?
Oh, Stefan, good question. Good question. Yeah.
They're obviously Jewish.
Well, she might have thought so. If you hear
Yeah,
it.
she might have thought so. She was so pissed because he had her. She was complaining about it, and he had a chair for Ian, but not one for her. So she had to sit in the back far away, and she wasn't in frame. And so she thought it was so offensive that he would, like do a podcast with Ian and not
Wait,
give
let me
her.
pull that up. I want to see what the I'm gonna see.
Graham's producer is actually a fan of our show. He's invited me and Lean out to dinner when we were in Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah. Graham was great. Graham was super nice. Like Michael Reeves was great. Graham was great. Like I tried to help Graham.
So I'm trying to pull it up. Wait, this is not. I want to see their interview. The iced coffee hour, is that what it's called?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Iced coffee hour. I'm just curious what the set situation was like. Oh, look at his dumb ass. I'll be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Hey, all you frugal warriors out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Iced Coffee Hour podcast featuring Graham, Stephan, and Jack Harlow. We are now up to $136,000.83.
Nice. That's a good guess.
Is it
Good
even?
guess. Yeah, 198,000.
So let me just kind of heard them. Like, so they have a limited space. It seems like they have like a very specific.
I was
set.
terrible.
Let me see.
Even
I'm a professional podcaster, so I can look at this and I can say what happened, right?
This is not what podcasts are.
Okay, listen. I've got credentials. You have no credentials. Where does he get off saying that?
You've chosen essentially the Keen
Can I hear
subject.
that, Dan? Okay, good. So it seems like they just have a preset thing here, right? Like that's. Or maybe they were just like this. This is annoying.
Yeah, to be honest, I just think they wanted Ian to interview. I think they just wanted to interview Ian.
Yeah, and he's the fighter, and he's the guy. I mean, what the fuck? Why
I mean, that kind of makes sense. Why the fuck? Why would Anisa get interviewed? She's done nothing. She latched herself onto Ian, and she's done nothing for herself. She was like a nobody Twitch streamer, right? And then she's just made his career go worse as time goes on. Why the fuck would want to talk to this person? She's useless.
To be in everything, and you said sit down.
So wait, I gotta tell you this part. Forget Ethan. So like when we came to LA with them that first time, right, to be on your show,
Yeah.
It was so interesting because those two are very unprofessional. They're bad with communication, and they don't ever tell us anything ahead of time. So it's always last minute, right? So basically, the day before we were supposed to come on your H3 podcast, she was like, "Oh, I gotta get back to the hotel. I gotta rest and prep myself because I have a podcast tomorrow." And made it seem like it was just her. And so we're like, "Oh wow, maybe she's like this big YouTuber and she's gonna go on a podcast and we're just gonna follow her around." Turns out it was actually about Ian and the creator clash. You know what I mean? So she was like she was going on H3 for her.
We're eating breakfast, so we go to eat breakfast in a hotel, and she's like, "I have a podcast today," and then Ian didn't say anything. So we're like, "Oh, she has a podcast, but Ian doesn't have a podcast." And then we go to Super Mega House, and it was Ian's podcast, and we're like, "Why didn't Ian say he had a podcast today?" Instead, she kept talking about how she had a podcast to do. And
She had a podcast to do. She's so full of shit, dude. She's so fucking egotistical. It's funny.
it was so odd because then when we got there, it was like, "Wait, this is Ian's podcast." Like,
I don't know if I've noticed that when they come on together, she does most of the talking. I'm struck by a memory long ago when they started dating at our old office.
Well, it's all sexism. The fact that you guys don't prioritize Anisa in the podcast. Like she's obviously the one who used to be the really popular creator. Like you guys really should be prioritizing questions for her. Make sure she has a special chair. And also a different chair for Ian, a cuck chair. It's just like what the fuck.
It's back in the day. That was a long time ago. And Ian was like the content cuck guy back then. And she was there. And there was a kind of a narrative about how she was like just kind of a clout demon. And I was like, "Do you want to sit in with us?" And then Ian actually was like, "No, she's not going to be in it." Like he asserted himself. And I was like, "Wow, that seems like he's pretty guarded about putting her on camera." And it seemed to me that she was disappointed and he was trying to protect himself and his image. But obviously a lot has changed since then.
right? Yeah,
A lot.
Yeah.
She got that from that moment on. Must have got so upset that they kind of just ended everything. What the fuck is going on out here?
She told me that the reason why we moved away from LA was because she had all these friends that wanted to use Ian and just take from him.
Oh my
And
God,
so,
she's so doing textbook isolating him.
Yeah, she's isolating him and literally just
iDubbbz is a fucking grooming victim.
me and Michael in the gym. He doesn't have any friends.
Like,
And she
this is
has no
actually really
friends.
sad.
Has no friends as well. It's ridiculous.
That's why I would feel bad for him.
Yeah.
That's why I felt bad all the time. I'm like, man, it's bad.
Yeah.
Graham Stephan's a Jew.
He is?
Yeah, I asked ChatGPT.
There it is. I fucking knew it.
Yes, ChatGPT, and he said he's a Jew. That's fucking funny.
I knew it. No wonder she hates him, right?
That's so surprising. The money YouTuber? It's crazy.
Stop it, Harley. Stop it.
Let me have fun. I thought that's what podcasting is.
We're more than that, Harley.
Are you kidding?
Jewish. So Griffin, so that's funny. So that was any other creators that they were all hyped out about?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to remember who else.
I know that what's sad is because they speak poorly about Dad, Nathan Barnett all the time.
Really?
Yeah, they do. They just say he's a weirdo and he does crazy stuff.
Yeah, but are they lying?
But they
Yeah, I think that's
I love that.
okay.
I'm joking.
No, I'm kidding.
I mean, well, he's a strange guy, but they didn't sound like they said it in a good way.
It's sad because you know why? I see all the heart that Nathan puts into the creator clash. I see, how much he cares about
True.
Ian and Anisa. And so for Ian and Anisa to throw those kind of comments around when we're about to go meet, Dad, it's just like, it's sad because we see
Yeah, sounds like it.
him, and then his eyes light up. He's so happy that it's Ian, and he's, you know. But then like, but he talks so much shit about him all the time.
I had a little tiff with that, but everything's all good. Water under the bridge. Like he seems like a very sweet, interesting
Yes.
guy, but definitely passionate about boxing and putting on a great show for them. I mean, from Clash 1, his fight with Matt was the one that everyone was talking about. Joe Rogan watched it. You know what I mean?
Yes. And she was saying,
That's true. I think Joe Rogan actually thought that they were father and son or something. That's why it got so much attention.
So they used to call him a weirdo.
Yeah, but he literally had some of the most viral moments. So, but another person that I know they didn't like, the William Haynes, was it?
oh yeah, the one that fought 62.
Yeah. Well, they didn't like his post-fight speech.
Yeah.
And a lot of us thought it was hilarious.
He said the use the word.
Which guy? What's his name?
Was it
William Haynes.
William Haynes, right?
From SourceFed. He said
Is he
the
Jewish?
word at the end.
No, I don't know.
Is he fucking Jewish? Is everybody Jewish?
If he wants.
So okay, hold on.
He's a really nice guy, I love Will.
Yeah, he was hilarious.
Is this him? This guy seems like older. This guy was born in
no,
900.
no, no.
600. Oh, not him. Okay. This guy's been dead apparently for 60 years or something.
That was the thing. He wasn't. I don't think he was as big as some of the other people as far as like his
Can
following.
someone send me a list of this guy? He's losing out on this Google search to someone who died a decade ago.
SourceFed. He was on SourceFed.
Wait,
HAYNES.
okay, so he fought. Oh,
Yeah,
SourceFed.
Froggy Fresh.
But he was one of the people that like came out and he on his IG and all these other things, he still promotes the event all the time. And so I'm like, a lot of the people that like supported it the most or got the most out of it, like Dad or him, are also people that they were like, I don't know.
They didn't care for
Is this
it.
it?
Yeah,
That's him. Yeah.
Is this because it says this is the weirdest post-fight speech ever? Because I'm curious what he said. Hold on. But this speech was given in the ring after the fight?
Yeah.
Shout out to Dynamic Banter, by the way. Shout out to Dynamic Banter.
You know who that is?
Yeah, that's Steve Zaragoza's podcast. He's a good guy. They were on a
Shout
show
out.
together. This is old YouTube. Before you were on YouTube, then you don't even know.
No, you come from another age, my friend, for sure.
Yeah, you were vaping on the streets.
I wasn't. Probably not even that far. And like,
Will used to be in some of Casey's old videos.
so,
He's nice guy.
so you love him.
Yeah.
They're fighting for your life.
I would pay very good money to be in.
What are they doing? Why do they edit between every single word? I'm sorry, but what? A dynamic
That's why I
banter?
learned you should not have
Why
to
should they edit this guy?
After fighting for your life.
That's how you have to do it, dude. You got to get on that TikTok. You got to get on that TikTok grind. You got to edit it. It's every little breath has to be edited out. That's what you have to do.
I would pay very good money to be in that booth while that's happening.
the first time.
What just happened?
I think it's AI.
I would be very good.
Time for me in.
So here it is. Okay.
It's like that the William Haynes, and he's gonna say something nice about it.
Oh, he says the line hose. So he said all the hose means so much to me. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's doing a gag.
What's he say? What's he say? What's he say?
I came here to take ass and bring names, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
I truthfully have no idea what the fuck's going on here.
So he said, I want to thank all the hosts tonight. I'd be nowhere without you. And then what did they say? Because that seems like
Pretty based.
obviously it's a gag, right? But also this is a boxing event. And also you're the N-word guy and girl. You guys are the N-word couple.
Right.
Oh, would they get upset over that? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Right.
So like, I mean, just a little hoe joke.
Yeah.
So what did they say about the speech?
Oh, they were super offended by it, and they were like, "Oh, I can't believe you did that." Like, there was a lot of stuff that they was just kind
He
of.
said he thanked all the hoes. Come on, dude. You can't be offended thanking all the hoes. It's thanking all the beautiful women out there.
Passing. Like I wasn't ever really taking notes on all the people.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was just there was so much. Plus, there was. I mean, a lot happened in those 2 years, and yeah, a lot of it. Like I thought there was gonna be a damn documentary on, so I thought a lot of stuff would came out and never did. So
There was a moment where I thought she was going to get upset with AB, like during the, I believe, second creator clash, because she came to the gym one day, and I don't know if this rings a bell, but because I don't know the YouTube world, right? But she said somewhere along the lines of like, there was like an
It sounds like she kind of does know the YouTube world. Let's be fucking real.
AI sexual thing or a video that was done, and I guess like AB either shared it or like knew about it.
There's no way that's true, AB, right?
And that's,
She's like, what?
yeah. And then she was like, I find that so offensive. Like I'm gonna have to talk to him. And then
I think she's referring to the cutie Cinderella thing.
Did they do anything?
Yeah.
Was that the bridge too far for her?
Yeah, I guess she brought her to the gym.
What does that
And
do with
then
AB? Yeah, it does nothing to do with AB. She's gonna have to talk to AB about something I did.
Yeah.
Open fire.
Oh, is that why she got upset? Because of the whole AI thing? Okay.
Sometimes he just
This
takes
is for
an
Ian's
opportunity.
career and reputation. Give me Zach, you guys, just to enjoy the moment.
Hey, you know what they say, baby. Enjoy the mint.
There's a live Eskimo. Everybody know.
Have you ever seen such a flawless victory in your life? Chestnuts roasting. Jack Frost. Frosting, I know those words.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you to
By the way, for the record, a lot of people don't know why a lot of us were laughing in that moment. It wasn't actually the chestnuts moment. It was just the way that it played out.
It was awkward. It was coarse.
very awkward.
There was nobody should be blamed for anything that happened in the office other than me.
Well, it was.
I thought it was silly.
It was more that you kept
Obviously,
telling Zach to play
obviously.
it, and as soon as he did, you blamed Zach. So
I told Zach to play. I bullied him into playing it.
totally did.
Zach was like, "Stop doing it. Let's play it." You guys have no idea what we're talking about. That's okay. We'll move on. So you guys had mentioned you hung out with Ian one time without Anisa, and he was normal.
Oh my god, it
oh,
was so nice.
well, that's what I was gonna say. Is the sparring sessions that we had, or just the week that she was on, was the most normal he ever was. That's why I remember.
That's actually so funny. I love that. Dude, she's such a positive influence on iDubbbz. It's actually beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing, man. It's such a beautiful thing. I love it so much. It's my favorite part about Anisa Jomina.
On his show or on your show, he said that
He's just in. Do you think he's just in a constant like? Like, do you think that's his energy around? You think that's his constant energy around Anisa? Like he's just always kind of worried about it. Oh shit.
Without Anisa, he's super awkward. And I was like, that's not true at all. Like, you became famous without her.
Yeah, she convinced
What the hell are you
true.
talking about? And then anytime he was there without her, after sparring, a lot of times like the guys all hang out together, and that's usually when she would interrupt it and then tell him he had to leave. But then when she wasn't there, he'd hang out for like an hour and a half after his training session and just like hang out, talk to the guys, watch training. He actually seemed like he liked it at those points. So it was very odd that sometimes he would seem like he hated boxing, and then other times like that when she was gone, he would hang out for an hour and a half after the session.
That's actually very funny. I like that.
You would see moments of him breaking through and being his true self, and then I would have hope for him. But then she would go and like have like a talking point, and then he would back her. So then I'm just like, you know what? Forget it. I don't feel sorry for you anymore, Ian.
Well, I didn't know sometimes because sometimes he would say that she's the one like keeping him on the boxing path, and then other times I felt like she was kind of the reason that was hard for him. So it was hard to figure out if he's in charge or if she's in charge.
Right.
Because some of the times it seemed like okay, Ian's in charge and this is what's going on, and then other times he would say things and you're like, that's her words. Like that's not your words at all.
That's such a bizarre freaking way to navigate the world, man.
Yeah, I did have a moment at the sorry. I was gonna say she had a moment at the gala, Creator Clash 2, where she gave a speech, and she had gone up there. And I remember she said her speech began with, "When I gifted Ian boxing."
What?
And then she went
When
on
I
to explain
gifted
it.
Ian boxing?
Wait, what did you really say? When I gifted Ian boxing?
We're always fascinated by that choice of words, and it's something like my partner and I, my podcast.
get
We always,
that?
that's what we always say. We always
Wait, is Harley gay as fuck? His partner? You gay? Is he gay? Wow, incredible. Based?
we always do that whenever someone's doing something they enjoy. I'm like, well, ever since I gifted you video game.
Yeah.
Wow,
finally
what a
enjoyed
weird
it.
comment. All right, this next question is very salacious, so it's totally up to you. You can pretend like you don't even know what I'm talking about if you want. But what I've heard is that she was hitting on one of his sparring partners and was obsessed with him and gave him a VIP pass to the event.
A lot of his sparring partners got the passes, but she definitely had a big crush on one of the guys that would come in and spar with him, because anytime they would spar, she would just be super into it and watch every moment. And then even if he was like beating up, she'd be very into it.
That's fucking. I wouldn't doubt this at all, dude. I wouldn't doubt this at all, bro. This is fucking so funny. This is so fucking funny to me. Oh, holy shit.
I want to say that before. So Anisa never gave shoutouts to Michael training Ian at all, but she put out the first video of Ian like getting hit, rocked, and sparring when Ian was sparring with her crush. Yeah.
So who's the crush? Tell us. You guys got to let us know. I want to know the fucking juicy details.
She shared it. Yeah, and we have a clip to you guys.
I would call him Gorgeous Gabe.
He's a beautiful guy.
Yeah, he's got tattoos. He's large. He's tan.
He's tatted up.
Yeah,
tattoos. Nobody calls me gorgeous.
He's very nice tattoos.
Yeah.
Oh, they're nice. Thanks.
We can actually clear it up. Like, they literally did say that when they go get tattoos, they either point at the wall and get one off the wall, or what they would do, they would tell the tattoo artist that if he had a tattoo he really wanted to do, then he could just do it on them.
Yes.
And so, like, all these tattoos meant nothing except to somebody else.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's
Damn. They were just getting free tattoos. They really are fucking cheap. What the fuck?
so odd to just go in and say, hey, if I'm
agree more.
just put tattoos all over Ian.
Yeah, during
We're like,
his
what the hell? This is crazy.
The fact that their tattoos are like the same makes me think.
Do you guys think that they're gonna get divorced, or do you think that they're gonna stay together out of like spite to like to quote unquote prove everybody wrong? What do you guys think about that?
Like, why did he do that? Why did he do all the whole everything around? Just I don't know. And listen, you can make fun of my tattoos all you want, but mine are sentimental. They have meaning.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's funny because everyone says like, oh, you just picked like a random tattoo out of like the 25 cents gumball machine, or whatever. But that sounds like it is what they did.
Well, isn't it? That does sound like what they did. But aren't Ethan's tattoos like his wife and then like drawings of his kids on his leg or something? Isn't that what it is?
They would just pick something on the wall.
That's why I was like, I want to clarify, because I always hear people talking about how they chose their tattoos. They didn't choose their tattoos. They walk in and they say, hey, tattoo whatever you want. There's only a couple tattoos that, like, I'm sure Anisa probably was in control of a lot of hers, but most of Ian's, I think the only one he chose was like the eagle on his chest. Yeah. Otherwise, everything else. Oh, and then she had this story too about how this girl had a crush on
Why
Ian
would you want to just have like a bunch of tattoos? Like, why not just get like something that means something more?
at the gym and was asking about tattoos. And I'm like, that story was never true. That guy has like,
I don't know, because whatever. I guess it's fine. There's some people who really just like to get a bunch of tattoos. But then also, are they the type of people who like that, or they just want to look cool? You know, I don't know.
she's married with children and has her own life. She just also does like
Projection.
tattoos. What's that?
It's projection.
Yes, completely. Well, in my opinion, because you've already exposed her for being like the first person that Ian's ever been with, right?
Yes.
So in my opinion, what happened was she even told us, she used to always tell her mom, I'm going to be with a millionaire. And so we think that once
She used to tell
got
her mom that she would be with a millionaire? How do you
Her
know
mom told her that it had to be someone rich.
How did you know that?
Well, she told us that. It was, I remember exactly. It was when we were in Vegas going to the other podcast, and we were inside
That's
Uber,
so
and
funny.
we were seeing Anisa, and Anisa said that.
It's so funny that she's like, I want to be with a millionaire, but like then she's making him not a millionaire because she's just so shitty. She can't even keep it going, you know what I mean? She can't even like keep him successful, because that's what you're supposed to do, bro. You know, you're supposed to kind of like keep your partner successful.
That like her mom only had two expectations for her to marry someone that was rich and also to be of her religion, right?
By being a positive supporting force.
And so she said that Anisa goes, well, I mean, I didn't get someone that was of my religion, but at least I got one part of it right. He's rich, and then she like laughed about it, and he was in the car, and you could tell he was bothered by it.
Well, isn't she like fucking Christian? What is she talking about? Her fucking religion?
I was bothered.
Who wouldn't be bothered by that?
It's awesome.
Yeah, this is it's like a fountain.
It's awesome.
That's really great.
I felt like she was always trying to control him because she was the first girl he'd ever been with.
Yeah.
I felt like she didn't want other people. Like I felt like that was.
Did you know that?
With him.
That
Yeah,
you knew that?
She said he
Yeah, okay.
claimed.
Just to verify, because people are like, oh, you're making that up. You guys are co-signing. He was a virgin.
Well, he claimed he was with one other woman before her.
So what Anisa told us was that
Ooh, typical virgin behavior, saying that they've slept with other people. Am I right, guys? Typical virgin behavior. Look.
yeah. So Anisa told us that Ian had a girlfriend, but he never had sex with her, and that she was a single mom.
So he like, what?
Yeah, and
She was a single mom. What is it, Reba?
that's like he couldn't get anybody.
I heard
like,
this.
So like this.
He was dating a single mom?
Well, she
Yeah.
It was something
They had
about
sex
some
with
sort of MILF at rock climbing or something.
Yes, rock
Yes.
climbing,
Oh,
yeah.
rock climbing MILF with a child, and then they never had sex.
That's hot, dude. What the fuck? Oh shit! What the heck?
So hold on. So he says they had sex, but
A rock climbing MILF. I like that.
she says they didn't have sex.
I couldn't figure it out. but I
So
swear.
Anisa told me directly that like he dated a single mom and it went nowhere, and he didn't know how to be in a relationship. So then they just kind of like broke up after a little bit. And then when Anisa met him, he was still living with his parents, right?
Yep.
And then she convinced him that he had to move out of his parents' house and buy a house, or she was going to break up with him because she needed him to be a real man.
Yep.
And so that's when he took his $1 million of money and went and bought the house that he lived in.
I mean, listen. I mean, it's fine that you don't want to live with this guy's mom or whatever, but I mean, it's just again, it's the combination of everything else that makes her so shitty. You know.
Also, then you saw on Discord that she
It's fine to not want to live with somebody's fucking mom, but you know.
said that his room in his parents' house smelled like trash, is what she told her people on Discord. So it's like, no wonder why she wanted him to move out of that house. His room smelled like trash.
She wanted him to move out because she wanted her to
I
closet
think,
deeper.
I think the stink follows him. It's probably not the trash.
But so literally, she was the first person that he'd ever really
You know
been
what? I gotta say something. Toxic gender norms. She was bragging about how she bagged a millionaire.
with.
Yes.
That is a
Damn, that's fucked up, dude. That's fucked up, bro.
toxic gender norm.
Completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would I say that iDubbbz is neurodivergent? That's fucking ridiculous. Who said that?
Yeah.
That's funny. I would.
I mean, bask in that. Straight up. You need a man to buy her a house, a real man. I mean, this is toxic femininity right here.
Yeah. I'm the toxic one, though.
Yeah.
Right, because you're pushing this poor guy who's going to go fight.
That was what was crazy to me is I'm like, if I'm the toxic one, why is it when you say something, everyone talks shit in my comments? But when I say something, I wasn't creating any toxic drama. Like, all the toxic drama was following him. But yeah, I was the toxic person. I was like, this is crazy.
What did you guys think when he dropped that content cop on me right before the event?
I was shocked. I was like, because he said he was going to do a content cop. So I figured it would be somebody. There's plenty of people online that talk shit about it. So we were like, oh, it's probably going to be somebody that constantly talks shit about him and his podcast and Anisa. And so
Imagine he did a content cop on Anisa. Do you think that will be peak iDubbbz? Do you think like a few years from now, iDubbbz is going to make content cop Anisa Jonma and talk about how she ruined his life and then cry on camera? Do you think that's what's going to happen?
then when he did it on you, like I was shocked. I was like, he literally attacked the one person that promoted his event more than he did. That got a lot of fans. That's part of why I was like, man, I wanted to do your show. I wanted to at least put our side of the story out because you were one of the people that was most supportive to him, and yet he chose to do the content cop on you. And I'm like, that must have been like Anisa's doing.
100%. That's what it had to be. This all had to be her idea. Because I mean, listen, but I don't want to also. You know, I don't want to excuse Ian being a scumbag, but like, the way that they talk about it is like, my wife is half Irish and half Lebanese. So we understand what it means to fight the oppressor, and I'm just like that.
True, Irish oppression, baby, terrible stuff.
What?
Like, would I say that they're codependent? I mean, like, yeah, they're definitely codependent, but it's not even in like a good way. They're both so toxic for each other.
He's never left North America, from what I can tell.
We would get in arguments sometimes because she would talk about how dangerous America. Like, so after my dad died, I went to Manchester, and my dad lived in a very, very ghetto area of Manchester. He lived on government housing.
Oh, he said ghetto, dude. Dog whistle.
They're so super dangerous areas. We get stabbed all the time, arsons all the time. So I told her when I was out there, I was like, yeah, it's a dangerous place. She's like, America's dangerous. I'm like, okay, but there's.
I don't know, man. America is probably dangerous in some areas, but not for rich white ladies. Hey, rich white lady. You're a rich white lady. Why are you talking about how dangerous America is? What are you talking about?
Other dangerous places too, but she would always try to just be like, America's so dangerous and act like America's this worst place ever. And she would always talk about how she's like anti-capitalism. I'm like, your favorite shopping mall is Bellevue Square, which is like where all the rich people go in Bellevue, but you're a communist.
Well, you know, the irony, and it sticks with all of them, it's the socialist communists that are always like, I'm going to secretly take 34% and give the fighters 1%, and I'm not going to give a bonus to my actually working class, you two who are working your
True, and she said they're going to take advantage of people, yep.
Your butts off, and I'm going to stiff them, me the fucking, and let me prove to you guys, I'm going to make a proclamation right here, as the resident capitalist. This was not discussed beforehand. This was not offered in any way. You guys are hearing this for the first time. You had no incentive to do this other than your rageful, we all mutually despising these two evil people. I'm putting words in your mouth a little bit. But I want to say here that I, the capitalist, will once again be ponying up for the right cause. It is not right that he stiffed you guys. I'm going to be sending you guys $5,000 for the bonus that you never got. Because he should have never fucked you guys.
That's insane.
It's my pleasure to do it. I'm going to send you guys that money. You should have got more than it from him, frankly. But once again, let's just bask. Hassan doesn't pay his moderators. His mods are on stream begging for money.
Look
right?
up. Terrible stuff.
Like, look at me, right? Go ahead, Tom, say something nice about me.
You're just an amazing person. You look very handsome in the suit today. You're generous with your money. You're just all around good guy, good family guy, great dad, husband.
Thank you. Communist never.
I'll say thanks for reimbursing me, Lena, for her training. The check cleared.
This is fucking so funny.
Can't believe you're giving me $5,000. This is crazy, dude. I was coming here just. That's nuts.
Oh, you said. Sorry, I didn't hear. You said you were going to give him money too, Harley.
Oh, maybe that's why Ethan's sending me more Teddy Fresh. He wants me to jump on the bandwagon, dude. Just be like, oh, thanks for the stuff, dick. You piece of shit. Fuck you. Fuck you, bro.
Yeah, Harley.
What you said?
No, but basically what I'm driving at, I want the best for you guys. It's totally unfair how you guys got stiff. So I want to promote you. What are you guys working on right now? Like, where can people go support you?
So I'm working on trying to get my own gym going. My business is called Bonafide Boxing. I'm on Instagram. I'm Bonafide
The time to glaze is right now. True. I gotta start glazing, bro. Fuck, Ethan. I love you. You're so good. Ethan, please.
Boxing. We're gonna start doing more on the YouTube channel. We haven't done anything for a long time, but everything you can usually find out Bonafide Boxing. But we are trying to open our own gym. We actually had asked Ian if he could help us open a gym, not even financially, because at the time we were okay. So we were like, hey, could you just help us out by signing as a guarantor? And he had told us in no world could he ever help us.
He said that.
Wait, what did?
Actually, because at the time we were okay. But everything you can usually find out Bonafide Boxing. But we are trying to open our own gym. We actually had asked Ian if he could help us open a gym, not even financially, because at the time we were okay.
How else would they help him with like
So we were like, hey, could you just help us out by like signing as a guarantor?
Oh, well, that's a big ask. That's a big fucking. Okay, this is incredible. Are you fucking kidding me? That's a pretty big ask. I feel like a guarantor isn't that like. I feel like a guarantor is somebody who just in case they default on their loans. No, isn't that what a guarantor would be? That does seem like a rather large ask. I feel like, right? What is that? What is a guarantor? An individual who agrees to cover the financial obligation. Yeah, it's basically a cosigner. That is way too over the line. Like, to fucking ask this guy to be a guarantor is ridiculous. I don't understand why you would ever do that. That's fucking ridiculous. Oh, I almost pushed my screen. That's way over the line, but okay.
And he told us in no world could he ever help us.
He said that.
I would say the same fucking thing. Could you please be my fucking cosigner? No, thank you.
So, literally,
he said it like in a mean way?
In no world. He said in no world.
I would say no, but fuck you. But the problem is that there's a lot of other things that are going on that makes iDubbbz and Anisa bad. But like this individual thing, I'd be like, bro, suck my balls. Like, I would actually tell you to suck my balls. Hey, could you please go fuck off? Like, literally, never. Like, the fact that you even felt like you could ask that question is such fucking unreasonable dog shit.
Yeah.
Why would you respond like that?
He did.
Yeah. So
that's how I would respond too. Ethan, why wouldn't you respond like that? Could you please be a guarantor at our gym? Like, if they had said, yeah, we asked him if he would like maybe want to invest in it and like, you know, we'd give him a percentage of the gym or something. Like, that would have been one thing, but you guys are that's a huge fucking ask, bro.
Wait, when was that? When did he say that?
That was
after the second creator class.
Yeah, it was
in no world can I help you.
September 2020. It was actually like a year
That's
ago.
the same fucking thing, boss man.
Exactly. And I know exactly. It's when we found that spot. So we found a spot in July 2023 after CC2. And I didn't think that like the 250K came that hard because when they made it seem like, oh, they're fine, they're moving on and all these other things, right? And so Michael and I had the capital for our business, but we needed a personal guarantor to help us because we have a new LLC. And so I told Michael, you know, maybe we should ask Ian and Anisa because when they came to us, they had no bike promoter, they had no manager, they had nothing. They were just the two of them. And we didn't know who the hell they were, right? But we stuck it out with them and we helped them. So even if they couldn't be a personal guarantor for us, we can guide us.
Okay, I can, you know, with their explanation, it makes sense. That like they would feel bold enough to ask because they did a lot for the event. That's fair enough, but still, that is a big ask.
That's right. They can be like, hey, let me give you some referrals.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but instead they responded with, in no world would we like help you guys.
Why so mean? Why were they so mean?
And I believe that was Anisa texting, not Ian, because those are her words. She always uses the words in no world. That's her favorite word.
Damn, she's a fucking saucy. She's a saucy bitch, you know.
Yeah.
In no world, Anisa. Should you ever be running an event again?
Oh, yeah. Thank God. Well, yeah. But so we were trying to open a gym that's gone through, but we're still working on it. But otherwise, I'm right now working on getting a couple guys into the UFC. I have a couple boxers I'm working with as well. Yeah. So a couple of my fighters are really close. Actually, one of my fighters was supposed to be fighting on the UFC this weekend, but he got a concussion.
Oh no.
So we were able to get into the
yeah.
Actually, exactly like that. But it was a real one.
It's a real one. Yeah.
It's a real one.
But yeah, I have a website, bonafideboxing.com, and we do have apparel, like the T-shirt I'm wearing now. We have like mugs. We have coffee mugs and stuff.
Merch. I like the name.
I follow this guy for years. It's great.
Bonafide Boxing is a great name. By the way.
I like mugs.
I like mugs.
By the way, Michael, I know I put you in my YouTube video, but I actually do have footage to make a documentary. Hopefully one day when I find time. But you were definitely in that.
I got mugs root beer, baby.
So yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, don't worry, you didn't pay a team.
It's the way that they told. Yeah, I mean that's fair too. I get that.
To fucking film it and then just tell everyone you're making a documentary, and then like tell people that are helping you, being like, I'm gonna put you in this documentary. It's gonna be great for you, and then not do it. So you're good, baby.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a documentary released on, I believe it was April 16th per our contract with Creator Clash 3. I had a guy come out and spend like a full day with me doing all that stuff to capture for Creator Clash 3, but it never came out. That doc never came out, the footage. There was like a guy they hired in Tampa, it never came out, and it was supposed to come out on the 16th, which did make like the multiple drama-infused videos seem a little bizarre to people that were in the event, because the documentary stuff was supposed to come out. But what happens with the footage, the Creator Clash 1 and 2 documentary footage? I mean, essentially that's kind of interesting.
Where the fuck do I go to like save? This is insane. Or like get a checkpoint.
Footage now. It has more... It's more fascinating now than ever before.
Yeah, I thought I missed the mark. I thought it was too late, but now there's a resurgence in interest. So
yeah,
it was like super positive. So maybe it's
can you edit it so it's just Michael?
Yes, please.
I also have Kate spraying me for spray tan also.
Oh yeah, I heard the infamous spray tan. Excellent. This is by the way, this is the biggest expose of the day. Here's Ian by himself and a Denny's, and it looks like the bathroom is off. Yeah, this appears to be real. The bathroom has been sectioned off as a crime scene. My God. And then he's got a bunch of paper towels. Why's he got paper towels?
There's big wipes. 4 day wipes.
Oh, because he clogged the toilet? What is the whole crime scene? And then he's got mayonnaise and a Coke. What is happening? And he's crying. Ian, what the fuck?
I just want to ask him if you've always been shitting your pants.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys know if he ever shit his pants or no?
I mean, we found that out through her, so we found out when everybody else did.
Yeah.
So and so that was during I think that was during when he was trying to raise money for failing the second Creator Clash, and then she like threw that out there. So
she just threw that out there. A little bit of a tidbit. Okay.
Once again, that's something that we were just like, what the hell are you doing?
Just to summarize, he has bad breath. He shits his pants. He's cheap. I don't know if you guys saw that one. She's like, oh, he took a girl to Cheesecake Factory and didn't pay.
Yeah, we saw that.
And then she goes, I totally believe that. So he's cheap, shits his pants, he's got bad breath, and we're continually adding to the list. But basically, I can only add stuff that Anisa herself has said. Yeah. Well, with all that being said, guys, what a conversation it's been. Thank you guys for spending so much time with us. It was fascinating from beginning to end. And Kate, I'm not done. Because Kate, I wanted to ask you brought up, when we were chatting a bit before the show, you brought up you're working on some really interesting activism where you were, this is not interesting, it's really shocking and sad that you yourself were a child bride.
Yes. So
what the fuck? Holy Jesus Christ.
I'm a child bride survivor, and at the age of 12, I was put into a child marriage from the time I was 12 until 23.
That's horrible. What the fuck? Jesus Lord. That's a hell of a story, man.
In my child marriage.
God bless him for getting out of that.
I had 2 kids when I was 15 and 17. And this happened in America, okay? And Ian and Anisa are well aware of my story because I've had them in my home, they've seen my kids and everything. And so last year, right, 2024, I learned that there was a House bill in Washington State trying to pass House Bill 1455 to end child marriage. And so when I learned of this bill, I thought to myself, even though it had been 15 years since I escaped my prison, like, this is a chance for me to come forward and tell my story. I sent, so Michael and I went to Olympia in Washington. We met with politicians, we lobbied to support the bill. I gave my public testimony to support the bill, and, once I was on Seattle Times and television and everything. And I reached out to Ian and Anisa, and I asked them if they could help, share the information, because it was really important to me that this bill passed, and they just both left me on red. But guess what? Today when they saw the highlights.
What? There's no way. That's really fucked up. That's like actual, what an easy thing for them to do is signal boost that obvious dunk. She was a child bride and she wanted to support legislation to end child brides, and Ian and Anisa gave her absolutely no help in doing that. That's just fucking typical, frankly.
On Ian's story that we were going to be on here, Ian and Anisa was texting me and Michael, and they were like,
they ignored us when we were like trying to fight child marriage, but then when they found out,
are they pro child marriage? Begs the question. Wait, so how? And if you're uncomfortable talking about this, refrain. But it's not. How did you get married at 12?
So basically, in Washington State, there's no law to prevent parents from marrying their children. So as long as there's a parental consent, then
wow.
The judge on it.
Yeah, that shouldn't happen. You shouldn't be able to get married as a kid.
You could just marry a child.
Right. What?
Yes, and also I want to imply that I also want to let you guys know that last year after
too fast. What are you talking about? Too fast? All right, I'll turn it down again, but I feel like it's not that bad, is it?
Michael and I worked so hard in Olympia in Washington to pass the bill. The bill was passed in March of last year, and the bill was signed by the governor at the end of March.
That's amazing.
Oh, good for them. They got it taken care of. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it became a law.
That's amazing. Is that a state bill?
Yeah, and then I also came out to California as well to support the bill in February of last year. But because of the politicians and they're more focused on their sponsors and not ending child marriage to protect children like me and survivors like me, the bill in California was actually trashed the day before it was supposed to go down.
Are you saying in California you can get married at any age with parental consent?
Yep. So
I did not know that. I did not know that.
That's terrible.
We were trying to fight it in California too, and it looked like it was going pretty far. But then they pulled it back because. Like she said, if one of their sponsors is against it, then they'll take the bill out.
Yeah,
who's against that? Who the fuck is against that?
So Planned Parenthood is actually is hugely against ending the passing the bill.
Well, it was very complicated. So Planned Parenthood in Washington was for the bill. Planned Parenthood in California, they were scared to pass the bill because they were afraid if they made child marriage 18, then it would lead to contraceptives having to be at 18. But
oh, that's kind of interesting. I guess I kind of can see how that would go there. Okay, interesting.
Part of our argument was like contraceptives and those types of things are not those are time sensitive. Marriage is not time.
Well, no, I understand what they're saying. I understand why they would feel that way, though, to like from an optics perspective and like potentially having to deal with something like I kind of get why they would feel that way. Like it would be used as like kind of like a spearhead by conservatives. So, but still, it's pretty fucked up.
Sensitive. So if some girl needed something for medical help or they needed access to abortion or they need access to birth control, that is time sensitive. But the marrying somebody is not time sensitive. So we didn't feel like it was going to affect it at all, but they were afraid. And there's actually literally the state Supreme Court said it can't be affected by that, but they were so worried that those things could lead to a path of that, like of oh, you'll need to be 18 to get abortion or all these other things. So Planned Parenthood was against it. So we had to like really push against like, hey, like marriage and abortions are completely separate. We're not trying to take away like a woman's right to choose. Yeah. We just don't want people to marry off their child.
Yeah. Right. Dude, what?
Yes, and also the thing is this: if there's a child bride, right, and she gets into a marriage and she's being abused, right, which most case happens, right, they get abused.
Because if you have sex with a 12-year-old, it's still a child.
But if you have a marriage license, it's okay.
Yeah.
No. So if you get married, as a 12-year-old, he can have sex with you.
As much.
I think that's how it works. It's pretty fucking gross.
Yes,
it's not. Yes. So that's the loophole to statutory rape.
Yes.
That's a loophole to pedophilia.
Yes, literally.
Yes.
Yeah, literally.
What?
Yeah, and so
that's crazy.
Yeah, one of the people.
That's disturbing. Really disturbing. It's crazy that they're in favor of that.
Yeah, that's why I can't believe that Ian and Anisa wouldn't even like respond to me about it when we have been nothing but supporting to them. So that's when I was just like, you know what? This is actually a situation where I really needed their platform to like help spread the word that I want to help in child marriage. I'm coming forward with my story. I'm sharing for the first time on public television. I'm testifying to support the bill.
It sounds really important.
Hard, and they just put me on red.
Yeah,
I'm blown away. I'm frankly blown away that this is happening.
Yeah,
yeah, that's fucking crazy.
I'm going to be back in California again next year when the bill goes back down to Sacramento. So I'll let you guys know, my journey.
Absolutely, please
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So how does that happen? How do you? But like, what's the arrangement like? Your parents agreed to?
I'm assuming that like this started in. I would have assumed it started in like another country and came here or something. No.
For you to marry, who was the person?
So I grew up. I came to America when I was 3 years old, and in my culture, my nationality is Hmong, and you can have more than Hmong.
Hmong.
Yeah, Hmong.
HMONG.
HMONG. Yeah. If someone can look that up too, that'd be great. Just because Hmong people don't have their own country. They originate Yeah,
Whoa.
they originated out of the southern region of China, but then they resided in the mountains of Laos for a very long time.
Wow.
And then when the Vietnam War happened, our people were living in the jungles of Laos, just, no electricity, no running water, just surviving in the jungle. And it was the American CIA that actually approached our people, and they asked our people to help them first line of defense, right? And in return, they would set up camps in Thailand for us, so all the women and children would have to flee the mountains of Laos, go to the refugee camps up in Thailand. But there was a huge river that separated two countries called the Mekong River. And so you would have to wait until nightfall, and then you have to either drive your children with opium and build a raft with bamboo shoots, and then swim across the river to make it to the camps. Once you get to the camps, you stay in the camps, and the camp is in a barbed wired valley of the mountain regions of Thailand. And you have to stay there until it's your turn to come to America. And so when the Americans pulled out of the Vietnam War, right, they just left. And because the organization was, the operation was ran by the CIA, it was classified. And so that's why nobody knew what happened to us and why all these Hmong people were showing up in America. It wasn't until like after the early 2000s when, the early 2000s, YouTube happened. And then when YouTube happened, the veterans that had retired went back to film the Hmong people that were still running for their lives, the Hmong people that were still stuck in the camps that didn't get to come to America. And then that's when they finally closed the camps down. They brought everybody over to America around 2006. And that's when Obama went to Laos. I don't know if you guys remember, but when Obama went to Laos, they put a big Band-Aid on it and they said, we're going to call this the Laotian Civil War. And that's the reason why we brought the Hmong people to America. And we're going to call this the Secret War. Yeah. Okay. So that's what happened at the end. But yeah.
So your mother was one of these refugees?
Yeah,
she was born in the refugee
I was born in the refugee camp.
Yeah, she was born in the refugee camp.
You were born in Thailand in one of these places. What?
Yeah, I was born in. My parents remained in the camps for so long after the Americans pulled out of the Vietnam War. They met each other. They married. They had me. I was 3 years old, and then we finally came to the U.S. I think it was. It was 88. Yeah, we came to the U.S. in 88, and I was 3 years old. We lived in Fresno, California, because the way they had the operation set up was California, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Those were like the 3 hubs in America where they would send all of our refugee Hmong people. And then we didn't have a country. So whenever we went to school, they would say, what are you? And I would say Hmong. Nobody would know. So a lot of Hmong people would just classify themselves as Laotian or Thai, but that's actually not true.
Right.
You know, the whole story behind it. Yeah, where they say Chinese, you know, they don't have to
That's interesting.
explain the heritage and everything. But for me, it's
Great commentary, right? That is just interesting. I'm just listening to her story. It's wild.
super important because our people played a huge role in, in supporting the Americans, you know? Yeah.
Wow.
So at 10 and a half, though, she was sent to live in Washington.
Yeah.
And then her aunt helped arrange
yes,
there.
yeah. So basically, like in my culture, a husband can have more than one wife, which is very sad. And daughters are only meant to be sold off as for dowry, and sons are the only ones
Yeah, it's kind of typical religion, unfortunately.
that are respected and put on a pedestal because they carry the last name of the family, right? And so, unfortunately, my mom had 5 daughters, no sons, and because of that, my dad left her. It was very sad.
Oh my
So-
goodness.
So I grew up in California. I grew up in Fresno, California, and I had it was me, my mom, and my 2 sisters. My dad left us, and we were on our own, you know. And then my mom didn't feel like she could make decisions for herself because in my culture, you're a woman, so you have to rely on your elders and you know, and the men, right? And so because we couldn't practice the religion because we didn't have a man in the household, then we went to church. And then my aunt at the time was moving. My aunt and uncle were moving back to Washington, and they asked my mom if they could bring me with them at the age of I was like
Damn, so fucking, she was away from her fucking mom, too. That sucks.
almost 11. I was like 10 and a half. Yeah. And so they asked if they could bring me with them because they had 5 kids, all under the age of 6 years old. And they wanted me to be their nanny and their helper, you know?
Yes.
And
Jesus Christ, what the fuck? This can't catch a goddamn break.
She had to go raise her aunt's family
yeah,
at
and
10 and a half.
Yeah, and my mom couldn't say no because it's not allowed. You're not allowed to say no. So she allowed me to go with my aunt and uncle to Washington. And then when I got to Washington, I also lived a very sad life, you know, because I lived in a 2-bedroom with 5 children. I had to take care of them. And it was really hard.
Jesus Christ, this is fucking crazy.
But I tried to find the best in everything, you know, that I had, you know, because my life was very hard. And and so then when I was 12, my aunt
Damn, that's fucking crazy. She took it on the chin too. Like you would never. It's so funny that and it's not funny, but it's kind of ironic almost that this woman has had I'm gonna die here. That this woman has had so much like oppression associated with her, and yet she's not an entitled person with a victim complex like Anisa and iDubbbz are.
Brought me around to like the community, and I would work and stuff like at gatherings. And so someone spotted me, and they just thought like, oh, look at this little girl. She's super sweet, and she's super obedient, and she's very good at like washing dishes and all the house chores. So how about we buy her for our son? And that's what happened.
Yeah. And a lot of cultures, I was just gonna say, like a lot of cultures will do dowries for girls, and like don't really give them a lot of respect. Like the men are supposed to like lead the way.
Yeah.
And it's really backwards because in those cultures, the men are becoming like children, you know? So,
yeah. And so
That's fucking ridiculous.
I was married to someone who was older than me. I was only 12 and he was 19 years old. 3 months after marrying him, he was physically abusive to me right away. And it was the most difficult time of my life because I had no friends, no access to anything. I had to be enrolled in 7th grade and tell the school that his parents were my parents, even though we didn't have the same last name. No one ever questioned, you know? And
Whoa.
no one questioned. Yeah, and his family had a farm because they sold flowers at Pike Place Market. So I was also a farm slave while I was there. They would drop me off the farm and I would work there until the evening, and they would come pick me up. It was my job to take care of his entire family's household because they bought me. So I would take care of his.
Oh my God.
I would work at the farm. It was extremely hard, you know, and
Jesus Christ.
it was one of the most difficult times of my life.
Yeah.
You know, and I finally escaped at 23 because I had my kids. Life was hard. But right after high school, I did running start, so I was already working in surgery and oral surgery.
Damn, she was in high school too, like living like just a normal life, and nobody picked up on this. We have some weak ass institutions in America. Huh?
When I was 22, I applied to University of Washington and I got accepted. When I had my first class at the University of Washington, I realized I'm actually fucking smart. Brainwashed me this whole time. They told me I couldn't have friends outside of the community. I couldn't have friends outside of his sisters. I couldn't go anywhere. They told me that the American people would reject me if I was to ever leave. They would shit on me because I'm a single mom now and I don't have a husband. You know, so I was afraid that I would walk the same path as my mom. So that's why I suffered and stayed with abuse for so many years. It was really challenging, yeah. And also, I want to say, on the first day of 7th grade, after my marriage, my mother-in-law told me, she said to me, if you go to school and you tell the American people that you are in a child marriage, I want you to know that CPS is going to take your sisters away, you're never going to see them again, and they're going to put your mom in prison, and you'll never see her again.
Maybe not your mom, but I feel like maybe CPS should take them away.
So what do you expect a 12-year-old to do, you know, in 99?
Yeah, that's I was 9 in 99, I think.
So who did they pay? Was it your mom or your like uncle and aunt?
So when we had the ceremony for the wedding, they gave $6,000 to my mom, right? But it was my aunt who actually arranged this whole thing.
$6,000?
Correct, $6,000. Yes, and my aunt, and we didn't know this at the time because, you know, like you don't really know and you're not allowed to question in my community, right? Like in my culture, you don't question your elders. So I didn't know this at the time, but my aunt had a huge gambling problem, and so that's the reason why she actually she put me in an arranged marriage. And then after that, my family got $6,000 for it, and then my mom had to give her $2,500.
Yeah.
It's just, how do you raise a child to the age of 12? It's such a. I have young kids. It's such an intimate and.
I mean, it's a religious thing. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what it is.
You know, taxing and rewarding experience. But then, how do you sell your child for $6,000?
Dude, I have a 10-year-old daughter. That's
I feel like I get at least $7,000 for my child.
2 years older. I couldn't imagine.
It's very sad. You know, like I remember, like I just want to say that I remember the first time I got a job at Sears as a photographer when I was like 15 years old.
Yeah, Sears photography, bro. I remember that shit. It's crazy.
I'm 16, and I got my first paycheck, and I thought to myself, wow, I wonder if I could buy my freedom, you know, because they bought me for $6,000. So I wonder if I just made $6,000 and give it back to them, I would be free. But no, it was just constant abuse. There was no way out. At the end, it just got so bad. He even my abuser even put a gun to my head and told me that.
What the hell?
He told me that if I left him, he would shoot my children. He would shoot our kids and shoot himself. So I would have to live with the misery of ruining the family, you know. And even though once I made the commitment to fully escape and leave him, I never went back. I got a restraining order, and even though I had a restraining order, he wanted to sabotage my life. So he would make continuous CPS calls against me, and I would have to be investigated. So that's completely why I sympathize with you and Gila, because why the hell are people making CPS calls to your parents when we're trying our best to take care of our kids? It's not easy. CPS is not easy. They make it very difficult, even if you have a restraining order against your abuser.
That makes sense too. That makes sense. There's going to be an additional level of empathy because she's had false CPS, well, tons of false CPS, worse than Ethan, obviously, but CPS calls against her kids, so she knows how fucked up it is. That hey, that's something there. I mean, I'm not smiling because you know it's happening to her, but I'm just saying like that's going to be another point of empathy for Ethan from them because there is a somewhat relatable experience there. I mean, that makes absolutely perfect sense. It's just fucking this whole situation is wild as fuck out there. Jesus Christ.
Crazy. So how did you escape?
So you know, it's so there's always been so many beatings in my life from my husband after 3 months of living with him and his family. But the last straw for me was like I was 23 and he wanted me to, my abuser, my ex, he wanted me to clean the garage a certain way, and I didn't do it because
clean the garage is a man's job. Let's be real.
I was upset that he like made a hole in the wall in our bedroom. Whenever he gets upset with me, he tries to.
What's his name? Kyle.
Break something that I love to control me. So he was
You like the walls?
upset with me. So he threw a chair in the wall, and he knows that I love the house because we bought a house, but it was under his name. I was the only one paying for the mortgage, and so he put a hole in the wall. So then after that, he wanted me to clean the garage, and then I said, I'm not going to do it. So then he got really pissed off. He said that he was going to go and watch a movie with the kids, and when he came home, I needed to make sure that I do it, or I was going to get my ass beat. And then I did everything in the house, laundry, everything, but I just didn't clean the garage. So then I'm sitting in the loft by myself and I'm folding the laundry. And then he comes up and he grabs me and he's like, "Why didn't you do it? Why don't you clean the garage?" And then I said, "Well, because I'm upset with you for making the hole in the house, in the wall." And then he said, "Well, you know what? I'm going to beat your ass now." And then so he started beating me, and he just said to me, exactly, he said, "You always know how to push my buttons. You know what to say to upset me, and you do it intentionally because you're, you know, a bitch, you know." And so he started beating me, and he beats me all the time in front of my kids. And at this time, my 2 kids were 5 and 7 or 8. Okay, and it's so hard for me to have my kids live in this type of life where they see their mom get beat up all the time. But this time it was very different. I consider my eldest child.
Dude, this is fucking crazy. Now I understand why she's dating this guy though, because he could beat the fuck out of anybody. In case they fuck with her. This is a crazy story. This is such an interesting story, dude. This is horrible what she went through, and she's obviously like she seems like an insanely tough woman. I feel like this is the dynamic that like you know, Anisa and iDubbbz would want. This is insane. Like it seems like, not for nothing, but between the two of them, after listening to this for so long, she's obviously like I don't want to say more masculine than this guy, but like she's a more domineering presence than this guy. But not in like a toxic way where like she's so overpowering. You look at the two of them and go like, oh, he's cucked. You just look at it and you listen to them talk and you're like, oh, like she kind of demands respect. And I feel like that's what Anisa wants, but that's not what they have.
My savior, because at the age of 8, after his father was done beating me on the floor of our loft in our home, his dad ran off and just went to another room. My son came up to me at the age of 8 and he said, Mommy, you don't have to do what Daddy says, but if you just tell him that you're going to do it, and then when he's not home, just don't do it. That way he won't hurt you. That's what my son said to me. And I just couldn't take it. And I just was like, you know what, fuck that shit. Fuck him, dude. I'm not doing this no more. I'm not staying in this marriage no more. I've been here for 11 years. I keep on telling everybody that he's beating me, but nobody's listening, you know? So I'm going to step up, like, for my kids. You know, I realized I couldn't leave for 11 years for myself because I didn't know how to love myself. But in that very moment, I had to leave for my children. So right when my son said that to me, I just got up. I ran to the bathroom, I locked the door, and then I went to the closet and I called 911. And I told myself that, you know what, I'm never going to fucking go back to that prison. And then I took my kids and I left. And I put a restraining order against him. And it was hell for 2 years because I had to fight for a parenting plan. I had to fight all the CPS calls that he made against me, all the false CPS calls. But you know what, I got through it. And
did they kill the guy or like did they incarcerate him or what the fuck? That's horrible. That's disgusting. It's even more disgusting that her kids had to go through that on top of her going through that, you know? Jesus Christ.
It's been 15 years. So, you know, like last year, it was 15 years since I escaped my prison. And
right, it's just like, it's fucking crazy. Like she's really, like, you would have never known. I know it sounds silly, but you never would have known like that. She went through like the most profound struggle I've ever fucking like seen in a person, or at least one of the most profound struggles ever. You never would have known that. She just kind of operates. She's just like a reasonable, strong presence that exists, but she's got all this backstory, and it really makes you realize like why she's going to back for Ethan. And why she's more on his side, honestly, like, because it seems like, I don't know, dude, fucking Anisa and iDubbbz are just so fucking, they're just so pathetic by comparison. There's got to be a jealousy aspect. There has to be like a jealousy aspect or something. Maybe I'm too fucking terminally online or like burnt out right now. I don't know.
June 11th of 2009, right? It's been 15 years. But I didn't need to go back and tell my story to America or the world, you know, my child bride story. I didn't need to rehash all those sad memories. But I did it because I understood that someone needs to come forward. Otherwise, these politicians are not going to see that this is happening in their backyard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Her testifying helped. She had to tell her story, and that helped. That was the thing that helped end child marriage in Washington, was her telling her story.
That is that's an absolutely unbelievably noble pursuit. And frankly, I don't think anyone in this room knew that was happening, that was legal.
I was shocked when she told me. I was like, "This happened in America." She was like, "This happened in Washington State." And I was like, "Washington State?" I was like, "What the hell? Like, you're supposed to be progressive."
What the fuck?
Yeah, and also when I escaped in 2009, I told my you know, I had to apply for a free attorney, right, because I had no money, and I had my 2 kids, and I told my attorney about like how he raped me, you know, throughout the 11 years I was with him, and she told me at that time that like, oh, well, I'm so sorry, but the statute of limitations for rape has already passed. It wasn't until way after I escaped my prison that they changed it to where there was no expiration date.
Yeah.
Did you pursue charges?
So I tried to, but at that time they told me that the statute of limitation had passed, so there was nothing I could do about it. And then when they did pass it later, like many years later, I was at another point in my life where I was already happy. I was going to school. I graduated from University of Washington.
I think he meant like after, but I understand you know.
With my science degree, I graduated.
I think he meant like, hey, did you pursue it after it was statute of limitations? So at that point, she probably, I mean, like, even if she could, she may not have, because it's one of those things where it's like, it's so horrible. She probably had to process so much of it that it's like, is it worth it for her mental health to like push at that point? I know it sounds silly, but like, I kind of get it. Like at some point, it's like, you know, it might just be better for her to be like, I'm going to continuously disconnect myself emotionally from the situation for myself, you know?
With my master's in business, like, I love my kids. My kids are successful. They're like 21 and 24 right now, and I'm 39. And I work hard to make sure my kids are happy. So I don't see the need in like, you know, making things harder for me. My mental health is super important to me. And I just want to keep on going forward and do my best to like speak life into those who are suffering in silence. Because there's a lot of survivors out there.
Yeah, there are a lot.
That's on. Thanks for sharing all that. That was stirring. Wow. I can see why it's so personal to you.
Yeah.
You know? Well, obviously, I mean, I see why it's so emotionally charged. Like how much that would hurt to have someone that you thought was your friend just completely disregard that. That is unbelievably.
It makes no sense. That's why I'm very sad about Ian and Anisa, because, you know, Michael and I really cared about them, like they were our family. But again and again, they disappoint us. Again and again, they treat us like shit. Again and again, Ian puts out that video saying that he has just a ton of 4K videos of him doing stupid shit. Like, that was my 3-year work filming them before CC1, right? Because they came to us summer of 2021, and CC1 happened in 2022. Okay, you know, so like I had all this work that I've done, you know, and I just stopped telling people about what I was doing for Creative Clash because I look stupid. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm filming, and it's for the documentary.
None of the film came out. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel so done talking about it when like they don't put it out, and I like, am I making it up?
Right. Yeah. So
I like them. They're a cute couple. You know, they seem, you know what I mean? They're just a cute couple. I like them together. I like their dynamic.
It strikes me as just deeply ironic that she's severing all of these relationships because of men being disrespectful to women, and then like I can't imagine a more pertinent, pressing, urgent issue than this one.
Yeah,
someone you know and have a relationship with.
Right.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
Sorry, the fucking Keemstar thing is killing me here.
So it was just very, very sad, but it just shows their true colors and who they really are. And that's the reason why, after that incident, I told myself, I cut myself off emotionally for them because they're not good people. Yeah. They cry about all these crises and women's rights all the time, but I reached out to them and they just put me on red.
This is true. This is 100%. That's a great point. Like she was just talking about this horrific abuse situation where she went through, where she was forced to be a child bride and she was sold around and she wanted to, and they worked really close with Ian and Anisa, and she just wanted to be like, hey, listen, we want to support this bill that stops child marriage in America. And Ian and Anisa just left them on red. They go around and go like, oh, listen, we love feminism, capitalism bad, women's rights, blah, 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 blah. Ian used to say the N-word, but now he's perfect and he's a female advocate. And then what happens? iDubbbz says this guy, which is Ian's, the boxing coach, is toxically masculine. But then they won't even support a bill for women. Let's be real, like child marriage will disproportionately negatively impact women, little girls. Can't even advocate for like a slam dunk clear cut case. Like there's not, you don't have to put anything on the line for that. There's a no fucking brainer. We need to end child marriage. Couldn't even do that. That's insane. That's honestly the equivalent to not being able to stop drinking Dr. Pepper when it's on the BDS list.
We helped them with their business, building Creative Flash, and they had nobody on their team. And then after that, like when we reached out to them just to ask them for...
It's not even about the optics either. Like this story, if there's no way that they didn't hear the story. If I sat down, like sitting down and listening to this story is fucking horrible. It's heartbreaking. How could you not be moved by this? This is insane. So just like knowing this story and hearing that, and you're not like, holy shit, like what, like, hey, what do you think we can do? What is the excuse here?
Feedback.
Maybe they felt like it was an overstep to ask them to co-sign for the gym or whatever, and that was after that. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to give them any charity for charitability, whatever. You know what I mean?
How we go about starting our own business. They tell us that in no world could we ever.
So mean.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know.
That's why part of why we were able to like when Harley came out, that's when we were like, oh, okay. And more people started coming out, and then we're like, and then people had questions about, okay, what happened with the money with this event and what happened? And I was like, we have a lot of those answers, but also I don't want to be associated with all the hate that I've been getting from being on his side when like, other than training him for the fights, I wanted to have a bigger relationship the same way all the other guys had relationships with their coaches, but him and I were just never on that level. So that always kind of broke my heart because I was always like, I put in so much to Ian, and that was the thing. If he would have released a documentary, you would have seen how much I put into his training, and not only his training but the whole event. Like I wanted everyone to actually be successful on that event and the whole thing to go well.
I want to ask Kate, what can we do, or audience members? I'm sure everybody was extremely moved to help pass more bills like this. Or support you specifically.
So I started, it was really hard for me to share, but I started an Instagram called The 12-Year-Old Bride. And I started that Instagram last year, January, when I started my advocacy work. So if they can follow that Instagram, then I can, in the bio section, I have like the articles that I've been in for passing the law here in Washington State. And I plan to announce in the future as well other states that I'm working on. The 2 states I'm working on next is Hawaii, Oregon, and California. And so when I come to California, I hope that, I can reach out to you guys and get support.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you come out here and you're able to talk, is public support going
I'm going to try to find this page if I can.
Help this bill get passed? When
100%. There's not enough people. So basically, when because California trashed the bill, now the nonprofits that I work with have to restart the bill from scratch, right? So once they get the bill written up, now they have to ask politicians to sponsor the bill. Once they have politicians to sponsor the bill, then we go to Sacramento and then we lobby. Yeah. What that means is that I have to meet with every single politician every 30 minutes and tell them my sad story, right?
Yeah, over
and over. And by the way, I also suffer from PTSD.
That's actually pretty terrible. Like that's like, I mean, I understand why she has to do that, but that's fucked up. Could you imagine having to consistently express your like fucking deepest trauma every single day just to or like consistently in the same day just so that you could try to like prevent other people? Because that's like that's hard, man. That's not easy. I'll put it in the description too. That's not like an easy thing to do, to constantly express your, like, that's dramatic. Like, unironically, I know iDubbbz is feeling horribly traumatized from boxing and not being able to go to Denny's afterwards, but this is like a much more real trauma. So
because of my trauma that I've had in my child marriage, right? So imagine telling your story over and over for every 30 minutes with a new politician, trying to get them to co-author this House bill. And then after 30 minutes of crying and telling them your story because it's so hard, they say, thank you for sharing. But you know what? Because of our sponsors, we're not going to be able to co-author right now. We're going to let you know later if we decide to support
because of our fucking sponsors. That's incredible.
Bill.
Yeah. So if we'll let you know when it becomes another bill, because every bill has like a house number or a number to it.
Yes.
So we'll let you know when the next bill goes through. And then you guys, I don't know if people have to write to their congressman or.
So basically, there's going to be a link that I will share, right? And so all you got to do is just go in there, put your email address, and the link that is provided by the nonprofit. Is actually I would like to share. Her name is Freddie, and she's also Jewish. And I know, right?
Love that.
Yeah, she's also Jewish. Okay, and she's from New Jersey. Okay. Yes. She funded the nonprofit called Unchained at Last because she said that in her community she was a child bride but married at the age of 18, and she couldn't leave because in the community, if you're Jewish, you're not able to leave your husband unless he unchains you from him.
Yeah, it's funny. I had I had a friend who used to work for something in New York where they would help people like escape like very Orthodox Jewish communities. It's not Jewish people. It's any like very strict like religious community. It's like always abusive. Like let's be real. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're super strict religious, you're an abusive community. Unfortunately, whether you want to hear it or not. You know, they typically don't have the same access to education. There's a lot of abuse, especially for women. It's insane. It's pretty fucking terrible, you know? It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, like you have to go through all these like schooling and stuff, and they torture you. Yeah, and so she started the nonprofit Unchained at Last, and so she and her nonprofit is actually the one that I'm working with. They're also a federal nonprofit, so they also work with the United Nations. We're hoping that we can end child marriage by 2030.
I hope so too. It's so disturbing, and just the lack of awareness is frankly unbelievable. Yes. So, by the way, I want everyone to go. We're going to link the 12-year-old bride. I see this page you have set up here. Let's put it in the description, spam it in chat, make sure that we get people following this page, and then Unchained at Last.
Yes.
That's a great name for the org.
Yes.
This is the nonprofit that you.
This is the last redheaded white woman you'll ever see in your life, guys. All right. They're all getting replaced. I'm just being silly.
Work with.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm planning to start my own nonprofit in the future too. I'm planning to call it Heal Out Loud because as I was doing my advocacy work, I realized that it was so challenging for me because even though I escaped 15 years ago and I've been working on my healing journey to build myself up, I've never opened up and told my story and shared it out loud. So because of that, when I went to go do it, it was so traumatic for me. Like I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. It was very, very difficult. And then also made me realize that there's so many layers to healing, and healing out loud is super important because I see that as kind of like one of the final phases of healing. And so that's the reason why I told Michael that, once we get everything situated, I want to build a nonprofit. I want to call it Heal Out Loud. And my slogan is going to be, when we heal out loud, we speak life to those suffering in silence, because that's what I've experienced, and that's what I hope to bring.
That. It's a little wordy, but we'll work on it. All right. I'm just being silly.
To other survivors who are suffering.
I like healing out loud. I think that's just like a beautiful. That's a beautiful like healing out loud is just like a beautiful little like one-liner. I think. I think that's nice.
So you said before you were getting a lot of hate online and stuff. I think your story.
Who is this guy, by the way? I have no fucking idea who he is.
Is so powerful that I think you're going to get just an outpouring of love and support.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Unbelievable.
So,
That's all you do.
yeah, it's hard. Think about like you have PTSD and you have all this trauma, right? And then you have to go and then put it into content so people can actually support you.
Yeah.
It would take me 3-4 hours to put up one Instagram post because I would just be crying,
Right. Wow.
Like I have to be vulnerable and tell like my most vulnerable moment and testify on public television. And I have no support. I have no platform.
It's crazy because we go into these rooms and they have to tell their story, and literally have the room full of people crying, and then we have to 30 minutes later go into another room and tell the story, and then we're crying all over again.
Yeah.
And then we're in another room and we're crying all over again. So it happens it'll be like 10 times in a day, and then by the time the day's over, you're like exhausted.
You're so exhausted. And not only this, I want people to know, the audience to know that like the reason why I stepped into this role, because what I realized was that these survivors, right, that are going out to testify for these house bills, there's no funding for them. Even though the nonprofit's there, the nonprofit is to provide structure and direction, right? And they write up the bill.
Yes,
but no one pays for my flight, my hotel, my time away to go and testify. I have to do that out of my own pocket. So if I didn't have my own business, I wouldn't be able to do that. And at that time, it was not easy for us to do that either. But Michael and I knew that this was super important to us. So we just paid out of our own pocket, and we went for it, But I know that in the future,
he's the H3 sponsor guy. Okay.
I have to be smarter and better because I need to build a nonprofit because no one's taking care of me out there. And I need to make sure that survivors are able to be taken care of when they're going out there to tell their story so we can pass these bills.
We got to pass these bills.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anytime there's something you guys need, reach out and we'll blast it. You guys can call in, we'll share it, whatever, which is just important to all of us.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys have always been our huge. Oops, sorry, Olivia. Sorry.
No.
I was just going to say, you guys have always been our biggest supporters. So, like
that's
I said,
sad.
I forgot Olivia was even there.
Because that's honestly tragic.
He's the one whose text got leaked with Taylor Lorenz. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you and
but I'm glad we connected on a more serious level here, where we can definitely advocate for you guys, which is what you deserve. What were you gonna say, Olivia?
So sorry. I just think it is so brave that you're using your time post healing in your adulthood to help other children.
I'm sorry, I just can't. I'm just drawn to the bull blacks. The fuck.
Who wouldn't otherwise be helped. You are stronger than anyone I think I've ever listened to.
Thank you.
That's part of why I married her.
Yeah, wow, she's amazing.
That's why it was funny to me, because I know how strong she is and what she went through, how she had to raise 2 kids on her own, left the situation she was in, went to college, had to work, and did that on her own. And then so when Ian and Anisa are like saying that I don't respect women, we're like so confused. We're like, what are you talking about? Like, dude, like my wife is one of the people I respect most in this world because of what she's went through as a woman.
True. I respect that.
That seems to be one of her refrains. She just leans on that anytime she wants to isolate him. It seems.
Sorry, the take is getting me.
Like, by the way, we just got a comment from this user T4UT7. I'm also Hmong. Is it Hmong?
Yeah, Hmong. H-M-O-N-G, yes.
I'm also Hmong, and my grandparents escaped the Vietnam War, and my grandpa gained citizenship for helping transport U.S. soldiers. So awesome to see our people be recognized. Much love. There it is.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. There's so many Hmong people out here, and
they're good people. They work hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
Through a friend. I was coaching out of that old gym that I was out of for 18 years, where I used to work with fighters like Demetrius Johnson, all these other people that were like world champions. That was kind of how Ian and Anisa were able to find me, was because of the work I'd done out of a different gym. The front desk girl at the gym had introduced us and said she thought we'd hit it off, and
she was right. Oh my goodness. They really nailed it.
You know, I want to tell you about Michael's brand, because when I first met him, he told me that he had this brand called Bonafide Boxing that he bought the trademark from since 2014.
I love this. This is such a nice moment, because like she's using this opportunity now to plug his stuff, because like, you know, she's a fucking go-to. You know what I mean? She's like a ride or die. So she got a lot out, and she's like, I just want to tell you about his brand. My husband is building a brand, by the way. I'm just gonna fucking talk. I think it's nice. It's like it's such a sweet moment.
Great name.
Yeah, he told me that he's never had the opportunity to build it, right?
Because you know he would never do it himself. You know what I mean? Like, I get that. That's like my wife would be like, oh, by the way, like, she's advocating for him because he's not going to advocate for it. He feels like it's overstepping. She doesn't give a fuck. And by the way, I agree with her. I think that this is like, why not? Fuck it, go for it. You know?
In 2019. So then he told me that it was always his dream to build his brand, but the gym that he was at, his head coach wouldn't let him build his brand or do anything or film at the gym. He was kept to just be like, you know, the head striking coach and to run the gym. And so I had so much heart for him. And I just thought, I saw his work, you know, his like boxing and everything and training. And I told him, I said, Michael, you're very talented. You know, you need to leave this gym because they're holding you back. They've been using you for 18 years. Like, leave this gym and I will help you build your business. You know, we can do it together. We'll start from scratch. So I built the website. I started the YouTube channel. I get all the content of him that we put out on all our media outlets.
Dude, I'm not kidding. She really is who Anisa wants to be. I guarantee you that this guy's career has gone up since they met, because she is such a supportive background character that has zero interest in taking the public and then taking any public appraise or praise from it. She just like does so much for him in the background. She gives herself no credit, and you know he jumps at it to give her credit. You know what I mean? Like, they have such an actual fucking I like these two a lot. I like their story a lot. You could tell by the way that these two talk to each other, to other people, about each other, the way that they sit together, the way that like one of them is quiet for the other one, and the other, you know, they listen to it. You could just tell that these two actually, unironically, like actually love each other. They don't, and they're probably best friends too. And you can tell every time you watch iDubbbz and Anisa interact that they fucking resent each other. Or she resents him. He doesn't know what to think unless he's told what to think. And I think it's beautiful. I like these two a lot. I think that they're great. I actually like them a lot. Like, they're great. I think that they're fantastic.
And we've been doing it ourselves for the past 5 years, you know? Yeah. So, and it was crazy to me when I did the website that bonafideboxing.com was still available.
That is crazy. That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. And it's meant to be, it sounds like.
Yeah, it really is.
So currently, Michael, you're kind of like, how does it work? You have clients and then you take them to a gym and work with them?
Yeah, so I'm currently out of a gym called Vigor Ground in Renton, and then another small 2 fight gyms, one in Kirkland and then one in Bothell. And so right now I just coach my fighters pretty much wherever I can, when I can. I'm at Vigor Monday through Friday during the day, and then the other gyms I'm at either Monday night or Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So I literally work 6 days a week. I'm always taking on new clients, so if people want private lessons, and then as far as like fighters at a high level, I've been, like I said, I'm working on getting a few of my own fighters into the UFC. I've worked with previous UFC fighters. So we're just trying to build a brand to the point where I want to have my gym be a place where a lot of fighters, when they get good in this area, they have to go to Vegas, they have to go to Florida, they have to go to LA, they have to go to people like Wildcard, like AB's gym and places like that. And I want to have a spot in Seattle area, Kirkland area, that those people won't have to leave. They can come to us.
That's great.
High-level fighters and general pop. So anyone that needs some training in boxing or kickboxing, I've been doing it for over 25 years, and I love it. And then if anybody's looking to be a high-level MMA fighter and come in, get better coaching, I'm here for them too.
Okay, we're going to put all the links in the description. We're going to spam them out. Anytime you guys need anything on either one, if once you have like a gym or you have something going on there, let us know. The bills is so important to everybody. Everybody was absolutely moved by that. So stay in touch, and then give you their payment info too.
Yes, we will. But
I'm in touch with you. Give it to me. Give me like you guys use like Zelle or Venmo?
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know if I can do that much on Zelle. Okay, we'll figure it out. Yeah. I'm gonna send you guys $5,000. That money that Ian should have given you.
I love that he says that and then he fucking runs like a clapping thing.
And I'm just so grateful. This was an amazing. I got to tell you, we went super long. Not that it's a problem. I just thought this was an incredible conversation. It was great from beginning to end. I was just captivated the whole time.
Thank you.
You guys are amazing.
Thank you to Harley too.
Yeah, Harley put us in touch, so there it is.
Yeah. And also before, like we take off, I just want to say too that I want to use this opportunity to like tell Anisa directly that like, Anisa, we're very disappointed in you and Ian for never promoting us and giving us credit for anything. And the fact that you still continue to this day, like not give us credit for anything, it would make me feel better if you would take down that photo that I took of you and Michael boxing together. I know you like to put it up on your Twitter account and all your media outlets because you still want to flex that you're a boxing expert, but please take that video down because it tarnishes our brand and I don't want it on there. No, you don't support us, so take it down.
That seems like a modest request.
Yeah, that's fucking. I love it. That's incredible. It's so beautiful.
Considering everything. Wait, I want to see. I heard that her pinned post on Twitter is a photo that you took.
Yes.
I am boxing with you, Michael.
She was talking about that.
Yeah.
Hold on, I want to see it.
Damn, Ethan's fucking not paying enough attention. Typical. Also relatable.
Yeah, let me see. Harley, you're back in the back in the Keem den. Can you someone send me that? Yeah, hold on. So I mean, hey, that's a modest request. Let's just unpin this. You know what I mean? Let's just take it down. So this is her pinned video.
Yeah.
So this is the video she showed everyone that like she's some savant like footwork.
Yeah.
I mean,
month 7 of me boxing.
She does look really good in this.
Yeah,
a lot better than me and Ian did. I'll say that.
Right. Well, and that's what I was saying is like I don't want to like I'm not trying to excessively hate. Like she could have done well if she wasn't if she didn't just charge forward and have 13 concussions.
Well, at the end of the day, it's not about at the end of the day, it's not about if she did well or not. It's about her not giving us the respect that we deserve. So take it down.
But,
The funnier context is that Ian's just sitting there about to get his ass beat because he's not training enough because his wife is sucking up all your time.
That is what happened. That is what happened. Yes.
I will not fucking shut up.
Yeah, take the post down, Anisa.
But it's weird that they won't give us. Well, and here's another thing too was like Ian was talking about possibly fighting on Creator Clash 3.
Right.
He hasn't been in the gym. Like I have no idea or maybe he trains with a different boxing coach now.
I don't think so.
No, he's just saying that maybe to drive some traction. I mean, maybe if he did, maybe that would be good if he boxed somebody that would like fuck him up. If he boxed, maybe Sam Hyde's the only one who can save this event. Maybe they need Sam Hyde to step in and just beat the fucking shit out of iDubbbz. That might actually save Creator Clash. That might really save him.
2.5 years. So he was talking about like possibly going in, and I was like, who's going to train him? Like he never even once told us this event was going on.
Right. No, I don't think he was ever in touch with the coach. He made it pretty clear that he did not want to fight again. I felt like.
And I would privately tell him, hey, Ian, be proud of what you've done. You don't need to fight ever again. Because I could tell, like I said, like after the fights, it's like all this trauma comes out from the whole training camp and everything he had to go through. And instead of just being proud of it, it would be like just more weight on his shoulders and make him feel worse and worse.
I thought it was really fascinating as well that, and for those listening, they probably don't realize it at a glance when you look at boxing, but Ian boxed at pro-regulated rules.
Yes.
And that means his gloves were much smaller. The sport was far more dangerous for him than it was for someone like me. I would not have even boxed in any of these events if I wasn't using the size gloves that I was. And that's why when you look at the end of the events, Ethan is severely damaged compared to the other fighters.
Oh, you're using like 16-ounce gloves? How heavy were your gloves?
Mine were 16-ounce gloves.
Yeah, Ian had 10-ounce.
Oh yeah, and that's very like lethal. Like
you feel that. That's like you feel that.
Totally.
Why would he do that then? What the fuck is wrong with him? Why would he make that decision to do those gloves?
You can't block it. The other one, it's like big pillows. It's easier to block. The slower punches, everything. But when the event was done, I remember people talking about it, and it came up a lot. Like, well, yeah, but Ian, he did pro rules, so it's a little different than what you guys did.
Yeah, why would he do that?
I was always blown away by that. I thought it was extremely unnecessary.
Why do they have the need to do a pro tier boxing?
I was like, he loves boxing. I was like, he must love boxing.
Dude, it was all an ego thing. It was probably because Anisa wanted her husband to seem like a cool guy.
So he's a fan of the sport.
Yes.
Why, Michael? Because of Anisa?
I don't know why he wanted to turn pro.
Be a man. We're 10-ounce gloves.
But I don't see the benefit. I don't see the benefit. Okay, she wants to be.
In the first fight, I wanted him to have 4 3-minute rounds with Dr. Mike because I didn't think Dr. Mike would be able to handle the pace. But then Ian didn't do any of his freaking cardio, so Ian couldn't handle the pace. But then somehow, like when we were in the fight, it got switched to 5 2-minute rounds. But then his second fight was 4 3s. I felt like I could train him as a pro properly if as long as he put in the work. And for the second fight, had he not taken 6 months off of boxing, we would have won that fight. He was in better shape physically. Like he ended up gassing Alex, but he just didn't have the boxing skills Alex has because Alex actually loves boxing. So I really felt like had Ian not taken those 6 months off, he probably would have won that fight. Yeah. But that's also that's 6 months. That was half the time that was double the time that he trained for the fight. So
yeah, and I want to say like the common denominator between Creator Clash 1 and 2, right? Why Ian doesn't win is because of Anisa, because she disrupts training 24/7.
She sabotages his training.
Sabotages everything. So how are you supposed to win, right? When you have a partner in life that's sabotaging 24/7. It's not possible.
I couldn't imagine.
I love her so much, dude. I'm not even kidding. She's fantastic.
Couldn't imagine Lucky Boy letting Lena come in and tell him all her problems and take up half an AB's session.
What do you think about that, AB?
Well, I didn't want to say this, but now that we're talking about it, it is absolutely 110% Lena's fault that I lost both times. It would have been so easy if
she was there the whole time.
I was bullshit. Honestly, Hundar and Dad would have been easy clip.
Okay.
Yeah, do you think Waleed? What was his name? Wally. You think he would have let Lena in there and change the aux and complain to him a bit and ask him to train her?
No, he didn't let me in. Sometimes I would kind of
let me in.
I would try to clarify some stuff for Lena, and he would like, get out of the ring, get out of the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how most coaches would act in those scenarios. But like, I would have to take on both of them, and I did it because I needed clients. I did it because I loved Ian and really wanted to help him. It was,
and
but it
we
was
were trying to pay the bills.
But it was also very. It made me take some of the love out of it made me take some of the passion out of what I was doing, because every day it was like, fuck, what are we gonna
that's
have
horrible. Hate to hear that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, it sounds like you're back on track, so.
Yeah,
really are.
We're working hard. Yeah. It's hard. It's a hard sport.
How many fucking pole box things do they have?
And like,
not all. It's all green screen. I don't know why I even asked that question.
So what I do, it's also what up to my fighters do, and if one of my fighters fucks up, then then it comes out on me.
Everybody feels it, right?
Yeah. And that's why, like I said, like, I don't want to have my brand be associated with what he's been doing lately, because that's not like I got more support from you than I ever did from him. So why would I want to be associated with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, have a great evening. Thank you so much for the call. We're going to stay in touch. We're going to put all your socials up everywhere, and I'll talk to you guys after the show.
Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Harley. Thank you, AD.
Thank you, everybody from H3.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, there's Rocky. You saw Rocky.
Rocky, shout out Rocky.
Shout out Rocky. Yeah.
All right. Beautiful stuff, guys.